Oh no, I just spent like 15 minutes trying to get that somewhat aligned. Whatever. Oh. Hi, sweaties. Welcome back, you hooligans. We're finishing it up. You made it. You're crossing the finish line. One of the more anticipated recaps of this series. We are finishing up the last of the Hunger Games series. It's officially all wrapped up at the end of this video. Although Suzanne Collins, our Lord and Savior, she could write more. Who knows? I'll gladly take more. Jumping in at this video, I always say, I don't care. You can jump in whenever you want. You might be a little bit lost. I'm not recapping everything we already talked about. I have about, I'd say, maybe 12 hours worth of videos you can go back and rewatch. Really want to know the ins and outs of this series. This is our VIP lounge. This is mainly Songbirds and not mainly, it is Songbirds and Snakes. And this is all the original trilogy. Got that? I had to move people off the board because it was getting way too clustered, way too dedicated. My other what do you call this thing? Bulletin board to our Womp Womp graveyard. I don't know how many times I'm going to pick this up throughout the video because it's kind of heavy. Yeah, it's a little bit more organized. We'll be adding more to it after this, but been most anticipated and kind of the reason why I wanted to start recapping this series was because take a breath, breathe. We're getting a movie, bestie. I wanted to recap all these stories. When the movie comes out, we'll be ready to go and you'll know what the hell is up, why things are the way they are. Without further ado, finishing out the series, recapping Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. This is the 5th installment of the series. This was only my second reread of this book. I think I might put it at number 3. I've already told you my rankings before. Catching Fire is number 1. Hunger Games, the original one, is number 2. This one is probably number 3. Songbirds and Snakes, and then Mockingjay. This has a lot of, I guess it's lore, a lot of like, oh, so that's where that comes from. Oh, so that's what that person did before we met them in the original trilogy. There's still a whole lot of questions that I have at the end of this. I know a lot of you have actually picked up the series and read it along with these videos that have come out. That's really, really cool. Welcome to the club. And I'm really just so excited. I love the movies. Usually Mockingjay kind of fell flat for me, but whatever. I'm really interested to see how they're going to do with this because of the arena. I've seen a little bit what we can see through the trailers. So I'm just really excited. Let me give you a little backstory so you know what the hell is going on. Original trilogy. We were at the 74th and 75th Hunger Games. Songbirds and Snakes, we were at the 10th Hunger Games. All of the show busyness, the glitz and the glam, the lights, camera, action, and the hoopla around it all. Sponsors, mentors, well, maybe not stylists yet. The buddings of it all started was in Songbirds and Snakes. Now, this story, we are at the 50th Hunger Game. And whose games is it? Haymitch Abernathy's game. I think I've already said this several times. I don't know if she's ever said it or not. I don't know if Suzanne Collins ever predicted to write more past the original trilogy. So she already explained how Haymitch has won his games. It was already told to us in Catching Fire. We don't know all the details behind everything, and it's so, I'm gonna tell you, it's fucking sad. Poor man. No wonder you are the way you are. I cried. That's another one Suzanne Collins, get to writing. First Quarter Quell, the 25th Hunger Games, get to writing that one because that one would be drama. What the hell's a Quarter Quell, you may ask? Well, go see Catching Fire. You can see the third Quarter Quell. Quarter Quells happen every quarter of a century. When they first created the Hunger Games, letters were written out, laying out what each Quarter Quell was gonna be. So the first one, this is tea. Each district had to vote on who to send into the games. I don't know if every single person has to vote, if it's just the kids voting, if it's just the adults voting. I don't know. So Suzanne Collins gets writing that one. Put that one on your list. Third Quarter Quell, basically like an all-star game. Reaped victors from the existing pool of victors. That's pretty much the whole plot of Catching Fire. Maybe not the whole plot. This one is double the amount of tributes. So normally there's 24. Now we've got 48 tributes going to these games. 2 boys, 2 girls from every district. This is hell. Obviously, Haymitch don't look like that no more. Forgive me, I don't know every single one of these kids that's been cast for the new movie. I don't know their names. I haven't really dived deep into that. This is going to be our Haymitch visually. That's another thing too, is that in my past videos that I've been making, I have been using the scenes from the actual movies. I ain't got that yet, so you're just going to be seeing a lot of my face. So we're going to start with Haymitch, and today of all days, Reaping Day, July 4th. I know it's sweaties, I know. Also today is Haymitch's birthday on all days on Reaping Day. I forgot. Sorry. Part 1 is called The Birthday. his 16th birthday. Yay. His little brother, Sid, Googled it, and this is apparently who's going to be playing Sid. Cool. I don't know who you are. If you haven't been reading the books and you've just been watching the movies or getting your Hunger Games intel through me, I just want to preface it. When this book came out, all we knew about Haymitch was that he was a drunk and he took care of Peeta and Katniss. And, you know, by the end of Mockingjay, softened up a little bit. We just know what we know from these. So to get the backstory here, it starts off and he's gentle and kind, not abrasive and mean, and not a drunk. I think that's important to note. He doesn't drink at all. I'll get to that in just a second. This is going to be his mother, Willa May Abernathy. His mother washes clothes for people, mainly washes the miners' clothes, and she is a hard-working woman. She's only like 35, and when I read that, I was like, ugh, in just a couple of weeks, yes, I will be 30 years old. March 3rd, mark it down in your calendars. I'm closer to his mother's age than I am to Haymitch. Haymitch is the same age as Katniss when she was first reading. I was reading these as Katniss's age when they were coming out. I was 16, 17. Time is moving. Sid comes into the room and wakes Haymitch up and he's telling him happy birthday. So he needs to get some chores done. He tucks Sid back into bed because Sid's only about 8 years old. He's not in the reaping at all yet. He puts on some shorts. I don't know if this is important. I wrote down some little things that I'm hoping to see in the movie. Some shorts that his mom made. It was an old like flour sack and it says like courtesy of the Capitol on it. I'm very open to interpretation when a book is adapted into a film because if we put I just spit and I'm really sorry. Every single fine detail in the film, it's going to be, first of all, long as second of all, it's probably not going to translate as well. It might be kind of boring. I'm open to creative liberty. Oh, sorry, I'm going down a rabbit hole. She made these shorts out of a flour sack that they got from a government supply. Haymitch got because he entered his name more times into the reaping to get Tesserae. We've talked about Tesserae before. You can get Tesserae in order to get more supplies and food for your family. That means that you're going to enter your name more times in the reaping. He entered his name 3 more times, 3 things of Tesserae. So I'll get to it in a second. We don't ever get to meet Haymitch's dad. He talks about him. I actually didn't Google if they're going to have anybody play his dad. His dad died in a mining accident. I'll reiterate it in just a little bit. The Abernathys are associated with rebel sympathizers, and some people think that his father's death was not an accident. Maybe it was a targeted retaliation, but he died. His mom is working double time. They live in the seam, which is like, what is this? Like, white refrigerator? Ew. His mom's outside already washing that laundry. Tells him happy birthday and that there's some plum sauce on the stove. We'll talk about this in another chapter coming up. Don't make birthday cakes in his house. His birthday's on reaping day, and his mom thought it would be kind of selfish if Sid and her got birthday cakes on their birthdays. And, you know, he didn't get one on reaping day because nobody wants to make a cake on reaping day. She makes cornbread with some like plum sauce, fancy schmancy stuff for them. The only good thing about reaping day was that there was no school and no work, so that he could enjoy some of the day. If it were me, I would not be able to enjoy any part of the day. I think the reaping happens around like midday. I'd be and crying, but he's like, good thing about today is I don't have to work, but my mom will not let that slide. Go do some chores. And one of his chores is to fill the cistern, the water supply. His mom says that she can charge more clean water, like rain water, because it makes the clothes softer, so she needs him to fill the cistern. Okay, I'll take care of it after the reaping. Now, if you just use your context clues, he ain't gonna be there after the reaping. We know he's going to the games. He says, no, I'll take care of it when we get back. Goes off into the woods because he is not a blacksmith. What do you call it? A bootlegger. Works with this woman called Hattie Meany. She is a moonshiner. He doesn't drink a drop of it. That's very important. He's out there cooking up a new batch of stuff, white liquor, and they usually sell it to peacekeepers, even the base commander too. We saw it a little bit with songbirds and snakes. Also, we still have no idea truly whatever happens to Lucy Gray. There's a lot of conspiracy theories in this one. I don't think she's back. That's just my opinion. People on base and peacekeepers, you know, they're trying to just make the best of what they got. Being in 12, it sucks. They can get a little cheap white liquor. They're not going to say anything. On reaping day, game makers maybe are in the vicinity. Cameras are rolling. Microphones are on. People from the Capitol are kind of swarming around. She's like, we're not going to make a full batch. I don't want to draw eyes out to here. He points out carrying all the supplies helps him build his strength up. He's not a string bean. He's got a decent build. He's not like career status. I cannot believe not once have I started singing Coal Miner's Daughter. Because Katniss is a coal miner's daughter. This is about to be like, y'all want to hear it? Hattie expects Haymitch to work hard, but only because she works just as hard as well. His paycheck, she doesn't give it to him. It goes straight to his mom. Telling him happy birthday, and she's got a gift for him. Cracked corn. And he's going to give that to his girl, Lenore Dove. I'm going to talk about her in just a second. Girlfriend gives him some cracked corn. He plans on giving it to Lenore Dove's geese. Whoa. Reading the end of Mockingjay and the epilogue, Haymitch ended up raising geese. Yes, we'll come back to that at the very end. Also gives him a bottle of white liquor, and she says, you're old enough to cook it up and make it, you're old enough to drink it. He's like, yeah, I agree. I'm not going to drink it though. I'll take it with me, and maybe I can give it to Lenore Dove's uncles, Tam Amber, hello, and Clerk Carmine. We know them from the Covey. He's not really said much about Tam Amber, if he likes Haymitch or not, but Clerk Carmine, on the other hand, does not like that Lenore Dove really hangs out with Haymitch too much, because his family is known to be rebels and rebel sympathizing sympathy. Haymitch's family has been known to have rebel ties. Some speculate fire his father died in was started by his father trying to sabotage the mine, kind of like Arlo Chance in Songbirds and Snakes was involved with another group. They were trying to sabotage coal production and stuff, thinking that could spark the rebellion. Your head's in the right place, gentlemen, but you need a bigger scale. Haymitch is like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. If that's true, that's my daddy's doing. I ain't got nothing to do with that. So now he's going to the meadow. Lenore Dove, she's out there with her music, I think she calls it the music box, and it's an accordion, because the Covey is very musical, they're very colorful, they're very bird-like. She's singing a song that is actually banned. Her uncles have told her not to sing it out and about. The Covey all get their name from a poem, a ballad. The second part of their name is a color. Lenore Dove gets hers from The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. Dove is actually a shade of gray. Haymitch says, I remember when I first met her, introduced to her by, get this, Burdock Everdeen. This is who's going to play him. I'm sorry, sir, I don't know your name. Katniss's father. No. Yes, they were friends. Burdock is like 2 years younger than Haymitch. Covey through his mother's side, and he's cousins with Lenore Dove, or at least they say that they're cousins. He convinces Haymitch to actually go out into the woods, and he shows him how he can sing and make all the Mockingjays shut up. We heard Peta say that that's how he fell in love with Katniss and how he knew about her. Found Lenore Dove in like an apple tree, and she's like, why are you making my birds sing? She meets Haymitch, and he says, Dove is not a color. So then at school, I watched her from afar, and she was very quiet, play imaginary keys on the table. After class, she came up to me with a dictionary and pointed out that Dove was a color. She proved me wrong. And that was that. Musical like the rest of the Covey, but not interested in singing pretty songs, rather more intense, darker ones that alluded to rebel support. She's got a lot of sass. And let me tell you, she's been arrested twice when she was like 12, accused of rebellious act. I'll talk about it more later on in part 1, but sitting there singing to her geese. They hang the man and flog the woman who steals the goose from off the common, for the common is the meadow. Yet let the greater villain loose that steals the common from the goose. That's the capital. Stealing from the districts. Okay, keep up. The law demands that we atone, but we take things we... What? The law demands that we atone when we take things that we do not own, but leaves the lords and ladies fine, who take things that are yours and mine. Poor and wretched don't escape if they conspire the law to break. This must be so that they endure, those who conspire to make the law. I don't know if did I write that right? Because that don't rhyme. The law locks up the man or woman who steals the goose from off the common, and these geese will steal a common lack till they go and steal it back. Till we get a rebellion going in here. This presidency will still continue to steal from us, and it'll keep happening until the goose, the civilians, the citizens of Pan Am, until we fight back, you bitch. She and the Covey, they don't sing anymore. That's very sad. They don't sing anymore when they perform. They just play the music. People around feel so inclined to sing, then they sing for them. And actually, Tam Amber and Clerk Carmine worked out a deal with the mayor. Mayor Astor is not the same mayor when we get to these ones. Made a deal with them that Lenore Dove can come over and practice with the piano. That's the only piano they have in District 12, I think. Practice on the piano if put on a performance from time to time for like a dinner party. Now get this. This is where conspiracy theories here. All right, listen. Her mother died in childbirth and her father is a mystery. Now people think, I don't get this theory at all, that Snow and Lucy Gray could have had a baby before their whole thing ended. It could have been Lenore Dove. They think it could just be passed down somehow, some way. I don't think so. This was the 10th Hunger Game. This is the 50th. That's 40 years. She's not 40 years old. Then there's a conspiracy theory. Her mother could be, what's her face? Maude Ivory, because she was only 8 years old, maybe 20 some years later. Actually, probably closer to 30. Strong chance that it could be Maude Ivory, because it's pointed out in another chapter that sometimes peacekeepers who are not supposed to be fornicating, supposed to be very celibate, it's like signing up to work at the wall in Game of Thrones, all but cut your thing off for 20 years. Not supposed to be having kids, but sometimes peacekeepers are known to have sex with people of 12 or whatever district they're in, and then they end up just leaving the mothers and the baby. They get reassigned somewhere. The people think Maude Ivory maybe got together with a peacekeeper, and then they ended up having Lenore Dove. That's the main theory. Oh, she calls her accordion her tune box, not her music box. I'm so sorry. Comes up to her. She says, happy birthday. They kiss. Love is in the air. They have a conversation. And at the beginning of the book, it's kind of like, what are you asking, Lenore Dove? But then when you get to the end of the book, the very last bit, you're like, ah. Let me just read how I summarized it. They talk about the reaping and how she wishes there was a world in which it didn't happen. He says the reaping will happen every year from here on out, whether they like it or not. And she says not to think something will happen just because it's happened in the past, and thinks it's silly to think things are inevitable and leave no room for change. Does that make sense? And I'll just spoil it for you. At the end of the book, she says, don't let that sun rise on another reaping. The conversation kind of fizzles out because he's also in the same boat as me where he's like, what? Oh. Let me give you your present. It is a necklace. Why do I keep saying it like that? Necklace. It's a gold kind of C shape. It's got a snake and a bird. A mockingjay, maybe. It looks like this. He's like, oh, cool. Yeah, nice. She said that Tam Amber helped her make. Tam Amber has turned into after the Covey has kind of disbanded. I'm assuming right after Lucy Gray left. I'm picturing in my head they didn't want to really perform anymore without her. Like they've lost their singer. And she said that Maud Ivory. Okay. No, wait. Now I'm expanding in my brain because she said Maud Ivory is next in line to be the next lead singer. They don't sing anymore. Maud Ivory's not there. I think once both of them were no more, I think they were just like, no, we're not singing. I had a point to that. Oh yeah. So after that, I think Tam Amber, I don't know if he's always had it as a hobby or what, but he took up being a blacksmith, makes some of the most beautiful pieces of art. We're working on this one little piece for Haymitch. She says, I like my pretty with a purpose. And then it takes him a second. Is this a flint striker? But you can use it on any kind of striking rock and start a fire, get sparks from it. He's not thinking about taking it into the games or anything like that. He ends up taking it into the games, but he's not thinking that way. She runs her fingers over the bird and the snake and says it takes a lot to break these two because they're survivors. And then he kisses it and says, I love you like all fire. She says, you too. This is a Covey phrase, and this is kind of their little mantra. Maybe okay will be our always. Clerk Carmine comes over the hill and he's like, all right, come on, let's go inside. Giving him a look like Haymitch told Lenore Dove that he thought that Clerk Carmine hated love, and Lenore Dove says he had a very intense love with a man one time. Didn't work out because it's not very accepted to be in a same-sex marriage. You could be arrested. Very taboo. Didn't work out, and so I think there's just been a bitter seed planted in him. He knows what it is to love. I don't think he hates Haymitch. He's just very protective over Lenore Dove. So Haymitch is also on the same page, like, I'll do anything to keep this girl safe. But that was some lore for Clerk Carmine. He is gay or interested in men as well. Haymitch said he was never bothered by this at all. Okay, ally. He tells Lenore Dove, we'll meet up after the reaping. I gotta do my chores afterwards. I gotta fill that cistern. So they both hang on to this. Yeah, we're gonna make it through today and we're still gonna be here. So he goes home. He gets dressed in his father's old wedding outfit. Suit, maybe. His mom made him a shirt full of old handkerchiefs and stuff, but she sewed every piece, so it's very special. And you had to get dressed up for the ceremony. In Songbirds and Snakes, the showboatness was not there. Well, now they want more of a presentation. Try a little bit. Put a little effort into it. If you weren't dressed up, your parents could be arrested. For his birthday gifts from his family at home. His mother gives him another, like the flour sack underwear thing. Also gives him a pocket knife. Sid gives him a rock so they could try out the flint striker. That his mother was even impressed by it, and she's never really been Lenore Dove's biggest fan necessarily. She's like, idle hands are the devil's plaything. You're spending all your time with your girl, you're not working. She doesn't have a problem with Lenore Dove. It's just the fact that he would be distracted. She takes the flint striker, ties a shoelace around it. He wears it around his neck. I guess it necessarily wasn't a necklace, but they turned it into a necklace. Down to the town square. A bunch of posters all over town from the Capitol. Pointing this out because I'm expecting to see these in the movie in big capital letters. No peace, no bread. No peace, no security. No peacekeepers, no peace. No Capitol, no peace. Right? Okay. A poster of President Snow. I'm picturing it's going to be looking like this. And underneath of it, it says Pan Am's #1 peacekeeper. Shut off. This is the end of chapter 1. Is going to hit the fan. Goes to the apothecary. We finally get a name to this woman, Katniss's mother, soon to be mother one day, eventually. Astrid March. I don't know how much they're going to put her in the movie though, because she has a couple of scenes in this book. The buddings of a relationship have already started. She's working at the apothecary because remember, Katniss's mother is a healer. Katniss has already said came from town, and people thought she was stupid to move away from town and go live in the sea when she married her father. People were like, you dumb bitch. Why would you do that? Can't fight love. I can't do it. Hang on. I lost motor skills in my finger there. She's from one of the wealthier families in town, and Haymitch used to always hold that against her. Ugh, snob. There was one night where a woman was out in the middle of the square. She got beaten by some peacekeepers. Astrid gave her some medicine, didn't take any money from her. So he was like, okay, you're good in my book. So he takes the white liquor there in exchange for some cash. And she tells him to take a chamomile flower. And he knows that Burdock put him in a jar and brought him to the apothecary for her. A nice gesture. She says, take a chamomile flower because it's good luck. He tells her to wear one as well. Clearly it ain't lucky at all. The reason why he got cash was because he goes to the next door to the candy shop. I'm not going to sing it. 2 twin girls work at the Donner twins. I could only find one picture, and then I started thinking, I was like, well, there's probably only going to be, here's my theory. There's Maysilee Donner, this girl right here. Do you know, for the longest time, I thought this actress was the actress that played the baby in Good Luck Charlie. Thinking that they're gonna use this actress play her twin sister Marilee Donner. This one's Maysilee. Get off of my face. This one is Maysilee. Hear what I'm saying? Donner, Madge Donner, the one that gave her the pin. Yes. Haymitch goes over there to get a bag of gumdrops to give to Lenore Dove, their rainbow gumdrops that she loved. Has to get cash because candy shop only takes cash. They don't take what the miners get paid in, a thing called scrip, and they can use that at Capital Store. That will come back in just a chapter or two. Let me tell you how many times his name is going to be in this reaping as well. 20 times this go around. Starting at 12, your name goes in once. You get to 13, it goes in twice. 14, 3 times, and it keeps going up and up until you age out. Because he got Tesserae, he got 3 things of Tesserae. That's 4 entries. We're at year 5 for him because he's 16, so that means 20. Haymitch and Burdock's other friend, his name is Blair. Now, I wasn't sure if Blair was even going to be featured in this film. More, I looked it up. I think this guy, I'm not sure if he's like a professional actor, but I think they were holding a contest to see who would play Blair. Who this guy won. Well, I think that's really cool. I don't know how much he's going to be in the film, but him, Haymitch, and Burdock all meet up, and they're joking because they're like, everybody got all dressed up, Haymitch, for your birthday. You can see the girls all going into their pin. You can see Astrid is with the Donner twins. Because this is the point where we actually see Maysilee. Haymitch is like, she is the most stuck up, snobby, rich white girl. Rich by 12 standard. And she's just a bitch. She says that her twin Marilee is bad, but she does follow and goes along with whatever her sister says. So she doesn't and try to straighten her out. She's just like, it's time. It's f***ing time. The anthem starts to play. They have to sing, or at least mouth along, like, because if not, then they can be pulled out by the peacekeepers. They could be arrested, shot. I don't know. They need to look like we're all gonna have fun. Mayor at the time, Mayor Allister, comes out and reads the Treaty of Treason. Allister, it's rumored that she's not going to be mayor for long because Haymitch says whenever there's a good one, they don't last long. Donner twins, their father is up for mayor, which of course we know eventually it does go to the Donners because Madge is a Donner. I mentioned her in my last one, and if you watch the trailer, she's like one of the first. Oh, my bad. Stay with me. I think she's like the first thing you see. Last book, we talked about a couple of people. They weren't really main characters. Their name has trickled down into this story. There's a family called the Sickles. Drusilla Sickle. Cling close, you better do it. I feel like she's channeling whatever she channeled for Cruella de Vil. She is pretty evil. What Haymitch describes her as. She's been the escort for 12, I think the first quarter quell. She's definitely been around for as long as Haymitch has been watching. As a lot of people in the Capitol have become obsessed with plastic surgery and getting things pulled back, nip tucked and sucked. Outfit is utilitarian mixed with high fashion. So she wears like a bright yellow blazer with huge platform boots on. Got her face pinned back, thumbtacks and stuff that have a 50 marked on them. And he said last year she had buzz saws coming out of her face. I would have liked to have seen that one. The 50 ones. I want to see the buzzsaw. Very extravagant, much like how we first were introduced to Effie, a color bomb in 12. She is rude. All right, let's get our first tributes up here. Female tribute side, and she picks out the name Luella McCoy. Luella is actually one of Haymitch's neighbors, just a little tiny thing. Holds her head up high. Used to hang out with Haymitch when they were really young. I think she was like 5, and she just made it up in her mind. I love you and you're my sweetheart. Been their thing. They always called each other sweetheart. Haymitch always called Katniss sweetheart. They're very brother-sister. He even said that if I had a little sister, I really would like it to someone like Luella. He kind of wished that she could wait a couple years and maybe fall in love with Sid. Watching her go up there like, are you f***ing kidding me? Second female is Maysilee Donner, the bitch. And she's hugging on Astrid and her sister. Haymitch is like, all right, well, at least Lenore Dove is safe for another year. I need a reaction from this crowd in this movie because this is very serious. Maysilee is a town kid, and most times town kids don't get picked, although because their names are not in there as much because they have more money and don't need to put their names in more times. Also, because her father has been rumored to be the next mayor. You couldn't get her out of this? Next up, the first male tribute we have is someone named Wyatt Callow. I have already said this so many times. This would suck. A few weeks, maybe a month or two away from turning 19. So he would have aged out, have never gone to the games, started working in the mines, so he's a little bit more swole. He's very quiet. He seems calm. His family, though, is yelling and hooting and hollering. Each other in the family has cursed him. We'll get back to that. Now, one more left. Who do we think it is? It's not Haymitch. I know what you may be thinking. It's not Haymitch. The second boy going into the games is someone called, it might be Woodbine, Woodbine Chance. The last name is Chance. We know the Chances. Arlo Chance from Songbirds and Snakes. He's the one that got hung. Yes, the hanging tree man. He gets chosen. He starts to make his way up to the stage, and at the last second, he takes off and books it. People are holding back the peacekeepers, and he looks like he might have a chance. Except they've got snipers up on top of the Justice Building. They're following him, and ping! They shoot him in the head. He dies. And that is the end of chapter 1. It's always chapter 1 that gets me. This is so... I think that's why I like this one, is because these chapters were a little bit more quicker than Songbirds and Snakes. It took me forever to get through one chapter at a time. I'm gonna take a break and then we'll come back. I might work on my diamond art. I don't know. Yeah, I started diamond arting. I should have been filming yesterday, but I didn't. I started doing one little section and that turned into the entire middle part of my diamond art. I'm not kidding you. I spent about almost 12 hours sitting in one spot doing my diamond art when I should have been filming. That one's on me. Yeah, I'll take that. Well, give me a second. Let me charge everything up. Let's get back into it. I looked it up. I clarified. Woodbine. So he's dead. Now this is a twist that nobody saw coming. So chaos is ensuing. Warning shots from the peacekeepers are being fired. Haymitch says that he goes down. There's a boy who's in their grade. He's about the same age as them. Otho Malark. Peeta's daddy. Otho is the son of the baker in town. If you remember from the first book, Peeta said that his father fell in love with Katniss's mother, Astra. Otho is just standing around looking like Burdock like hits him on the back of the legs and he's like, get down, hit the deck. He's got blood in his blonde hair. Drusilla is like, what the who did that? Who fucking did that? And there's a peacekeeper on the roof and he's like, you fucking idiot. Idiots! Idiots! Now we got like 10 minutes before we gotta reset everything. Insider baseball here. The reapings are not live. They've got a little bit of a delay. All right, reset places, people. We gotta draw another name for the boys. When they're resetting everything, they get all the people that visually look like they've been next to a victim. Other people were shot too. They're firing off all the warning bullets. They hit people. Yeah, casualties were had. Get all the people that have like blood all over them. They get them off camera. I guess you're out of the running. Like, what if they ended up drawing your name? Woodbine's mother screaming and crying and begging to see her son Woodbine one last time. Lenore Dove is also with her. Like, just let her see the damn boy. Drusilla just is like, shut up. Girl, shut up. Just shoot her. Shoot both of them. I don't care. Haymitch is like, whoa, let me stop you there. He's trying to break it up. And then Drusilla's like, you know what? You're going. That's how it happened. Lenore Dove can't just keep her mouth shut. A little history with the Chance family and Lenore Dove. That's also another theory, is that her father, it's mentioned in a chapter or two, Lenore Dove and the Chance family, they always have seemed really close. It's speculated that her father could be one of the Chance men, but we don't know. It's never told who her father or her mother really is. Up for interpretation. They're saying that they're gonna shoot Lenore Dove and Woodbine's mom. Just take him in the back alley and shoot him. Plutarch. I'm excited, Jesse. They do look a lot alike. Philip Seymour Hoffman, he's playing Plutarch in this film. Don't ask me why I'm laying everybody out like this. I don't have a rhyme or reason. He says, actually, Drusilla, could we keep... He doesn't know her name. We keep Lenore Dove. I need some reaction footage. I can get a clip of her crying. And she's like, fine. I don't care. That is what saved Lenore Dove from wrong end of the gun. The girls stay up on stage. Wyatt and Haymitch kind of go up to the front of the crowd just so it's easier to find them on the camera. Drusilla never remembers Haymitch's name. Hamwich. Abernanny. Plutarch ends up writing both of the boys' names on a piece of paper, puts them on the very top of the bowl. Wyatt is called again and he's just like, this is me 12 hours before my shift. Heads to her afterwards and she's like, and then they call Haymitch's name. Oh, I mean, we knew this would happen. That is not fair. Lenore Dove out in the crowd covering her mouth, but she's not letting any emotion really show through because she does not want these cameras to pick up on it. A reaction for their TV program. She mouths the words, can you guess what I'm saying? And he says, everything just starts hitting him. I'll never be able to have day in the meadow with my girl. I'm gonna die. There's no ever after for him. Already accepted the fact I'm dying. I'm never gonna teach Sid how to do anything. Didn't fill up the cistern before I left. Comes back the second to last chapter and it's really sad. Warning. I'm never gonna watch Sid grow up. This is where he starts describing Sid a little bit. He is the dreamer. He loves the stars. Lenore Dove taught him how to chart the stars because the Covey used the stars to move throughout the wild. He's got his head in the cloud, so he'll never be around him anymore. And of course his mother, he's leaving behind a whole bunch of work for his mother and Hattie to deal with. And I tried to pretend like I didn't see the chicken that my mom had bought for my dinner tonight for my birthday. She worked like a dog, bought this chicken, which is probably really expensive. Are they gonna eat it? I'd be sick to my stomach. I'd be like, well, I don't want it now. They can't give it to their neighbors because their neighbors are in the same boat. He goes up on the stage. Drusilla is like, all right, everybody, let's clap it up for your tributes for the 50th Hunger Games, the second quarter quell. They close up the show. So dramatic, falls up against the podium like, ugh, that was tough. They get champagne or Newport, Xanax and a Newport. Well, that'll be a story to tell at all the dinner parties. Speaking of, let's leave. The crowd is not dispersing. He's like, go home, you filthy beast. Beast? How dare you?
Beast? Yeah. How dare you?
Burdock and Blair are trying to stay behind. Maybe they could say goodbye to Haymitch. Usually tributes get a chance to say goodbye to their loved ones. He knows this because here's a little backstory for you. Tribute some years ago called Saoirse Whitcomb. Father worked with Haymitch's father. He died of black lung, and that was like her only living relative. Sitting in there with nobody to say goodbye to. Haymitch's dad, King, lies and said distant cousins. So can we go say bye to her? Basically, he says, don't let them use your blood to paint their posters. Clerk Carmine and Tam Amber, they round up Lenore Dove, end up paying off one of the peacekeepers to let her go. Mr. Donner is trying to pay anybody to have them switch Maysilee out, throw his cash at everybody, and Maysilee is like, Dad, just stop it. Callows are screaming, hooting and hollering, fighting with one another, saying like, you've cursed him, you did this. Give me a chapter or two and I'll get to it. Haymitch leans down, trying to hug on Sid and his mom. Peacekeepers pull him back and Drusilla is like, you guys all lost that privilege when you started to act out. We need to get on the train and head to the capital now. Let's go. Plutarch steps in. Plutarch is very wishy-washy. I mean, we know how he ends up helping lead the rebellion. This one, if you didn't know any better, he's kind of shady. Actually, Drusilla, could I get some more shots, please? I just need like 15 minutes. She's like, fine, whatever. They only use Haymitch and Luella, the McCoys, and the Abernathys. Maysilee and Wyatt are taken onto the train and not able to say goodbye to their family. This is where it like gets flippy floppy with Plutarch because he's like, I can save you some time so you guys can actually get a goodbye in. However, we need to stage it. Give me some emotion. Positions the McCoys over here. Here's your motivation. You've just heard Luella's name mentioned. With the same emotion you had when you heard that. And action. Tries it several times. They don't give him anything. When he's like, fine, take her away. That's when the real emotion comes out. Then he turns the cameras on and starts filming that. So you're shady. He turns to Willamay and Sid. I can get you 5 minutes alone with Haymitch if you just give me what I need. They keep trying to get these shots, reactions. Sid's very confused. He starts getting really worked up because he sees his mom getting worked up. You got your shot. That's it. We're done. They give them a moment. Haymitch gives everything in his pockets. The pocket knife, gives the gumdrops to Sid and tells him to give that to Lenore Dove. And that's where his mom tells him, remember what your father said to Saoirse. That's basically it. Dragged onto the train. Did I mention he was cuffed? Because he's cuffed. You can see outside of the window, Lenore Dove runs up onto the top of a hill you can see from the train station. It starts raining and she's holding the bag of gumdrops, just like lets out the blood-curdling cry and she's like, he says, I'm glad that they didn't film that. Obviously, that's not very attractive. That is my moment with her. I can see the passion in her, the emotion. Anyway, chapter 3. At the beginning of this chapter, he's talking about how Sid would chart the constellations and that his mama, that's what I call my grandma, is mama. It was the one that said that he has his head up in the clouds. It says that he had always pictured that if anybody was going to leave 12, it was going to be Lenore Dove, because Lenore Dove, being Covey, has been told stories probably. She has talked about how she believes there are people up north like living on their own. That is a story that we've heard before. It's true, but at this time, it's like, no. She would go off into the woods. He says that he would get really scared. This is going to come back into play when he has a conversation with somebody important. He thought that she might just up and run away and leave everybody behind. Plutarch comes and gets him. They ask him if he wants to come out and join the rest of the group. Checks on Luella. She says it's not fair that they reaped you. And he's like, it's all good, sweetheart. We'll be allies. Those two agree to be allies, okay? BFFs. He's like, I don't really know if I want Wyatt or Maysilee, my ally. And Wyatt, I can't get a read on him. He's very quiet. He's got a good build to him. There's something going on behind those eyes. Did I already talk about the twins? If he could trust Maysilee. He starts thinking about how the first time he met Maysilee was in school, but he said right before they started school, his mother was pregnant, twin girls, and they died in childbirth. I hope that if they were alive, I wish that they would grow up better than the Donner twins. Maysilee is a coot. She is a see you next Tuesday bitch. Turns out that Marilee was never bad per se, but she did just follow along with Maysilee. Like whatever Maysilee did or whoever Maysilee was picking on, she just went along with it. So you're no better. You're a follower. You're a sheep. Hang on. Now I'm getting worked up.
Nothing has affected me.
Now, why is it so spicy? Okay, come back to the story. Come back to reality. An attendant comes and brings a tray of sandwiches out to the group, and Luella is looking at it like, kind of just shocked because, I mean, they don't come from much. She's never had people bring sandwiches to her. Maysilee, she says, do you really expect her to eat that with no plate and no fork, no cutlery? And the assistant's like, well, they're sandwiches. Eat them with your hands. And she's like, the disgusting. So Plutarch is like, ah, yes, you're right. So they leave again. All right, so they're all alone. Maysilee tells Luella, girl, you got to start speaking up for yourself. If you let them treat you like an animal, they will. And Luella's like, I don't need help from you,
Bitch.
And she says something like, I don't need help from somebody that tells my sister she should stop using coal for makeup powder. Meaning, Luella's sister was always covered in dirt and coal dust. Maysilee was like, yeah, well, she was never dirty ever again after that. She started washing her face. It's just showing their dynamic. Icy. And it's all Maysilee's fault. Like, she's such a bitch. That's the thing, too, is like, you kind of get a reason why Maysilee is like it. I don't think a good enough reason. She gets a little bit better when we get to the games. Overall, I'm like, why did you say that? Why are you talking to people that way? She told everybody at school that Haymitch, because he got chiggers one time, she called him Itchy Haymitchy. Gitchy goo means that I started picking on him with that, and they wouldn't come near him for a week because they thought he was contagious. And bitch, why would you do that? He's also pointing out that Wyatt flipping something in his hand. It's a script coin. And then Plutarch and the assistant come back and he like flips it and hides it away. Luella noticed this too. Haymitch saw it because Luella saw it. It doesn't matter, but whatever. Plates, napkins, forks, knives. This is... Bro, my paper just moved. Oh, okay. A cord like slipped off and it moved my entire paper by itself. I was like, what was I saying? Oh, to point out, and I better see it in the movie. I'm gonna have a little sticker I'm gonna put up. I better see this in the movie. Maysilee always eats every single thing with a fork and a knife. When they get into the game, more funny. It's like, girl, you're in the games. You can eat with your hands. Get their sandwiches. She's cutting hers up with a fork and a knife. Haymitch says he thinks that even the Donners would eat their popcorn with a fork and a knife. Plutarch tells them to watch this coverage that I just spent hours doing. Drizella had come in there. She's got a Bloody Mary in one hand, halfway undone, plops down on the couch, and she's like, God, idiots. Degrading everybody. Other escorts are so ugly that they deserve to die. They watch the other reapings that happen. It's like half and half. Careers are obviously swole as fuck. The rest are very scrawny, itty bitty, tiny. Drizella tells them all, she's like, I hope y'all can run. Why did you say that? Plutarch tells them not to worry so much about strength. Doesn't always necessarily mean you're gonna win. You could rely on the sponsors and your mentors. Haymitch obviously becomes a mentor. President Snow at once upon a time was a mentor. The rules have changed since his game. The winners of past games become the mentors, can guide them, give them tips, get their sponsors. We don't have a winner from 12. Well, we do. Her games were erased. Sorry, Lucy Gray. A couple mentors will be assigned to them from basically the leftovers, the ones that didn't get picked to mentor their own district. So Haymitch is like, we're fighting a losing battle here. They're going to be biased to their own district. They don't have to help us at all. We're set up to fail. It may not look good if the mentors from another district are helping out the ones that they get assigned to. Because if they go back home, their district is going to be like, why'd you do that? Bring it back to Lucy Gray, though, about how he's pointing out that District 12 doesn't have a mentor. Her games were basically erased. We know that someone has a hidden copy somewhere. Never talked about ever again. He asked his mama. She would have been, alive and well. His mom was dead, by the way. When the games were happening, the 10th one, as we learned here in this time, people were not watching. Yeah, I heard about her. I don't know anything about her. He talks to Lenore Dove about her, tries to, and she does not want to talk about her. Yeah, that comes back in like the second to last chapter, so we'll get there when we get there. So they're watching the rest of the reaping. Plutarch has cut in between like his family's reaction and Lenore Dove's reaction, reworked it in a way, and Haymitch points out, he's like, that ain't real. AI if I've ever seen it. And that's when Wyatt speaks up for the first time. He stacked the deck to work in our favor. It's gonna help us look better on camera. Drusilla chimes in and she says, y'all should thank this man for not making y'all look absolutely horrid and repulsive. And Maysilee says, let me get her. Actually, he helped you out and made you look competent because you can't put on a f***ing reaping. Pointing out more that they're just the playthings for the Capitol. Plutarch is very shady, and if that wasn't enough, then they bring in a birthday cake for Haymitch. Plutarch just wants it on camera just to show people, like, look how great we treat the tributes. Look at how nice we are to them. Look, we give them birthday cakes. And Haymitch is looking down at this thing like, no, I don't want it. I was telling you about how they don't do birthday cakes back at home. They only have cake on New Year's Day, and his mom spends like months planning it, working enough to get the ingredients for it. It took so much time to do, and she makes it from scratch. So he's like, this is all wrong. Birthday cakes on my birthday, wrong. His father said, like, don't let them use you. He turns around. The assistant's like, it's pineapple. Plutarch says, all right, yeah, get rid of this. Listen to this. I was hooting and hollering when I was reading this. Plutarch tells them as they get to the Capitol, they'll be assigned a stylist, and Drusilla chimes in and she's like, and y'all need it, you nasty dirty pigs. As well as like, my mom made this dress and it looks a lot better than anything that you've come up with. Maysilee and Drusilla hate each other. She's like, it looks like Peacekeeper and a canary got together and spit you out. She tells her to be careful walking in her giant platform shoes. Someone of your age could really break a bone. At your grown age, Drusilla, pissed off and offended, whack, smacks Maysilee in the face, and then Maysilee quick turns around and she's like, pow. Drusilla falls back into the couch and she's like, don't ever f***ing touch me ever again. And she's like, hang on, I gotta catch my breath. I got worked up. I'm so excited over that. Drusilla keeps a riding crop in her boot. She takes it out, whack, giving her lashings, and Maysilee's got welts and cuts and stuff. Oh my god, get up. Plutarch separates them. I have got to get these kids on camera tomorrow. Please stop. Drusilla's saying that she'll ruin her before she gets to the arena. And Maysilee comes back with, that's a lot of talk for somebody that was not even a mentor. You're not even a stylist. A low-rent escort that got assigned to the poorest district in all of Pan Am. And when I win, who the f*** is gonna be talking about you, bitch? Girl, I need you to lock the in this scene. I was eating this chapter up. This is just setting up that Maysilee, she ain't gonna be pushed around. She's not a delicate little flower. Drusilla says that she hopes that she makes it out of the arena because what's waiting for her on the other side? Hell. What makes you think that you would even be, you don't even exist to me? She's like, if I win, I'm a victor. Excuse me. I'll be up here, you'll be down here. Oh, it's so messy. Drusilla leaves. Plutarch tells him, you don't have to like her at all. And in fact, I don't know if I even like her. But she is your best chance, your best hope of getting any sponsors. So, and she's like, I just am very serious about my fashion. And Luella, your dress looks nice. Your mom did a really good job on the hem. Aw, the ice is thawing a little bit. Go to their rooms. They're going to sleep. Maysilee's like putting wet rags on her welts. Haymitch is fiddling with his striker necklace. He keeps thinking about Lenore Dove and he thinks about her name ballad, whatever. One little passage of it. If you're reading the book, when you get to the very last chapter, Suzanne Collins incorporates the entire poem. I was getting lost. I think I remember reading it when I was in freshman year of high school. And I didn't get it then, I don't get it now. At some point, I get lost in the sauce and completely confused. And I'm like, what are we even talking about? The gist of it is a man who has lost his love, most likely death. A raven perches on his windowsill. All the raven keeps saying is nevermore. And it's driving this man mad because he's like, give me some answers. Basically, the gist of it, I think, throughout the whole story, little inserts of the poem are put in. I'll just tell you this one right now. Let me channel my inner Poe. Before I start, can y'all get into The Pale Blue Eye? That is one of my favorite movies. I went on Letterboxd and some of the reviews and not everybody was getting it. They're lost, but I fucking love it. It's a story about, oh, whatever. Just go look it up. All right, I'm back. Deep into that darkness peering. Long I stood there wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the stillness gave no token. And the only word there spoken was the whispered word Lenore. I whispered, then an echo murmured back the word Lenore. Merely this and nothing more. So then Haymitch goes on to say that he learned the entire poem, sang it to her for her birthday. One time they skipped school. They went to the lake house, the infamous lake house, recited the whole poem for her, and she said that was the best birthday gift she's ever gotten. That's a lot. That's a big ass poem. Maysilee is looking over at him and she's like, what you got there? Can I see it? I'm a jewelry aficionado. He's like, it's from my girl. It's still private and it's still, no, you can't. All right, word. This is where we learn about this. For their 13th birthday, Mr. Donner took some gold pins that his mother had, were made by Tam Amber, made them about 30 years prior, and then Mr. Donner gave them to the twins. Maysilee got one of a hummingbird, Maysilee got one of a mockingjay. And Maysilee, she dropped hers down a well, like instantly, just by accident, so that was gone forever. Good job, Maysilee, you idiot. Maysilee said that mockingjays were fucking ugly. They were just an ugly looking creature. She tried to convince Tam Amber to melt it down and rework it into like a butterfly, something prettier. And he was like, no. And she said, you, threw it in the back of a drawer and just left it there. And Lenore Dove was so angry at this that she wanted to, and damn near almost did, she wanted to sneak into their home and get the pin back. But Haymitch and her uncles had to reel her back in. Haymitch falls asleep for a little bit, but not for long, because Luella wakes him up. I don't want Wyatt as our ally. What? They hear Wyatt snoring. He's sawing logs over there. He sounds like he's guiding ships through the fogs. I don't want him as an ally. His family, the Callows, they run the betting system in 12. Bets and gamble at the Hob, I'm assuming. Card games, dice. Another section, the Booker boys, that bet on the games. Her brother plays dice, so he's kind of in that circle a little bit. He told her that it was a sign they would use a script coin, show the script coin, if a game was in play. When they saw Wyatt on the train and he's flipping around a script coin, bets have been made. They continually make bets throughout the whole game. They start from the reaping. Who's going to be reaped? Are they town or seam kids? How old are they? How long are they going to last? So she's like, I don't trust them. I don't want that negative energy around me. Haymitch is like, okay, agreed. I don't want them either. They talk about Maysilee either, but it's just kind of assumed that they're like, nah. They wake up, they have breakfast. Maysilee only drinks black coffee is a running theme. So they pull into the station at the Capitol. They can see across the way District 1 because they can see a big ass man and he kicks the glass window out of the fucking train. His name is Panache. I think it's Panache. Let me double check. Panache.
Panache.
Yes, correct. He asserts his dominance everywhere he goes. He kicks out a glass window. I guess he's angry. I mean, who wouldn't be? But at the point now where the careers have been trained, warriors like Ultimate Warrior, not like Ultimate Warrior, Wyatt comes up behind everybody. And let me just read you the stats that he comes up with. That's Panache Barker from District 1, trained as a career and roughly 300 pounds. His last name suggests that he's related to a previous victor, Palladium Barker. His odds are probably 2 to 5, which would average him about 2 meals per day in the arena. He's left-handed, which could also be a good thing or a bad thing. He's a hothead, and that could get him into a lot of trouble. And the rest of the group is like, I'm an odds maker. I'm not a bettor. You need me. Keep me in your back pocket. Peacekeepers are like, no cuffs for them. They don't need cuffs because Wyatt tells them we're seen as long shots. District 12 is not a threat. Maybe use that to your advantage, maybe? I don't know. I'm just saying. Get this. They're taken to the academy. They're going to the gym. And do you remember, where are you at? Sejanus Plinth. His father bought a new gym for the academy to use in order to get his son into the Peacekeepers to keep him safe. Yes, they were using the gym, and they said that the gym has been abandoned for 40 years. It did nothing. It went to shit. Old Strabo Plinth. And I have no idea whatever happened to him. Or the rest of the Plinths. I'm assuming they died. That's something I wish we had more of by the end of it. Like, we don't get any more information about Tigress. I could have sworn she came back in this one. I don't know, maybe I made it up in my mind. Dr. Gall, we don't know. And she's mentioned once later on. I'm just guessing they died. Well, we know Tigress makes it to the end. I'm getting distracted. They're using it as the training center, but they're gonna bathe them up and clean them up because we got the opening ceremonies tonight. Yay! Ooh, you just saw all my arm fat. Ew. Yay! The boys are taken to a locker room. The girls are taken to a locker room. They get stripped down. He's upset because they cut through his mom's shirt that she made of all the handkerchiefs and throw it in an incinerator. Incinerator. That doesn't make sense. Even my camera was like, bitch, shut up. It cut off on me. They get hosed down. Panache is walking around with his wiener out, trying to intimidate them. Someone from District 11. He's like, sweet chin music him in the... They start spraying them all with insecticide. And then they're put back into their little corral. I did print off a picture. This is who's playing Panache. Apparently, you know who I was picturing? This person would probably, it's not even a person, it's an animation from Recess. You know the big blonde head kid? That might actually be more like Otho Malark. But whatever, we'll see what you can do. I didn't print off every tribute. My poor little printer could not do that. Printed off the ones that are gonna actually have an impact to the story. Now, we don't ever get to meet anybody else's stylist, but we know Haymitch's stylist, Proserpina, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and Vitus. He looks like he could be a Malark. Are you kidding me? Proserpina is supposed to have hot pink puffball pigtail things. I'm looking for that. Vitus is supposed to have apple studs in his cheeks from the university, and this is all for a grade. But we're so excited to be here working with you, okay? And even though we're doing this for a grade, we're gonna have a good time, right? They got 12 because they're not seniors. All the seniors got to pick first, and obviously they want the best of the best. Hair clipped, the insecticides washed off, trimmed up, everything Gucci. They try and tell him that despite what he may have heard about the previous stylist for District 12, it's a man named Magno Stift. Truth be told, maybe offense Billy Porter, I don't know, but I'm sick of seeing Billy Porter and everything. I already can see it play out in my head how he's gonna play this character, and it's making me just eye roll. So I'm glad that this is not a big role overall. You don't know how many times my autocorrect changed it to Mango Swift. The stylist for District 12 for the past dozen years. He's not great. I don't know how he got hired. Maybe at one point he was great. He's like addicted to drugs, opiates. You know, Katniss has mentioned this before, that in past games, District 12 tributes have always been dressed in the same exact clothes for the opening ceremonies. They want the opening ceremonies outfits to represent their district. Well, notice in this one they use colors. It's always been old coal mining clothes with a headlamp. Like, it's not glamorous at all. It's very ugly. Nasty. I felt so fat and nasty. But they said, don't you worry, bestie. He has been put in his place for the 50th Hunger Games. He's promised to come out with something very special. Also been in trouble in the past. He's been put on probation because he has an obsession with reptiles. He had a belt with a turtle on it, and it snapped at Drusilla. If I don't see you wearing snake. He's fiddling again with his necklace, and he starts thinking about Lenore Dove, to what I had already said about when she would talk about going up north, and she would leave and not be back for hours, and he would get scared that she actually really did leave. The theory of the Chance family. First time she got arrested when she was 12. A hanging that was going to be taking place for Clay Chance. They cannot stay off the noose. But the night before, they said the rope had been tampered with and filed down. So the hanging comes, he gets dropped, the rope breaks, and they end up shooting him anyway. Lenore Dove was taken in because somebody in the square had claimed to have seen her out there at night. A Chance daughter named Benny, who had a really bad heart condition, she confessed to doing the filing of the rope. She was not meant long for the world. She was going to die anyway. Is it a cover-up? Did she really do it? But it's kind of implied that it was Lenore Dove. Benny ended up dying like 3 days later. They let Lenore Dove go with a warning. Next time that she was arrested, just before their first reaping, the 46th, they found a burning Pan Am flag underneath the stage. A group of people that had like suspicious behavior had been taken in, and she was one of them. Her alibi was that she had spent the night writing a 7-page will. Her first reaping, and so she was like, if I die, I'm leaving everything to my geese. She somehow managed to make it a 7-page essay, and she read it to them, and they were like, stop. Okay, this is your second warning. Haymitch says that she's never admitted to either one of them, but he knows in his heart of hearts that she did both of them. This is where things get really not great. Time for everybody to get dressed. District 1 gets first dibs. They obviously get the best outfits. Like I said, the districts are represented more so by colors this go around. Maysilee tells another tribute named Silka, who comes from District 1, this nice snot green dress you got on. Nasty. I'm not gonna do it again. This is who's gonna be playing Silka. Baddie. Luella tells Haymitch that they had words with one another in the locker rooms. I guess Maysilee was very upset about her fashion choice. District 12 is obviously the last to get ready, and they're sitting around cooling their heels. Prep team comes back in. Drusilla comes in. Where are you? Finally, Magno shows up, and he drops down a bag, coal miner's outfit, and they're like, what the what you said you were gonna update this. He's like, I did. Look at this. He turns the light on. He's like, I changed the battery. He does not give a flying flip about if District 12 wins at all. Why am I going to put in effort on a losing team? I'll describe you his outfit if we want to watch for it in the movie. He has sun-leathered skin and a snakeskin pattern tattooed all on his body. A long metal diamond shirt with no pants. Tiny snakes dangle from his ears. They all get dressed in these ugly overalls, and they go down to the horse stables to get in their carriages. Everybody else looks so nice and fly. They all look like they're walking out of a GQ ad or something. And they look like shit. District 1 gets like these beautiful pearly white horses, and it looks like the Cinderella carriage. As you go down the list, it's like worse. And then District 12 gets these really skittish, finicky, jumpy, gray nags. They might as well have given them donkeys onto the chariot, if we can call it that. It's just a cart. It said that Luella was afraid of the horses, and like the roar of the cloud. The roar of the crowd. And Haymitch says, girl, you are miles and miles above anybody here. We're raised better, you're stronger, you're wittier, you're smarter. Girls get up front, boys get in the back. You don't have time to take their pictures. They're supposed to be taking pictures, by the way. They take off running. The crowd is fucking drunk as hell. They're partying. All of them are pretty much blacked out. Imagine Daytona and they're hanging over. They're trying to throw things. One guy like falls out of the stands trying to swing at Maysilee. Get it together, people. Get this. Let me get an X ready. A firework come over into the crowd and it explodes right in front of their horse, obviously making the horses freak out. They rear up. They end up taking out District 10's cart. They're holding on for dear life. Hit into District 6's carriage. The wheels, it up. And Luella turns around at the last second, wanting to hold on to Haymitch. The cart goes up. They fly up probably like 20 feet in the air and they land down. And Haymitch he feels blood. This is probably for the best. At least I'm going to die right here. Hopefully they won't even air this instead of some nasty, brutal death in the arena. That's not my blood. We didn't even get to the arena. And Luella is dead. Yeah, she cracked her head on the pavement. Luella is already out. What in the hell? Luella's body, it looks like a baby bird, small, frail, bony. Wyatt and Maysilee held onto the cart so they didn't get thrown. Maysilee ends up putting one of her necklaces on Luella's body. It was a purple and gold flower necklace. She said she had planned to give that to her before they went into the games so she could have a token and have something to take. The medics go ahead and start heading out that way. Haymitch picks up Luella's body. Not like this. Wyatt says, you know they're gonna take her anyway. But Maysilee says, make them fight for it. Don't just hand her over. He takes off running down towards the president's mansion. And he's like, I don't know why I did it, but I just did it. He's the fastest kid in 12. The only one that was faster was Woodbine. That's not funny. Stop laughing. I'm fast. I'm fast as boy. They're not filming him. 1 or 2 screens are filming him, but everything else is a Pan Am seal. Probably not even airing this at home. They probably cut it just before the firework even went off. They did. Medics are going everywhere. Peacekeepers are going everywhere. Pandemonium. District 6 chariot, whatever, ended up in the stands. People in the stands are going nuts. He sees District 1 has gotten off of their chariot because the horses have stopped. Panache is trying to yeah. Panache wants to make it to the mansion. He's like, all that. I need to be the first one to get in front of President Snow. Haymitch jumps on. The horses start going. Panache is looking at watching his chariot go away But Haymitch is on the chariot up to the president's mansion and lays Luella's body in front of the President Snow. Let me show you who is playing our President Snow. Ray Fiennes, Lord Voldemort. How does it feel to be in 2 major franchises? I think he'll do an okay job, but you know what? Why would you not cast Kiefer Sutherland? He looks almost exactly like him. Maybe he didn't want to. I didn't ask him. President Snow. Oh my gosh, he's wearing his Academy red jacket. Same color. And Snow is calm and cool and collected. There's not a thought behind those eyes. There is many thoughts behind his eyes, but we don't know it. That's what makes him so scary. When he lays down Luella's body, he steps back and he just starts slow clapping in his face. On the screen, they're not showing Luella's body, so it just looks like he's clapping to President Snow. And Snow looks over at the screen and then he looks back at him, but he's focusing in on his striker, and his face changes and he gets very serious, and it's the snake and the mockingjay. Peacekeepers come and get Haymitch and take him back. The crowd is hooting and hollering at him. What's your name, boy? Give me your name so I can sponsor you. And he's like, my friend just died brutally. So he starts spitting at the crowd and they love it. They end up getting back into the stables. Wyatt comes up to him, congratulated him on letting people know that not to mess with 12 and putting him on the map, that the performance that he just gave should bring him some sponsors. And Haymitch is like, dude, Luella just died. He's like, yeah, well, she wasn't going to make it very far. Haymitch says something snarky. What does your dad predict for your odds? 40-1. And Haymitch tells him he must be a long shot too for his own father to put him at such terrible odds. Maysilee even tells him, man, that was cold even for me. He could have gone into a different line of work than what his family does with the betting and the odds making. Maysilee says, no, he couldn't. None of us really get a choice. We all end up doing the same thing that our parents did. I was going to run the candy shop. He's going to go to the mines and do the betting. You're going to the mines like your dad. Anyway, she's just giving him a hard truth lesson. Someone comes up to him. I don't want to tell you about him because it doesn't end well. A little boy comes up to Haymitch, and he's about the same size as Sid. He's very small and frail. His name is Ampert. Yeah, from District 3. They're cuffed up again, and he tells him, that, if I had a hairpin, I could get out of these cuffs. So Haymitch gives him a safety pin, and he says, my mom's the one that taught me how to do this. She's the mechanical one. District 3 is technology. Smart, smart, smart. He knows a lot of things that can actually be useful in the arena if you're looking for an ally. And Haymitch is like, bruh, I'm not trying to be mean, but no, I had one ally and she just died. He doesn't say it that harshly, but I don't think I'm ally material for you. The offer's on the table and we're building up a really big group of allies. So far, we got all of District 3, 7, and 8. District 11 they're debating. So just saying, the offer's on the table if you want it. He ends up unhooking his cuffs. And, I could show you a little bit more if we had more time, but we don't. So goodbye. He sees on the board list of the names of all the tributes. So I made a big giant list for us. They're color-coded. Color-coded. Whoa. So I'll go through the list as per usual. Sorry if I f it up. District 1, boy, Panache, Lupe. Girls, we got Silka, Carrot, or Karat. 2 boys, Alpheus. The other boy is Janus. Sounds like somebody we know. Sejanus. First girl, Camilla. Second girl is Nona. 3, obviously we have Amper, Lect. Girls are Dio and Coil. 4 boys are Urchin, Angler. I wrote that really nice. Girls are Barba, not Barbara, and Marriott. District 5, boy, Highchell. Refer to the board. 5 boy in the 10th games was High. I'm paying attention. Fizzer. It made me think of like anal fissure. The girls from District 5 are Anian and Patina. District 6, we've got Miles, Atred, Welly. We do have a picture of Welly. That's going to be Welly, apparently. I also have Mary at District 4. Sorry, I meant to mention her too. Miles, Atred, Welly, and Velo. District 7, Bircher, Heartwood. The girls are Autumn and Ring Gina, who's playing her. And that's the last of my tributes. District 8, we got Wefton, Ripma, Notion, and Alana. District 9, Ryan, Clayton, Kerna, Midge. 10, Buck, Stamp, Lanny, Peeler. If my mom or dad named me Peeler, be throwing hands to the courthouse. District 11, sorry, it's really dark, but Hull, Tile, Chicory, and Blossom. At 12, we got Wyatt, Haymitch, Luella, and Maysilee. I think we can go ahead and... Luella, you're dead. It's making a reappearance. Everybody hated that I used like a dry erase board marker on paper. It's made a reappearance just so I can piss you off again. This is our list of tributes represented by colors. District 12, it should have been black, but you wouldn't be able to see the names. When they get into training, each group is going to wear their district color. They get to the van, they can hear the peacekeepers. They're like, where's their mentor at? Like, I don't know. They didn't get one. So they're going back and forth like, what the do we do with these kids? I don't know, just take them to the apartment. I'm not babysitting, I got a party to go to. Apartment that the tributes are going to be staying at. It's never said, but I'm picturing it's the apartments that Strabo had redone. Maybe it wouldn't be that upscale, I don't know. The peacekeeper that's taking them up there is like, listen here, you're on camera. All times, every room has several cameras. Watch what you say, because it will be used against you. Apartment, it's dressed up by somebody very capital. Fluffy, soft furniture, got portraits of poodles that dressed up in tuxedos, burnt orange. I'm expecting to see some burnt orange here. It smells like ham bean soup. And he says, he only had that at home after somebody had died. Dad died after my mama died. My twin sisters died. One of their mentors comes around the corner. Wyrus. Maya Hawk, do your thing. They recognize her because she had just won the games the year prior, 49th Hunger Games. We know Wyrus right here. We know Wyrus from Catching Fire. Ended up dying in that arena, but she was very fidgety and wired. She's not like that now. She's a little weird. Her whole arena, I don't know if I'd want to see this, was made of mirrors. So she found out a way to outsmart the arena. A mirror maze. They thought they were seeing something run this way. They run to it. They run off a cliff. Think that somebody's charging at them from this way. In fact, they're charging at them from this way. It's a big mind. Interested to see if they put it in the film. Wyrus was able to hide in plain sight on a ledge above a lake where she got her food and water. Game makers sending in her sponsors had a hard time of even finding her. They were doing her interview. Like, how did you find out where to hide? I just followed the light beams. You idiots. District 3, by the way, very smart. While they joked about it, you could tell that they didn't appreciate her outsmarting their own arena. When it came down to her and the boy from 6 revealed her hiding spot. The boy tried to run to her but ran into a wall and cracked his head, and that's how she won. Haymitch first sees her. He's not happy. This is what we got as our mentor? Are you f***ing kidding me? She's never killed anybody. What does she know about protecting anything? How are you gonna help me at all? You found a loophole and that was it. He's not happy about it. Tomorrow when he wakes up, he'll be fine. It's actually like, you know what? I need to take a chill pill. Another one comes around the corner. Mags. This is gonna be Mags. Miss Carolyn Perrin. Haymitch recognizes her, not from her games, because by the time we get to the 75th Hunger Games, she is old. She would have been alive when the first one was going on. She would have been very young. He recognized her because a couple years back, a boy from 4, she's District 4 by the way, came back from the games and then was forced to watch all the kills, and Mags came up and like held on to him and comforted him. She's so mother. She's always been that way, okay? Because we know with Finnick, oh shit. I slipped out of my sorry. Finnick. Hello. Where are you? Oh, Finnick. Okay. Mags is his mentor and she's very motherly towards him. That's all I wanted to say. She goes up to Haymitch. She's like, I'm so sorry about your friend, and gives him a hug. And you know, sometimes that's all it takes. Really try your best to hold it together. When somebody is like, are you okay? He just breaks down and starts crying. All right, I'm putting the brakes on it. We are on chapter 7. I gotta let everything cool down. I gotta sit. I'll be back. Don't you worry, I'm coming back. It's another day. My board fell down. I did just take a shower, so if my hair's wet, then shut up. Finish part 1. Okay, come back to me. Come on. Our mentors are officially Wyrus and Mag. Mags takes Haymitch and tells him, just take a shower. Go soak in the tub. There's a camera in the bathroom. Okay, that's weird. That's suspicious. What is the Capitol wanting with that footage? The Peacekeeper said they are watching everything. His coal miner outfit, and he tosses it up on the camera because he's like, some privacy, please. Washes off all the blood. He gets out and they all have to wear the same outfit. 12 gets black t-shirt and black pants. To training, they're all going to be dressed in their district colors. They kind of ended there because Mags and Wyrus are like, you've had a day. We'll talk strategy tomorrow. They go to bed. Something to point out, Wyatt still snores in his sleep very loudly. Maybe he's just a loud sleeper, so that's not going to be good when we go into the arena. So they go out to breakfast in the morning. All of them are dressed exactly the same. Maysilee says something about, are we all going to be dressed like triplets? That they tell her yes. Also, she's only having black coffee, and they tell her should really start filling up on food. So she gets a piece of bacon, one piece, and just cuts it with a fork and a knife. That girl loves her cutlery. But to get back to it, Haymitch says, didn't you like dressing up as your sister or being a twin and all? And she was like, no, my mother really liked it. I didn't. So that's where she wears a lot of jewelry to distinguish herself from her sister, to have her own personality. That's what I was gonna say. If this was her villain origin story, that her mom dressed her up like her sister and she was always compared to her sister and it was always those two together, that is a weak ass excuse to be mean. That ain't no reason to be mean and spiteful to people. So they tell them that Magno is put on probation. I don't know why I was thinking the word prohibition. Like, that doesn't make sense. Probation because of the lack of effort. I mean, come on. What are you doing here? There's plenty of people that can take your spot. Hang on, I gotta wet my whistle.
I gotta stop drinking them thing, man.
Oh God. That was like electricity going down my throat. Oh, I'm awake. And they just say that they hope that he'll get himself together and give them something appropriate for their interviews. Start talking about training, and Mags mentions she likes to ask what they want to get out of the games, and she's like, the obvious answer is you want to live and you want to make it home. Besides that, since there's only going to be one winner, what is something that you want to get out of this? The thing that she wanted most, she wanted to protect her district partner. Wyrus had said that she didn't want to die in the dark or at nighttime. And of course we know Haymitch had said that him and Luella were going to be allies, and that was going to be his main mission because he really just didn't have a lot of hope that he was going to make it out of this thing. His main goal in these games is to protect her. Well, that didn't work out because she's dead. So then he just says that he doesn't want his friends and family back home to see him die a slow and nasty death. Oh, I should say that throughout the first couple of chapters, Haymitch has mentioned about the mutts, specifically these weasel mutts that have come out in previous games. I need to reiterate that for something that's coming up in just a couple chapters. Wyatt says that he just doesn't want to have his death drawn out for people to start placing bets on. Sorry, what's happening here? What is this? I'm getting distracted. I cut my bangs, and I think my cowlick is moved. If I have an Elvis moment, I'm in an orb, mama.
I'm gonna trap me in the orb.
Maysilee says that she wants to go out with her head held high and some pride. Everybody pretty much, if they're gonna die, they just want to die quick. So Haymitch looks up into the camera and he's like, how do I say this without... is wanting to explain to the group that he wants to make sure the Capitol knows that they don't own them. It sounds a lot like PETA's speech. Make the Capitol realize what they're doing to us by putting kids in here. Retaliation that happened 50 years ago that we have had no part in. That they're there because the Capitol won a war and thinks this is still the right way to punish the districts. Maysilee is asking if he's meaning he wants to end the Hunger Games. And he's like, I didn't say that. Game makers, I didn't say that. But yes, you keep reminding the crowd that they are real human beings and not just some animals. Mentions that he's not clever enough like Wyrus is to break the arena, cheat the arena like she did. And she's like, au contraire, Pierre. The arenas are just machines and every machine can be broken. Legally Blonde, where she's like, what? Like it's hard? So Wyatt has his script coin and he's flipping it around. The way that we need to do this is we need to get this on camera and make sure people are watching. And if it involves a death in the game, then they're sure to cover it. Not necessarily. Always have everybody's death on camera, whether they're going to show it the way it happened. is not a guarantee.
Why you got all those sodas on you like that?
Mag says that risky because it can put your allies at risk. And Maysilee's like, oh, don't worry about that. Haymitch says that he doesn't want us as allies. This is when Haymitch brings up District 3 has offered to have us all join like a mega alliance, looking to be careers versus everybody else. What's your face? Iris says that she came up with a little song that she sang to herself to remind her what's important. So let me tell you. First, avoid the slaughter, get weapons, look for water, find food and where to sleep, fire and friends can keep. So in her case, she knew she was not a fighter. I'm not heading for the cornucopia. I don't need those weapons. My brain is my weapon. Water. I thought I was going to burp. You need more water before you need food. An empty stomach, rather. I knew it was coming. Pay attention in training. Sprinkle clues around in the training center about what the arena is supposed to be. She went through it. They had a lot of reflective surfaces, like reflective bowls. I can't remember everything, but they get taken down to the training center, and Wyatt is told by Maysilee that he needs to look more tough. We need to present ourselves like we're nothing to with. Maysilee slapped back Drusilla. Haymitch took Luella's body and ran it all the way up to President Snow. So Wyatt, you need to buck on them. Everybody's in their designated colors. Bleachers on one side that have been roped off by district, and at the very tippity top, the game makers that are going to be watching for the next day or two. Taking notes is going to go towards their score at their final presentation of their skills, and then they'll get ranked between 1 and 12. That could help your sponsors. The crowd is not watching their training. It's a closed set. People at home don't know who's the best. They're scouting them, okay? To the knife throwing where District 7 is at. Now, Haymitch practiced with knives because him and Burdock and Blair, specifically Blair, was really good at knife throwing. And they played a game called Mumblety-Peg. 7's over there. And Regina introduces herself to Haymitch. He starts complimenting on her knife throwing. Maysilee's not that bad either. It's like they're having fun. We've been having a really good session with the knife throwing. But at the end of it, I can't kill her. And I can't kill him. You might as well just join up as a team. But then, Panache comes over and ruins the party. Panache is upset that Haymitch took the chariot from him. He comes over there with the end of a sledgehammer and jabs it into Haymitch's ribs. So then the peacekeepers come over, tase Panache, drag him away. There's commotion everywhere. The tributes, most of them, all have their hands on a knife. And Haymitch points out there actually wasn't as many peacekeepers around. And he looks at Regina and they're kind of like, if you do it, I'll do it. Because they're like, if all of us took a knife and went up to each peacekeeper and finished them off, then we could take all those game makers up there. What's stopping us? The situation diffuses. Somebody comes around and collects all the knives, and him and Regina said, we could have really caused some damage there. Then Plutarch has his camera crew with him, filming everything for mainly their propos. And he's like, you probably could do a bit of damage, so why didn't you guys? What's stopping you? Asking just in general, like, why do you guys, and why do I put up with this shit? I follow these rules just because they're set out and they instill fear in us. I mean, if that's all, why don't we just push back? Haymitch and Regina are like, because they'll kill us. Haymitch tells him he doesn't think of it as the district submitting to the capital, but Plutarch says that it's implied. And Haymitch is like, you dumb hoe, we just don't want to get shot or dragged through the city square, okay? Plutarch acknowledges that he can see the starvation, shootings, hangings in the districts, but thinks that the fear that the capital is trying to inspire justifies the arrangement they all find themselves in. We've already talked about this. It's all a vicious cycle. Dr. Gall and Snow learning that without these small little wars that we have, which are the games, chaos will ensue.
Why you got those sodas on you like that?
I need my orange juice.
He's like, well, why does anybody agree to do any of this? Why do any of this? And why do I agree to this? The group is looking at him like, I don't know how to unpack your midlife crisis here. I don't understand. He kind of closes up statement with, it's just something to think about. Surely is Plutarch, because what are you talking about? Of course we know that Plutarch eventually at the third quarter quell, I almost forgot what year we were in, he is the one that's kind of spearheading end of the Hunger Games. He apologizes to Haymitch over Luella's death. Haymitch doesn't really have much to say to him. I'm sure the footage looked really great. The footage was cut as soon as the firework went off. Like, they edited it around and made it very tasteful. Haymitch snaps at him. Can you leave me alone? Haymitch gets Wyatt and Maysilee together and he's like, forget what we just said in the van. We don't need to be the wild cards here. We need to join this alliance and we need to get District 7 over there to join us too. Maysilee, don't be a bitch. Don't say anything about their appearance or their hair, their smells. I don't know. You might scare them off and you're really rude. Wyatt, don't be fucking weird with that math odd making shit. Nobody knows what you're talking about. So just act cool. Ampert comes up and says that District 10 is going to be with their alliance. I think it was Buck from District 10 gave him a wire that they were in a booth somewhere working with wires, and Buck was just like, here, Ampert, take that as his token because he didn't bring one from home. Larry yet? lariat. Maysilee says that she can rework it and braid it. He can actually wear it because the way he's wearing it, it makes him look like he's stuck in chicken wire. I'll braid it down and we can, fasten it with the safety pin that Haymitch gave him. Well, Ampert tells Haymitch in the meantime, you need to go see my dad. He's over in the booth with the potatoes. So Haymitch, of course, is like, that's a fucking joke. But he walks around and he sees someone in a booth with potatoes. BT Latier. I thought this was ludicrous at first glance. BT is right here. He was the winner 16 years ago. He won his games by electrocuting Why did I say it like that? Electrocuting everybody. Mentors are not, 9 times out of 10, are not usually allowed in the training at all. He's been sent here to work with his son. He's being punished, here to watch every last minute of his son's life and eventually his death in the games. He explains that he's there because he was trying to sabotage the Capitol's communication system and he almost had it, but he got found out. He tried to wait. If he was going to get found out, it would have been a little bit later past the games. If it were the case that he got found out later on, he would have just K-worded himself, eliminated himself from the problem. But because his brain is way too powerful and they need him, because BT ends up making a lot of for the Capitol, security, communications. We know that he designed the wire that ended up in catching fire in that arena. It was used to blow up the arena, so valuable to the Capitol. So instead of killing him or putting him in jail or whatever, he's in a mental prison. They said, we'll put your son in the games and we'll make you go with him throughout the entire process and watch him die. That's your punishment. I don't know if Ampert knows all this. It's never said if Amber realizes it. I mean, I'm sure he's probably like, why are you here, Dad? Also, as punishment, he's been sent there to work in the training center, and so they gave him a booth full of potatoes, probably as an insult because there's no guarantee that there'll be even potatoes to use in the games. He's going to teach Haymitch how to build a light bulb out of a potato. It can be done. I think I did this in high school. Maybe I should get my glasses so we can have our science lesson. Anything with a phosphoric acid. Yeah, I know stuff. Can be used, not just a potato juice, or you could use a lemon. I don't know how many lemons are in the arena. But any rooted vegetable. You need copper and you need zinc. So let's have our science lesson here. Get your notebooks out. Wow, I can see every little fleck on my glasses. This is disgusting.
Warning, warning. Do not eat anything after you've used it as a battery or a light.
Any food used, don't eat it. For all you at home that are going to try this experiment, small baggies full of little things that you can use to light the potatoes, a couple of nails, a pair of copper coins, many coils of water, and 2 tiny light bulbs, and of course, your tater. I'm reading from my notes because I don't know how this works. It's copper and zinc and phosphoric acid, which is in the tater juice, okay? You don't have to have the nails and you don't have to have the coin. You can dig for metal and you can find it usually anywhere. But the phosphoric acid is what's conductive, and it makes it possible for the ions to travel between 2 metals. They're making a circuit. He wraps the coil around the coin and the nails, and he's shoving them into 2 potatoes. Like, boiled potatoes would be better. And Haymitch says, well, if I have a way to make boiled potatoes, I don't need a light. And he's not trying to be an ass. And BT kind of laughs at this and he's like, I'm glad you're paying attention. Haymitch asks him if he knows anything about any clues about the arena. Wyrus has told him to look for some hints. And BT says, I don't know anything about the layout, but Wyrus is very smart. I mentored her last year. Listen to what she says. She's not lying. Keep your eyes peeled, but I don't know anything. I need to take these off. Now I'm blind. Now I can't see. He gets the potato glowing. It works. Imagine if it didn't work. What if he was like, yeah. Let me try it again. But Haymitch starts trying to pry more and more about, is it true the arenas are machines? Wyrus says that we can break the machine. She's putting a lot of confidence in me. I'm not that smart. And so BT's kind of looking around, making sure nobody's listening to him. We're talking about potatoes, right? Let me put my glasses on for this because BT, he's looking down at the potato and then he looks up through his glasses and he's like, are we talking about potatoes or the arena? Well, if you see this potato I've got going on here, closed circuit, it's a big circle. If you snip one of these wires, it'll break the circuit. A peacekeeper comes over because the peacekeeper is just like, whoa, what the dude, that's a tater and it's glowing with light. They don't say that, but in my head, that's what they're thinking. And that brings over district whatever. Everybody starts crowding over around the table. Edie says, it was nice meeting you, Haymitch. You know what's really funny is that you were born when I was reaped to go to the games. He gives him a handshake. When he lets go, Haymitch has got a packet of the nails, coins, the wire, maybe to use in the game. Oh, it's lunchtime. Let's eat some lunch. Actually, hold up. I gotta say something. Maysilee, who's finished up with Ampert's lariat, and Ampert gives her a hug and he says, oh, I wish you were my sister. And she says, I can be your sister. Okay, but it will come back in like part 3. So they go to lunch, districts that have joined the newer alliance so far. Obviously, all the careers, District 1, 2, and 4 are their own group. Basically, the only ones that don't belong to an alliance yet are District 11, 9, 6, and 5. And Ampert, he's small, but he's mighty. He's got a voice on him. And he kind of takes charge of their meeting. Careers are always statistically better at the game. They train their whole lives for this. We don't. We might get them with numbers instead of brute strength. And everyone thinks that their odds are not in their favor, but he's sure they can beat the odds. Of course, Wyatt perks up and he's like, what'd you say about odds? What did you say? Let me tell you about them. Okay. It's not probable, but it is possible. And Regina asks, if we end up defeating all of the careers and it's just us left, then what? So Maysilee says, then we'll just have another big meeting and decide from there and regroup. On the other side of the gym, the careers are all sitting together. Panache goes up to District 6 and takes one of their trays for their lunches and yanks it out of one of the boys' hands. He starts wheezing. He's a Carl Wheezer. A girl kind of throws herself on the ground and starts crying. It ends up being Welly. So Haymitch goes over there with the tray that was meant for Luella. Sorry about that. Hope you're okay. Here, we have extra food if you want it. They apologize for Luella dying, and you can see that they've got beat up from their chariot. You didn't do it. I don't blame you, and I never blamed you at all. You know, if you want to join our group over there, more than welcome to. He can see the 4 of them coming over there to him, and their color, I should point out, this was the only gray I could find, but it's like a dove gray color. So he's like, it must have been a sign from Lenore Dove to take care of them. And then Regina says that they need to find a name, like how the careers have a name. They don't need a name that shows that they're trying to be something they're not. They're not tough. They're not careers. They're the underdogs. Haymitch says that when father was alive, he would always call him Nettie Newcomer. And that was something they used in the mines too, that if you were new to anything, if you had just started there, or just learning any kind of new skill in life, people would just call you Nettie Newcomer. They are going to be called the newcomers. I'm going to mark off on here who's career and who is a newcomer. C, N, C, neutral. Newcomer. 10. Okay, everybody else is unclaimed. Oh, so sorry. They go from station to station and just try and soak up any knowledge that they can. Doves from 6, they really hang on to Haymitch, glued to his side. It's like, I hope they know I can't take care of them in the arena. I'll protect them as much as I can, but I can't protect them all. Also, District 3 is actually really impressed by Wyatt's odd-making skills. Just like how Haymitch was like, don't scare them away. Well, they're actually really intrigued by this. All the tributes bring their tokens to Maysilee so she can rework them into something they can wear, like a necklace or a bracelet. Welly, she's from District 6. That is transportation. So she brought a little bicycle bell. Miles from 6, he has a train whistle. District 10, which is livestock, they all brought horseshoes. 7 is lumber, and they have like little wood carvings. Girls from 8, textiles and fabrics and clothes, have sewn dresses on little dolls. There's one kid from District 3, I don't know which one, but one of them brought a doorknob, and we never know what the hell it's used for. I'm not really sure how that works with technology, but okay. But she tells the girls, brush your hair, sit up straight, be proud, boys, stop biting your nails, walk with a little bit of dignity, okay? Really shocks Haymitch. They all love her. She seems very big sister. They get in the van, but it's a short ride and it gets stopped. And then a peacekeeper opens up the door and is like, you, Haymitch, get out. They drop him off in front of a giant mansion that stretches like the entire street. Plutarch Heavensby walks out and he's like, change of plans. There's been a last minute schedule change and the president would like to talk to him and has second thoughts about his performance. Oh no! Well, this is bad. Hold up.
But that's sort of.
He goes into the mansion. I was trying to do the math. Hilarious Heavensby was one of the mentors with Snow at the 10th Hunger Games. It's safe to say that Hilarious Heavensby is Plutarch Heavensby's father, if not his grandfather. I just wanted to point that out. Heavensby lineage goes on and on and on, because when they walk down the hallway, I hope to see this in the movie. There's giant paintings of all the past Heavensbys. They're all holding something. A scale, a harp, a ruby-studded cup, a leafy branch, a glossy white bird, a sword, a turkey leg. So we better see that. I love how at the beginning I said,
I'm not super picky about what goes into the movie.
A library, wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling with books. And at the corner, there is a spiral staircase with a golden stair with an eagle rested at the top. That is like a signature here, okay? Library, it's just a great room for people to come and talk. Takes a breath because he's like, okay, talking is fine. It's not killing. Starts thinking about how much Lenore Dove would love this room. She's a reader. She loves books. Books are very hard to find anywhere in Pan Am. Every now and then, if he found a book in the hall, he would pick one up. It didn't matter what it was. And he would save it for her. The last one he gave her was a book full of poems that she turned into songs. The kids in 12, they learn their basic arithmetic, letters, and a few words here and there. They're not really pressed on on having them read comprehensively, maybe up to like a 3rd grade level. They're like, that's good enough. But Plutarch asks him, do you read? And he says, I can. Plutarch says, reading is not very common here either. He opens up a drawer, liquor bottles and stuff, and he's like, well, what's your poison? Haymitch says that he doesn't drink, but he's looking at all the bottles. I could tell all of these are white liquor, but they're dyed with some coloring or whatever. There's pink, there's peach. You want that real moonshine? You come out to 12. You gotta go out to the mountains. That real popcorn Sutton, white lightning. Put some hair on your chest. Each one of them has a little nameplate. He pulls up one, Nepenthe. Haymitch knows what that is because it's from Lenore Dove's song, her poem, The Raven. Plutarch is like, you probably haven't heard of this one before. Haymitch is like, all right, stand back, spit a little verse. Quaff, oh quaff, this kind Nepenthe. Plutarch, shocked, finishes it for him. And forget this lost Lenore. Haymitch is shocked because he's like, out of all these books, why is that the one poem you memorized? And don't say my girl's name ever again. I don't like it. The question is the Nepenthe the liquor itself or the drug added to the drink? Lenore Dove has brought up that same question. They talked about what the poem means. A guy who lost his love, and so he drinks his sorrows away with the Nepenthe. And Haymitch says he thinks the good thing about it is that it makes you forget terrible things. Plutarch tells him back in the day they would have added morphling to it, and people got too addicted to it, and so they had to pump the brakes on that one. They go out into a conservatory, greenhouse. Plutarch, his family grows beautiful, big flowers, because he's never seen a conservatory before. He's like, this is kind of silly to have the outside fenced in. Like, there's birds flying around, there's trees growing. Okay, I'll say it. This is weird. Everything out there has a nameplate. And they go up to this one plant, long-stemmed plant. I think it's like a pinky purple color. It's got a lid over it. That's the Nepenthe plant. The nectar that pools up at the bottom is the Nepenthe. The nectar attracts insects. It's like a Venus flytrap. They slip in there, they can't get out, and the lid closes and they die. Haymitch says, well, that's one way to drown your sorrow. And Plutarch is like, you got it. You're the first one ever that's gotten the reference. That's exactly what it is. So then Haymitch is like, boy, what am I doing here? I don't want to look at plants with you. Well, then a voice comes up from behind him. You're here to see me or some shit. It is President Snow, and he looks so sick, sweating like hell, hunching over a fountain, and he starts puking into the fountain. Plutarch is like, oh, sir, God bless. Oh, stop that. President Snow, through all of his bleh, he doesn't look ashamed at all. He's kind of almost proud of it, and we can see a little blood dribbling out of his mouth too. We know by Mockingjay, Finnick has outed President Snow, poisoning friends, colleagues, in order to get information or just to torture them. Evil! He must want Haymitch to see, but figures that he'll be dead soon in the game, so maybe it's for Plutarch to see. Plutarch gets under one arm, and he kind of hints for Haymitch to get under the other arm. And Haymitch says that at this point it made him human to be that close to President Snow. Smell this nasty vomit coming from him, feel the flesh, and he's like, you're just a human. You're not a big scary monster. I mean, you are, but you're flesh and bone. Plutarch tells him, maybe we should go see a doctor. And he's like, no doctor. Milk. Plutarch is like, what? Okay, oh sure. Haymitch, look behind you in that little cabinet over there. There should be a pitcher of milk back there. Some reason. He's like, maybe if I take my time, maybe he'll die. Plays dumb. What cabinet is this? How do I open this knob? And Snow goes into another coughing fit. Plutarch is busy with him, and Haymitch, in a split second, he's like, okay, here we go. And he drinks the entire pitcher of milk. God bless him. I would have thrown up all over the place. Also, the pitcher of milk, I need to point this out. It's in the shape of the staircase, the golden staircase with an eagle on top. He drinks it all, and he comes back over there, probably with a milk mustache. It's gone. Plutarch knows what he did, but instead of outing him and saying that, he says, those servants, those stupid idiots. I'll go get some more. Leaving Haymitch and President Snow alone. Seems scary seeing him on the cusp of dying, but Haymitch says it's also scary that he's not helping him at all. Before the reaping, he would have been right by his side doing all he could to help, but Luella's death has changed him. I ain't helping you for shit. You can choke. And he says sometimes the cure is worse than the disease itself, and Haymitch is like, what'd you say? What? The disease in question is incompetence.
Yeah, but it has orange juice.
Oh hell, there's one swig left. So Plutarch comes in with the extra pitcher of milk. He drinks that all in one sitting, and then he asks for more and some bread. Plutarch is like, ew, are you sure? And he's like, I just got some food poisoning, bad case of oysters. And he shared a bad batch of oysters with the parade master. I can't say his name. Incatius, Lumi, we'll just say Lumi, was in charge of the entire opening ceremony. Plutarch leaves, he's gonna go get the milk and the bread. Snow is looking at all the books and telling him how he had to burn his books from childhood. During the war, they had to burn their books for heat. So he undoes a little tiny bottle and drinks it. An antidote, maybe? Hilarious, my friend from school. friend was a whiner, but Plutarch is pretty useful sometimes. And then Haymitch says, yeah, well, you can catch a lot of more flies with honey than with vinegar. Snow is like, from 12, y'all have such funny ways of talking. I'm sure since I've been there, much has not changed. I'm not sure if it's ever explained he went to 12 to do his peacekeeping. I know he was a peacekeeper, but I don't know if it was ever said where he went to. I don't know why it would really be a secret, but so he asks to see his necklace. A little weary about it, so he kisses it and gives it over to him. They do love their birds over there, don't they? And a nice inscription on there too. Yeah, there's an inscription that he didn't even know about. Haymitch. Snow asks who LD is. Haymitch knows that President Snow most likely has already seen the raw footage of the reaping. So he's like, there's no point in lying. He knows I got a girl. Only says her name is Lenore. Snow is like, well, let me guess. What does the D stand for? It's always got to be a color. Haymitch is like, how does he know that? Of course, we as an audience know he's got a history with the covey. He just tells him it's Dove. Smacks his head and he's like, of course it's Dove. He's being very snarky with his delivery. He gives it back. The inscription says, I love you like all fire, LD. He tells Haymitch that doves are outliers. The birds that he's ever encountered are vicious. And then blood starts dripping out of his mouth. You are rotting from the inside out, you old man. I know things about your girl. I know that she probably swishes herself around in these colorful dresses, plays beautiful music, and you picture your life with her.
Well, it's never gonna happen.
If it didn't happen to me, it's not gonna happen to you. She also talks about big dreams that she might have and maybe leaving one day. But are you a part of those dreams? And Haymitch has to admit to himself, he's like, it has scared me in the past because she does talk about wanting to leave, wanting to go up north. Sometimes she gets a spacey look in her eye about what else is out there. She'll go off into the woods hours on end and he's afraid that maybe she just up and left. There's also things that she doesn't tell Haymitch, like about the arrest. It's on a need-to-know basis sometimes with her. I mean, I think we're pretty good, but I don't know, maybe. Just says that I love her and she loves me. Snow is like, yeah, I don't doubt that. That wind is brutal. You probably can't hear it on the camera or on the mic. He says he's sending him to his death, and Snow says his behavior has secured that outcome in the game, but to think of the positive. So he just has flat out told him, I will have you killed. But think of the plus side, like on the other end of this, your family, yeah, it's gonna suck, but they'll move on and let them live their lives. Yeah, big news. He's going to have him killed. He tells them deaths can occur in all kinds of ways in the arena. Starvation, dehydration, even mutts, even weasel mutts. They were listening to every thing. He's watching you under a microscope. He wants to kind of make a statement. The Capitol doesn't control them. He tells him he will orchestrate his death based on his behavior from here on out, and he can die fair and fighting with the other tributes, or he can have the slowest, most torturous death opening the games. And then he tells him that his family also has a fun little saying too. Snow lands on top. And he tells someone else in the room that has been standing there, you can stop playing hide and seek now. Come on out. What are you talking about? What the are you talking about? In the doorway is Luella. That is the end of part 1. You may be confused, because I was confused too. Part 2 is called The Rascal. So, this isn't actually Luella. Unfortunately, a young girl that looks a lot like her. This is gonna be her. She looks similar to Luella, but not really. Like, if you get up close, and of course, Haymitch, who's known her since birth, that's not her. That is not my president. She doesn't speak unless spoken to. Hang on, Beatty, you're moving. She introduces herself because Snow is like, well, don't be shy. Don't be shy, put some more. Well, go ahead and introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Luella. I'm from District 12. Is very robotic. Haymitch says her face is all pudgy, like they've injected her with stuff. Well, that is not my sweetheart, because my sweetheart she always said, hey, like, hey. Hey, Mitch, hey. Also, the fact I held her lifeless body, her cracked skull, was in my hand. She's dead. What did he do? He was given the necklace that Maysilee put on Luella's body, the purple and gold one. She won't look him in the eye, which is something that the real Luella never missed a chance to do. So Snow comes in, he's like, her family and maybe some friends back home might notice her, but everybody else not gonna know the difference. I think that's where I'm gonna end it tonight. I just had to get into like the next little bit of part 2. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, we're back. The whole crowd at the ceremonies, at the opening ceremonies, they were too drunk, too inebriated. They're not going to remember anything of what she really looked like. And we'll just say, oh, we fixed her up and she's fine. Because they never got to really know her. This is all in an effort to make the perfect quarter quell. She will keep up this charade, or that's going to determine how you're going to die. You're going to die anyway. Make it good for the cameras. My hands are cold. Sorry, I'm going to keep my hand here. It's chilly. I'm cold. Haymitch, he understands it all now because Snow came in there hacking and throwing up and barfing that he was suffering from food poisoning. It's all clicking now. Him and the parade master, Lumi, he gave him a platter of poisoned oysters. Oysters. It was all a plan. We know from Finnick when he said that he would poison his friends or colleagues in order to get rid of them. Like if he poisoned a drink, if he poisoned food, he would also eat it himself to not cause suspicion so nobody would be like, I think President Snow is poisoning people. Anyway, that's why he's so sick, is because he ate the poisoned oysters and he had his little bottle of antidote. Cure is worse than the disease. That antidote can only protect you so much. Plutarch comes in the room. He has no idea. Haymitch finds it a little bit skeptical about him all the way through this whole thing. Plutarch comes in and he's like, What? Luella, fake Luella, does her fake introduction.
Hi, my name is Luella McCoy. I'm from District 12. Hello, Plutarch.
The meeting's over. Plutarch takes them to the van to go back to the apartment. Tells Haymitch, I had no idea that was going to happen. Well, who saw that coming? Not me. He only said that he wanted to speak with you. It's probably a child of a traitor family, or they just snatched her up from a district. Probably have her drugged so she is more docile. They get back to the apartment. The rest of the group is like, okay. Haymitch explains everything what Snow said. Keep it up. Keep up the charade. We need to let people know that she's real. Mags pours out a bowl of stew and she gives it to fake Luella. And she is scarfing it down like a rabid animal. You want more? She's probably been starved. And then they give her a basket of bread to choose from. Some bread, maybe? And for the lady, perhaps a salad? Perhaps not. And she picks up one crescent. It's a dark crescent roll with seeds on top. And Mags says, are you from District 11? And she starts crying, pulling on her ear. So then Mags takes her to the bedroom. Piece of bread that she picked up, the signature bread from District 11. We know that she was snatched up in District 11. Whether her family was a rebel sympathizer family, I don't know. Mags comes back out and they say that they have implanted something to deposit drugs in her chest. I was afraid she was going to kill her if she took it off. So it administers drugs. She's got something in her ear, maybe telling her. It's probably from game makers or peacekeepers or whoever's in charge monitoring her. It can feed in information into her of what to say to people. If she says something wrong, it'll give her like an ear-splitting noise. They think for a second, they're like, you know what? We could use her like a Jabberjay. I have explained it in depth what the Jabberjays are. Failed experiment that turned into the Mockingjay. During the war, when they were trying to get information from the rebels, they used these birds. They figured it out really quick, so the rebels started giving them false information to give back to the capital. They're here. Maybe they could use Luella as like a Jabberjay, like they could feed her false information. I don't think anything really comes out of that, but that was a good idea. Haymitch is like, I can't call her Luella. Luella's dead. That's not my sweetheart. Maysilee says, well, you know, I used to have a canary back home. We called it Lulu. So that's what they're going to call her. This is Lulu. But do you remember Catching Fire? Astrid, Miss Everdeen, was talking about when her friend Maysilee went into the games. I think it was her sister had given her her canary. Yeah. Wyatt says, well, no matter who she is or where she comes from, she's ours now. Wyatt becomes very protective over her, big brother to her. So then they're talking about, did y'all notice anything in training? Wyatt says he noticed that there's a lot of tarps. Okay, how to use them for rain or build a shelter. Maybe the arena is probably going to be really wet. And then Maysilee said that she noticed all of them were grouped up in their colors. And she said being District 12, an advantage at nighttime because they're in black. Once it gets darker in there, they can be undercover. Haymitch brought up what he did with Beatty with the potato light bulb. If Wyatt's right and the arena is really wet, we won't be able to build a fire, so we can use rooted vegetables to make a light bulb. They go to bed and Maysilee is like, I ain't sleeping in there with that thing. Talking about Lulu. They warm up to her after a little bit. The boys end up sleeping in the girls' room too, and they said, you know what, we should actually practice taking turns for when we get into the arena. So Haymitch takes the first watch. He's leaned up against Lulu's bed. He's like tossing and turning. She grabs onto his hand. Okay, I'll hold your hand. He says that he could feel her pulse like a baby bird. He's like, don't worry, I'll take care of you. I'm not gonna let anything hurt you. You'll be fine with me. He dozes off and wakes up because the power has been cut inside the building. He looks out the window. The whole city is still moving and grooving. The entire apartment building is kaput. There's a light underneath of the door. Someone walking in holding a potato light, and he has his finger up. It's Beatty. You couldn't tell. Come here. Get out here. Are you for real about wanting to break the arena? I need to know now. And Haymitch is like, well, yeah, what do you got? Lay it on me. So he tells him that usually what breaks a machine, time, wear and tear, but they don't have that luxury right now. He asked Haymitch how Virus's game, how it was controlled. Well, they showed a couple of clips of the game makers in their control room. So I'm assuming from there, right? And Beatty's like, partly. That's kind of where they just, the on-camera face of the game making. But there's a whole nother level that nobody knows about. And that is called Sub-A, okay? Underneath the arena itself is Sub-A, and that's where all of the mutts come in, food, that's where they're gonna go up through their little pod, get into the arena. It's all underneath. Beatty said he really worked hard, designed pretty much all of Sub-A. He says, our team's goal, Haymitch is like, there's a whole team here? What the hell? Whole team's goal is to bring down the arena. It has to do with the computer, the brain. Beatty tells him that Ampert's gonna be involved too. Ampert's involved, maybe he can be the one that destroys the computer itself, and I can just be the muscle. Beatty says, no offense, y'all don't have enough brain power to get to the computer. The brain can't function if other parts are down. If we cut the power off to the brain, the whole arena dies. So Haymitch is like, so we're gonna cut the power? And he's like, well, no, because there's a backup generator. It's like, okay, so why bring it up? Because they'll just cut it right back on with their backup generator. What we're gonna do is we're gonna drown the arena. What you mean? Big giant water tank in sub A. It's supposed to sustain life in there for weeks. It fills up the lake, has rain, storms, just natural water that comes up through the ground. Giant ass tank. And if we can get to that, blow it up, it'll flood sub A. So Haymitch is like, if I'm not explaining it correctly, BD explains the arena is built like a house with things like electricity, heating, cooling, and plumbing. And Haymitch is like, I don't got that back home. I don't know what you're talking about. Point is that the arena is built to sustain life for the tributes for a few weeks, and he was put in charge of looking over Sub A's design. There's a giant water tank at the north end just under the surface of the arena. And he tells him that there are little hatches all over the arena because this arena apparently is very mutt heavy. There's gonna be a lot of shit coming into the arena, but they come up through these little hatches in the ground, so just keep your eyes peeled for that. If you can find one, get down in there in Sub A and you'll be able to find the tank. It's pretty big. Blow a hole in that, destroys all of sub A. Yeah, we'll go from there. Haymitch is like, well, I'm gonna die anyway, so what does it matter? Maybe I can make a difference. Tells him that Ampert's gonna help out, and Haymitch says maybe there's a way I can do it so Ampert doesn't have to be involved and we can keep him safe for as long as possible. BD starts breaking down. This is the first time he's really shown emotion. They're gonna make sure he dies, and I see it, so there's no way around it. He's a lot more animated than that and a lot more emotional. I'm not in my bag right now. Not Oscar-worthy performance here. Haymitch tells him look after him and make sure that his death painless as possible and quick as possible and he doesn't suffer. And so BD thanks him for that, and he tells him basically we gotta build a bomb. If he knows anything about explosives, which funnily enough, yes I do. They teach him in 12 the basics of explosives. They're gonna figure out a way to get a fuse into the arena. BD has already designed it won't burn up on accident, it won't light on accident. I've never dealt with fuses or bombs before, I'm not sure, but I guess there's a slight chance that you could accidentally light a fuse, and we're gonna find a way to get explosives in there. Okay, stick it to the side of the water tank, blow that shit sky high. Whatever happens after that, I don't know. I think it's kind of implied also that blows up the water tank. He's gonna die in the explosion is the main goal for him going into these games now. Now that he doesn't have Luella, he asks BD, well, do you know if there's gonna be any like striking rocks, like quartz or something in the arena? And BD's like, well, I'm not sure about that. I didn't really look into the rock formation that was gonna be in there. It shows him his flint striker, because I can start a fire and light the fuse with this. And BD's like, never underestimate District 12. BD, you're such a king. I want to give BD a hug so bad. The power is getting cut back on. I don't know if you care, but Wyrus was the one that turned the power off. BD tells him, don't talk to anybody else about this, not even your fellow tributes, and I'll see you soon. Okay, bye. Haymitch goes back into the room. Maysilee apparently was not asleep. She kind of rolls over like she was already awake and listening, but she's like, is everything okay? And he just doesn't acknowledge what just was talked about. The power just went out. It's back on now. Do you want to switch so I can go to sleep? They go to training the next day. The newcomers didn't really know Luella at all. If they even paid attention to what she looked like, they probably wouldn't remember. So the rest of the group is like, she got hurt, but she's back. And be careful what you say around her because she's a blabbermouth. Can't outwardly say like earpiece that's recording everything back to the game makers. Ampert comes up to Haymitch. Look, my dad said we need to get District 9 on board. I tried asking them, but they didn't want to. Maybe they think I'm stuck up because I'm District 3, a brainiac, an egghead, and they spend their times out in the field. I think District 9, if I'm remembering right, grain production. Haymitch said, well, they're not really all that much of a great build on them. I would think we want to target District 11. They're very swole because they're out in the fields working. District 9 is grain production. 11 is agriculture. Whatever. Why did I bring that up? Oh yeah, well, Ampert says like, well, I'll try District 11 again, but I really need you to help me out with getting District 9. Shelter booth where District 9 is at. But Maysilee cuts him off and she's like, what was all that about? She heard him and BD talking, wanting him to say it to her, but we got to get District 9 on our side, but don't talk to them, please. Maysilee's looking at their tokens that they all have around their neck. They're sunflowers and they're made out of this flour dough stuff paste that you can make. And she's like, oh, that is ugly. Leave them alone. Let me go talk to them first before you go run your mouth. So she goes over to the food booth. Panache comes over and he goes to the biggest one of District 9. Good news, guys. Good news, America. As careers, we've decided to let you guys join our group. They flat out just say no. I hope it's so deadpan like how I read it. And then he goes back to working and Panache is like, They don't give a reason, but he's very offended. So then he turns to one of the other girls, Kurna. He's like, what are you looking at? And she wasn't even looking at him. He takes her sunflower, smashes it into pieces. Peacekeepers are putting their hand on their taser, so he leaves. Girl starts crying. Maysilee saves the day. This little paste, it's water, flour, and salt dough clay, and kind of molds the pieces back together. And she's like, well, here, this will hold it for a little bit, but you need to get your mentor to get something strong adhesive for it. I don't know if it's worth pointing out, somebody had a theory, because Haymitch says dough clay. I would go over to Burdock's house. His mother would always have it for us to play around with. So it's basically Play-Doh. Everdene's always had a little bit more extra money to spare than the Abernathys did because they were hunters, so they could trade for ingredients. The reason I'm pointing it out is because people have a theory that Burdock, his mother, maybe was Barbara Zer. Clearly, Haymitch has seen his mother before. I don't know. I mean, I guess it could make sense not to tie her down to being a lesbian, but in the last book, Lucy Gray says that she started seeing another girl in town, wanted to start kind of a relationship. So I'm not pinning her to being a lesbian. Maybe she's bi. If she was a lesbian, then I can't imagine. Although there's so many possibilities that could have happened. Whatever. You can expand on that. If I'm not really seeing the clear picture here, Haymitch has seen Burdock's mother, and she still may be alive. I don't know. It's never said. Come back. Maysilee fixes up her token. Haymitch uses this way to talk to them. My mom makes sunflowers. She doesn't make sunflowers. She grows sunflowers. But I bet you guys have some of the best sunflowers ever. Kurna is like, well, yeah, we have big fields full of them. And so Haymitch is just trying to thaw the ice between everybody. His girl back at home has a song about sunflowers. Would you like to hear it? It goes, ah, sunflower, weary of time, who countest the steps of the sun, seeking after that sweet golden clime where the traveler's journey is done. I don't know how he's going to sing that. They all kind of stare at him like, all right. So I know that Ampert has talked to you about joining the group, and she's like, said no at first. Haymitch says, yeah, that's what I said too, but the offer still is open if you want to. Just saying, you can come and join the group if you want. They end up coming over there. So we got District 9 is a newcomer, and District 11 eventually becomes newcomers. 5, however, decides to be careers. Career, newcomer, career. The game makers have taken note of this. Remember, they're still watching over everybody. So this is where we're going to get into our final training session. We're going to get the scores. Lulu can't. She's helpless. She's going around putting all these poisonous mushrooms and poisonous food in her mouth. She doesn't understand why he's going to use his odd making skill. Brain power to impress the traders, game makers. Maysilee is going to use her knot tying skills, tie the most beautiful knots that you've ever seen, good with like braiding. And Haymitch says, I guess I'll just use my knife throwing skills. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. He's just expecting that the game makers are in on that Lulu is not Luella. So I don't think they're really expecting much from her at all. It's never said what she does. Who knows? She probably just ran around and ate things. Haymitch is going last, and he's got time to sit there and think and build up this narrative in his head, how he wants to be perceived by the game makers. He knows they have most likely seen the raw footage of his reaping ceremony, so he knows that he attacked a peacekeeper, got himself put in the reaping, which we know that isn't how it happened. The opening ceremonies where he's carrying Luella's body around, he was spitting at the crowd. I've been ruffling feathers since I got here, and I'm gonna keep it up. I'm mad. He's gonna go in there with like a chip on his shoulder, this act that he's gonna put on, because we know Haymitch is a sweetheart. But he's like, maybe this abrasive punk attitude is enough of a cover-up so people won't think that I'm a double agent here. I've got another plan to destroy this arena. He goes in there. The head game maker this year is someone named Faustina Gripper. Didn't we have a Gripper in the last one? I feel like I've heard the name Gripper before. It's not clicking to me right now. And so she's like, tell us about yourself. You, I don't want to. I'm not supposed to be here. You killed another kid when I tried to protect my girl. He doesn't say all this. And then y'all ended up putting me in the reaping. I'm here illegally. And then you killed my best friend. Luella McCoy was the only one I cared about. But now that she's gone, that frees me up to win this whole thing. I don't fucking care. I'll wipe them all out. And they're like, with what skills? You haven't really shown us much other than your knife throwing. Have you all not been paying attention? I rallied up 31 tributes here and got them to join an alliance. That's easy for you to say. An alliance. Maybe it was too subtle for your pea brains to follow. She says something like, well, are you willing to kill them to win? And he's like, yeah, they're willing to kill me to win to get out of there. It's very cold-shouldered. It's very bitchy. When he leaves, he has to give up his token for inspection. They're watching the scoring. Basically, all the careers and District 11 get between like 8 and 11. Highest is 12. Remember that. The rest of the newcomers get between like 4 and 7. Lulu gets a 3. Haymitch says that usually 3s are given out of pity. Wyatt and Maysilee end up actually getting 6s. Well, Haymitch gets a 1. Sorry, it's not funny, but it is funny. He's like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody get a 1. I don't know if anybody's even gotten a 2. This might not give me anything. To reiterate, the scoring is how let them in on their skills are, their training. See that he got a 1. People are going to be like, well, what can you do? Well, Mags tells him probably is a good thing. You're going to be on people's radar because everybody's going to be like, what the did you do to get a 1? Haymitch says, well, I basically just all but accused them of murdering us. Lulu, she jumps up and she's like, yes, murdering us. They are murdering us. She gets that ear-splitting noise. Wyatt is like, shh, shut up. Haymitch is wondering, game makers were told by Snow about the ultimatum that he gave them to look after Lulu, put on a good show. And so then they were like, no matter what you say, you're getting a 1. Per Snow's instructions. I might have just this all up. Now this is probably gonna really seal my fate with a gory death at the beginning of the games. I told Beatty I'd do this plan for him, but I might have just screwed myself. In the morning, all of their tokens have passed. Maysilee says, well, can I see your token now because it's off your neck? He brings up that it was made with tam amber. He's like, I heard you got something from tam amber, that golden pin. And she's like, ugh, ew. Mockingjays, barf. I hate mockingjays. They're unnatural half-breed. And Haymitch is like, well, if you don't like it, I know Lenore Dove will take it off your hands. And she's like, that's so funny. Your girl doesn't like me. She hates me, but it's not for a pin because I know her secret and I'm holding it over her. What? She remembers one time that Lenore Dove showed up to the mayor's house. Like her best dress was always this orange dress and she would wear orange lipstick and she could see orange on her nails, like a nail polish. We'll get clarification at the very, very end of this book. Haymitch is thinking, Maysilee thinks that Lenore Dove got orange nail polish, which was very expensive in 12 and maybe like implying that she stole it. But Maysilee teases him, I'll give you a secret if you tell me a secret. They leave it there because he's like, I ain't telling you shit. He gets his flint striker back and he's looking at the feathers and he's like, orange on the feathers of the Mockingjay. Hey, but did you even look at this thing? Maysilee took Wyatt's coin. She worked a piece of wire around its pop wire off. He could take the coin out and kind of fiddle it in his fingers because that helps him think. Haymitch is asking if he knows if the coin is made of zinc. And he's like, yeah, I think so. How would I know? I don't know anything. Maysilee's got one of her necklaces is actually made of copper. It's like a flower. Push comes to shove. He's got the means to make a light. Drizella comes in there. We got to do damage control. Y'all are f***ing this up for me. The reaping, the opening ceremony, and now your piss poor scores. I am at risk of losing my job. We're gonna sit down. We're gonna have a mock interview before your real interviews tonight. Some people might give you sponsors just out of pity, but the only one that they know about is Haymitch. So how are we gonna make you guys more memorable? Starting with Lulu. She just jumps up and starts yelling like, you're murdering us, you're murdering us. And then gets hit with like the ear sound. And Drizella is about to... Max takes her to her room and they explain it's not Luella, a girl that they stole from 11. Drizella's like, anyway, okay, Wyatt, you're up. Not my problem. She talks to Wyatt. He's gonna obviously show his odd-making skills. Rattles off, like, who is most likely to be the best, which would be Panache or Silka. Maybe also don't count out Haymitch, too. Drizella brings up his 1. Well, yeah, he got a 1 with no clear handicap. There's nothing that should suggest that he could get a 1. What did he have to do to get it? Like, I wouldn't bet on me, though. I'm not final contender here. And Wyris jumps in and she's like, let me stop you right there. Even if you believe it, don't let them know that. Use me as reference. Who would have thought I would win my games? Brain power. Use it. Maysilee and Drizella, and they're staring daggers at each other. I think Maysilee comes out first and she's like, I'm surprised that all these people in the Capitol with all this money that they've got, how piss poor their dress, their fashion, horrid. The apartment that we're in, nasty. Hate it. All this money and y'all can't dress for shit. Of course, Drizella is like, how dare you? Drizella, she calls her a shrew and that the people in the Capitol are not going to like her saying that about them. Well, I'm not here to make friends. This is not RuPaul's best friend race. Drizella's like, well, should people be dressing like you guys in 12, you barn animals? And she's like, oh, hell no. Sure, 12 doesn't have 2 pennies to rub together. But we do have a better natural physique rather than you guys that have to use prosthetics and implants and everything knit, tucked, and sucked. Wyris tells her, interesting way to go about it, and you might ruffle feathers, but you'll be remembered. It's Haymitch's turn. Drizella's like, all right, look, we got a lunatic with Lulu, a calculator with Wyatt, a shrew with Maysilee. What are you? I am bad news. Now, this is where they start to implement the rascal, that the game makers don't like him all the way back from the reaping. And she's like, you can't bring that up and undo all the hard work that I put in. I could smell a riot coming a mile away. And they were like, there was no threat of a riot, you dumb hoe. So she tells him, you need to be a bad boy, but not a rebel. You need to be naughty without being dangerous. You need to be a rascal. His mama would always call call squirrels rascals. She'd be out there shelling peanuts and one would run up, sneak one right from under her, and she's like, you little rascal. Something that's annoying, but also kind of amusing. Prep team comes in, Proserpina and Vitus panicking because they said Magno is supposed to be getting their interview dresses and suits ready, but he's not answering the door. I think he's been licking toads again. Drusella's like, oh mother, let me go file a complaint. Insider baseball here? Drusella and Magno are married. Clearly separated, but Drusella's like, all days would he choose to do this? He's ruining my career. Proserpina and Vitus are panicking because they're like, we're gonna fail. So she's calling up her sister. Oh, me? We're gonna fail. I'm not gonna pass. The whole group goes into the kitchen and gets out some strawberry ice cream. Important, it'll come back. Sits down and she's like, Magno doesn't show up and we don't get credit for this. We can go appeal this. She doesn't cough. I just had to cough. Everybody's staring at them. Maysilee says something snarky like, wow, that's so tough. I'll try and think about you when I'm going into the arena. Would you like some ice cream? The rest of the prep teams show up. They try and get them all washed up, groomed. All they have to wear is their training outfit. Do you guys have anything black that they could wear? Vitus is like, ugh, ooh, no. Black is so depressing. Nobody in the Capitol wears black. Drusella comes back. She can't file anything against Magno for some reason. She's upset. It's kind of chaos back and forth. And somebody walks in, they don't even notice it. Effie motherfucking Trinket! Just spit everywhere. She's here! Elle Fanning, do it! Let me get her up here so I can describe her outfit because that's always important with Effie. She went to the university. She was a very influential socialite. Oh, this is Proserpina talking. Her sister knows everyone on the board since she was a student social planner, president of the Capital Cohorts chapter, and created the Spring Saturnalia her freshman year. And Vita says that it's the biggest party of the year. Effie has been making moves from an early age. We know eventually she ends up being the escort for District 12. But for now, she's just here as backup. Lavender hair, a dress shaped like a grape gumball, and green checkered stockings with 4 black hats stacked on top of her head. She is ready to rumble. This is her Super Bowl. Thankfully, our great aunt Messalina and Uncle Silas, they still have all their old funeral outfits that they used to wear because back in the war, a lot of people had died. So they get them all dressed up and they, honestly, I'm picturing like the characters from Clue. They're all in black, be color coordinated with their districts. He's in a black tuxedo. Haymitch is in like a 3-piece suit looking like a bootlegger. Lulu's got like a lacy something or another dress. Maysilee's got a black velvet dress with a boa. I'm picturing Miss Scarlet but in black. But Vitus tells Effie, thank God your uncle and aunt came through. Now will they owe us for tarnishing our name? And Vitus says, I know how you feel. My grandfather was a rebel sympathizer. And Effie's like, oh, you win. We weren't that bad, but you win. We're here now. Embrace what the Hunger Games are all about. She's very uppity. But also, we don't ever find out what past Trinket family has done. It's just assuming that they were involved with rebels somehow, some way. Drusella comes out looking at the outfits and she's like, damn, I'll clean up nice. Well, Magno's not getting credit for this shit. He's not even opening the door. He might be dead. Effie, you're coming with us. Good job, Effie! So her and Maysilee actually get along really well. They're kikiing. I'm looking at her outfit now. If this is her opening scene, if this is the outfit she's wearing, wrong. It's wrong. Somebody said, why did they give her a Forever 21 necklace? I hope that's not her opening scene. I can see Vitus back there. But I'm not picky. Effie's trying to do little touch-ups with makeup. She drops her makeup bag. Haymitch helps her clean everything up. Thank you so much, Haymitch. I'm so sorry for your situation, everybody here, but let's put on some brave faces, tackle this day. Having a positive attitude is 97% of the battle. They get to the stage where they're gonna do the interviews. Magno busts in. He's actually alive. He's got a big crate full of all kinds of reptiles. He's drunk as hell, high. I gotta get my tributes ready. Let me do this. The peacekeepers are holding him off. Beatty gets Haymitch's attention. They go over to a buffet and they're trying to be discreet about talking. Beatty says, when you get into the arena, go north. Ampert's gonna meet you up that way. Oh my god, it's really happening. Wow, it's really happening. We've also placed explosives in District 9's tokens, sunflower necklaces. They put an explosive in the center of it, put it in a shellac. You just need to get it wet and kind of wear it out. That was why he needed District 9 to join the alliance. And he says that Ampert's lariat thing made it look exactly the same as the one that Maysilee made for him, but instead it's the fuse. There is really a team here inside that we're working with the tokens. They must be on Beatty's side too. He says that with District 9's tokens, they're not really banking on District 9 making it. Whenever they do die, it'll most likely be in the opening bloodbath. Ampert knows to go and grab as many of them as they can. Beatty, he goes to tell him that something else has been replaced. Welly from District 6 walks up, and so Beatty's like, doesn't finish his thoughts. Welly comes up to talk to him. Maybe some of the bigger tributes can go and get some weapons, and then we'll all meet up. Haymitch is starting to think, I can't be a part of this alliance and protect all of them if I'm supposed to pull off this plan. In my interview, I'm gonna sound like a real jackass. I'm gonna be a real jerk here. Just know that I will never hurt you guys. You're always gonna be safe with me. Put on a show. I am gonna act like a total douchebag. And so she's like, that's okay. She's like, I know you don't mean it. Then he says, to be honest, I don't think it's a good idea that you guys stick with me. I'm still a part of your alliance, but I'm gonna go off on my own because of my one that I got in training. Panache has it out for me already. The game makers don't like me. I could be a big target, so I don't think you guys should come with me. That conversation is cut short because Magno brought out a ginormous snake threatening people. Lulu, no fear Lulu. She goes right up to him without saying anything, and she's looking at the snake and she's like, mine, give me it. And Magno's like, all right. So she wears this snake as a part of her outfit. The interview starts. One last person to add to the board today. You know him. You love him. Well, you don't know this version of him. Caesar Flickerman. And I'm interested to see how this goes. Caesar Flickerman has been the host of the Hunger Games for quite a bit of time. Father? Grandfather? I'm assuming it's his father. Lucky Flickerman over here. He was the host of the 10th Hunger Games. This is Caesar as we knew him in the 75th and 74th Hunger Games, okay? But when we see Caesar this time around, he's got dark green colored hair. Suit is full of little light bulbs on a crescent moon from the ceiling. And then he goes into a little recap of the dark days, boring, blah, cares, we see it every year. He talks about 10th Hunger Games, he doesn't mention the winner, and how that was the turning point when we got the sponsors, mentors, the first quarter quell. This is the first year where the cornucopia was introduced. Lucky was hosting this game. And Dr. Gall came out there, and she was the one that coined the phrase, may the odds be ever in your favor. Now at this point, this is 15 years after 10th Hunger Games. She was already relatively older. We don't know whatever happened to her. I'm assuming she's dead. In my head, I think that she probably was killed by her mutts. Wouldn't that be poetic justice? I think this might be the first time that the feasts are introduced. Stopped using the amphitheater after it was bombed, and then they started moving mostly around the capital and used old bombed cities, had all different kinds of terrain and weather. Like some of them were desert, some of them were freezing blizzards, had Wyrus's mirror maze. So Silka starts off the interviews. Where are you? Silka from District 1. She talks about herself a lot. All the careers pretty much fumble the bag. They all come out talking about themselves. Caesar is like, well, what about alliance we got going on? She's like, well, you know, yeah, sometimes better to have somebody else clear the field for you. They don't show a lot of brain power between all the careers. Caesar ends up, he kind of uses them as punching bags because by the time Panache comes up there, he's trying to flex and like show off to the crowd. And try me, bitch. By the end of the interview, Caesar is pretty much calling him a meathead. The whole crowd joins in. He's humiliated and he's fuming. Talk about themselves and they don't really have much of a game plan with the alliance. Now when District 3 comes up there, they don't talk about themselves. It's very, we're a big group. There's not one person that's leading this. We got the numbers and we're smaller, we can climb. They all come off as very smartical. They got the game plan together. Careers just make it a mess. Very self-centered, no game plan to keep each other safe. And Welly even points out, no matter where they all go in the arena, because she's kind of talking to Haymitch. She's like, no matter where we all go, we'll always protect each other, give each other water, food, whatever. We're a team. By the time it gets to District 12, Caesar Flickerman, he's kind of annoyed. How the fuck do I keep talking about the same shit? Maysilee comes out first, shits on everybody's outfit. Goat horns in your forehead, lady. That's nice. Oh, receding gums, I see. But they kind of eat it up. They kind of think it's really funny. She wins him over a little bit. Wyatt, he's fact-checking out a calculator to fact-check all of his odd makings. Caesar jokes that if you win this thing, I'm taking you to the casino. We're going to Vegas, baby. Lulu comes out. Poor thing, she comes out with the big snake and she goes up to everybody in the front row, hissing in their face, threatening, and they're playing along like, oh, don't get me. He asks her what will happen if the newcomers get rid of the careers. And then Lulu, she just goes, you'll murder us. You'll all murder us. She starts having a freak out, a spaz attack because they're pumping the drugs in her chest. Noise is going off in her ears. I don't know what happened to the snake. I think it just kind of slithered away. She passes out. She like falls backward. Wyatt comes out there and scoops her up. Caesar's like, anyway, moving on. Haymitch comes out there for the last interview. He's got his nose up in the air. I'm better than you persona. To get him in the mood, not to get him in the mood, to get him in the headspace, he starts thinking about Woodbine Chance. If you really do think about it, that's f***ed up. He shouldn't be here. That's what gets his gears going. I'm mad. He doesn't mention what happened at the reaping because that would just blow all this to shit. Caesar asks him if he's worried about doubling the amount of tributes. No, they're all gonna be just as dumb. Number one, he got in training. Like, I had to work hard for that one. It's easy to get a 10 or 11. Look how many of them got it. Boring, who cares? You know how special you gotta be to get a 1? To suck? Gotta be a special kind of trouble to do that. Really pissed off the game makers in some kind of way. And I'm probably pissed off a couple of peacekeepers back home when I don't deliver their white liquor. I forgot to mention, he's gonna really hone in on this bootlegger side. Very strategic as to not out Hattie. He doesn't lose her whole business. Already dressing the part of a bootlegger. Everybody, especially in the capital here, they love their alcohol. It's just enough naughty without being rebellious. People don't want to put a stop to it because then where are you gonna get your booze from? We got some of the best shine in all of Pan Am back in 12. If you don't believe me, call up our base commander there. He's one of my biggest customers. He wins the crowd over. Mags and Wyrus off stage tell him, like, you've already got some sponsors going. So Plutarch, we didn't get a proper photo shoot with them. They were supposed to get one at the opening ceremonies. That didn't happen. Take them back to my place so we can group photo and maybe film a propo or something. Propo. You. I don't know what it's. They go into the library. Plutarch tells everybody, I'm gonna take you all into the conservatory by yourself and we'll work on a propo. Off, but it's all just so that he can talk to Haymitch by himself. So he takes Haymitch first, wanting to end the games. It's not only for the districts. There's people in the capital, like myself, that want to put an end to this. And there's a swan phone. I'm wanting to see a swan. And he picks it up and he's like, okay, he's here. Gives it to Haymitch. Hello, it's Lenore Dove. She's been arrested. Again, to sum it up really quick, because she's like, I don't want to talk about me right now, because this is our last chance to possibly talk. I was playing music at the reaping stage. There was a crowd that formed. We're singing rebel songs, but they're letting me out tomorrow. I'm fine. She found out he got a 1 in training. It just sent her over the edge. She also said that these games, people are human. People are so upset. Calling me. We got a potential spam calling me. People are in need of music and to sing and let out their voices, crying and saying, I feel like this is all my fault. If I had just not gotten involved with Woodbine's mother and just kept to myself, you wouldn't have felt the need to come over and save me. And if anything happens to you, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. And he's like,
You bet not.
do shit to get yourself arrested in the hopes of getting yourself killed and or commit the SOOOOO. I swear to God, you need to live your life, sing your songs, live it for me. We'll meet each other again one day. Lenore Dove and the Covey believe in an afterlife. If and when I die, I'll meet you in the meadow. I'll find my way back to you. But if you do something to yourself to end your life, it's gonna screw it all up. Then they tell each other they love each other. Like, all fire. Phone is cut. Plutarch is still there. He says, I have an old friend in 12 that was able to get me a phone call for you. From Haymitch's perspective, we are still iffy. We're on the fence. We don't know what his deal is, because Plutarch says, you need to listen to me. I've got some advice I need to give you and for this plan to take down the arena. So Plutarch's in on it. Haymitch gets very paranoid because he's like, what if there was just microphones in the buffet when I was talking to Beatty? And what if this is all a plan? What if he was just using that phone call to get something out of me? He plays it dumb. I don't know what you're talking about. That's probably smart of you to act that way, but just listen to me. I have it on good authority. A game maker's apprentice got him really drunk one night and got information about the arena. And he says that the sun is in sync. Dirty pop with the real sun. Past arenas, sometimes there's been multiple suns are on their own schedule, sync with the real sun. That way you know which direction to go to, because he knows he's got to get up north. There's also these things called berms, but it's basically a big giant flower bed. These are the mutt portals. These are where the mutts are going to be introduced into the arena. Find these berms, and that's how you can get down into sub A and blow up that water tank, and you better blow it sky high. One last piece of advice, no more implicit submission. The game makers set the narrative, but don't let them write your story. You write your own ending. Get their pictures taken so we can get them back home. Plutarch is like, all right, never mind. We're just going to do a big group propo. Everybody get together. And this is and this is it. Newcomers did a really good job of that. They're not trying to be anything that they're not. Careers are really pushing. We're the best of the best. We're just as good as you people here in the capital. Can very much rub people the wrong way. The capital citizens do not like the district citizens at all. We know that very well from Songbirds and Snakes. They're animals to them. They are so below them. 1 and 2, which are very high-ranking districts. Get that nasty shit out of here. They really get a bad taste in their mouth when people try to pretend to be capital or something bigger than what they really are in the hopes of being accepted at the capital. Even if they won the games and even if they're victors, they're not like us. That's your advantage too. Newcomers are not trying to be anything that they're not. They're district bred. Ew. They're not trained for this and they don't want to be this. Once this is all said and done, they want to go back home, which is comforting for the capital citizens. We don't want you here either. So Maysilee says that they need to come up with a nickname to call them. Calling them careers still sounds like they're still elevated. We need to think of something that's calling them stupid without just flat out calling them stupid. It's to rhyme. It needs to be snippy and kind of like the artificial sweetener we used to use at the candy shop. The capital would bring in beer for them and they would sell it. It was this watered down nasty shit. and they called it near beer. It's not really beer, but it's almost near it. They'll call them the near beer careers. That's only used for the propo. We don't ever hear that come back around. They get little sound bites, they take their pictures, and it's time to head back to the apartment. He shakes Plutarch's hand. I still don't know what to think of this man. And he thanks him because at the end of the day, even if it was for his own benefit or if it was to catch Haymitch in a trap, Lenore Dove, he got to speak to her at least one more time and tell her that he loves her. Plutarch says, you know, I'm pretty despicable to a lot of people, but on this, I'm on your side. And he is telling the truth. Go home, they eat, they go to bed. Word has gotten back to Maysilee, so you don't want to be a part of our alliance anymore. It's not that I don't want to be in the alliance, I still want to. It's just that I don't want you guys to be near me because I'm a big target. She basically is like, looks like we're back at square one again. They leave it on a sour note. We're gonna get into chapter 15. It's bright. Wake up, Pan Am. It's time to go. Haymitch takes the little baggie Beatty gave him, stuff to make the light bulb, slides it into Maysilee's hand. She's very bitter, not speaking to him. Neither is Wyatt, so she doesn't even acknowledge him, but she's like... They say goodbye to Wyrus and Mags. District 11 and District 12 are putting one hovercraft together. Lulu, she's looking at Chicory's token. It's a star, but it's woven together with grass. Then she starts to sing a song that they sing back in 11. Flower there beside my feet, growing up between the corn. Combine's here, so duck your head, duck your head, duck your head. Combine's here, so duck your head to see another morn. Mockingly up on the branch, nesting in this apple tree. Picking time, so fly away, fly away, fly away. I don't know how many flyaways I put there. Picking time, so fly away with me. Chicory is like, how does she know that? How's she know that song? Well, the gig is up. They just tell her, this ain't her. We got an impostor here. Earpieces going off. They're listening to everything anybody says around her, sending in a signal to be like, hey, shut up. We're in sub A, the loading dock, the stockyard. It's a big circular. I was going to say circular hallway, depositing tributes at every door. They do one final group hug, and District 12 is placed in their spots. Yeah, sub A's huge. He mentions it at one point where he's at one side of the arena and he looks to the other side and he says it's about 6 miles away. Even then there's more to go on either side. It's huge. They go into their rooms. There's a voice telling them to change into their outfits. Well, let me tell you what it looks like and then I'll tell you why I was confused. Long sleeve shirt and pants feel like they're made of silk. They're so soft they feel like water. No belt loops on the pants, but there are on the shirt. The belt is fastened by 2 hoops. If you care. District 12's black. Everybody else gets their own district color. But the reason why I was confused was because I saw the trailer and they look like they're in sheets, but I didn't question it because I had only read the book one time and I was like, oh yeah, I remember something about the outfit being like that, like silky big thing. The second time I read the book back, I was like, no, there was nothing in there about this. Why are you all dressed like ghosts? They're all wearing like a big sheet. So the voice is like, all right, everybody on your slab, get into places. Effie comes in there. Wait! Halt! I was not told. I have to check everybody out, make sure everybody's wearing their outfit properly. He gives them another handkerchief. Also, this was supposed to be Magno's job, but he was not able to be found. Magno is just a piece of shit. And he asks her, make sure the token, can you just make sure this gets back to Lenore Dove? He says, of course I will. And she warns him not to step off the plate before the 60 seconds is up. You will be blown up. As Effie does, just remember to have a positive attitude and go get him. Go get him, kid. Well, I love you. Wait a minute. Whoa. So the platform rises up. When he opens his eyes, the most beautiful arena anybody has ever seen. Absolutely gorgeous. Colors, the smells, everything about it is electrifying and enticing. Flowers all over the meadow. Golden cornucopia. This is beautiful. What's wrong? Well, I'll get to that in just a second. Everybody is in a big giant ring. Lest we not forget, 48 people are here. He starts getting distracted. He finds a little tiny bunny, dove-colored fur. It hops right up to his platform. He's going to touch the rabbit. The rabbit hops away. And then he's like, wait, what am I doing? What are we doing here, people? Everybody's in a daze. Everybody's like, Panache is watching like a songbird flutter around. He goes ahead and trusts Plutarch's advice. North is in the direction of the woods. Over on the other side, which I think is south, maybe southwest, mountain with a snow cap on top. Obviously, the cornucopia is full of weapons, full of food. I can see a backpack kind of towards the tail of the cornucopia. If I run diagonally, I can go get it and then beeline up north. Here we go. That was good. The gong rings. Everybody is in such a daze and a haze. He's the only one really that's focusing. Gets his bag. He has enough time to just like turn around and see maybe like a 10-second head start on everybody. On through the meadow, trying to get to the woods as far north as he can get. You can already hear the screams. The bloodbath is the opening fight. The majority of tributes are dying. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. He knows that if he turns around to look to see who is screaming, he's gonna go back and help. See this plan all the way through. As much as it sucks, I have to just keep moving that way. This is world building here. The grass starts to get really tall. He doesn't find any snakes or wildlife out there. No mutts yet. Smell is inviting too. The smell of the arena. He says it's almost magical and it feels like it's pulling him in, like an insect falling into a nepenthe pod. A little inventory check of his backpack. Hefty, chunky bag. It's about 25 pounds. A mesh hammock, a pair of binoculars, 2 gallons of water, a dozen apples, a dozen hard-boiled eggs. You are gonna be farting. 6 large potatoes, a packet full of charcoal tablets. And he's like, I know my grandma used to take charcoal tablets when she had like heartburn. Had an upset stomach, she would chew on some charcoal. The end of the bloodbath, it's done. He starts hearing the cannons fire. They usually hold off on firing the cannon during the bloodbath because so many people are dying. The anthem at night, when we do a recap, I'll tell you who's gone. But for now, he knows 18 are out of here. I have a strong feeling that most of them are newcomers. He doesn't let himself believe that Ampert could be involved in the bloodbath to keep himself sane. No, he's alive and he's making it here. And we're gonna blow this thing up. He's in the woods. He sees the berms, like the flower bed things. All right, Plutarch, I see you. Lush, beautiful leaves, foliage, flowers, berry bushes, fruit growing off the trees. Haymitch is looking around and he's like, is this a joke? Why do I have such a heavy backpack? Half of it's food. I should just empty some of this out so I don't have to carry all this weight. This is stupid. And he finds a little stream. 2 more cannons go off. We've got 20 gone. He's looking at the water and it's got a little metallic-y sheen to it. Oh, whatever. So does our well water. He takes a couple of sips. He says that on a hot day, cold water kind of makes his stomach hurt. Doesn't drink too much. Brothers in arms, trusty steed, the rabbit takes a couple sips. Well, the rabbit croaks, dies. What are you talking about? It makes an awful noise like a baby bird, stiffens up and falls over dead with blood dripping out of its mouth. So he knows someone has poisoned the water hole. Because he took a few sips, he's trying to make himself throw up. A bite of a potato, that's the closest thing to bread, because he's thinking, I know bread would probably soak it up. But then he spits it out. Give me that charcoal tablet. Pulls out his bag again. He's in his bag. He realizes that the bag was clues. All of the food is at the cornucopia. He spit out that bite of potato. He has a thought of like, well, I can't even trust the food that was in my bag or at the cornucopia isn't poisoned either. This whole place, we could starve to death. Well, the 2 cannons that fired when he made it to the stream must have been people that just starting to nibble on a couple of things. Got him. It got him good. He's getting very feverish. He's sweating, got chills, wobbly. Calls it a night. He finds this little bush, like a berry bush. He crawls in there and he's like, I can't see anything coming out of here, so hopefully nobody can see anything coming in. This is where we get confirmation of who's died. I'm just gonna scratch him off with this. When the entire district is eliminated, I'll put my X up there. All right, well, let's get into it. All right, the first one to show up, Carrot from District 1, Urchin from 4. All of District 3 is fine. Yes, Ampert, yes! A boy and a girl from 5 are gone. I'll choose, we'll get rid of you, Fissure. And Patina, you're gone. That's all the careers. The rest are all newcomers. Okay, Smile, Novella. Both boys from 7. All from District 8 and 9. Both girls from District 10. Tile from 11. Oh, God, I don't want to tell you this. There's one more left. But let me go ahead and scratch everybody else off. I don't want to tell you who's gone from, it's from District 12. Womp womp womp. Wyatt is dead. Hell on wheels. No. Haymitch is lying there quite shocked. Most likely died protecting Lulu. Because he was a big brother. He did. He was protecting her. Then he starts thinking about how much his father just lost in bets and royalties, or how much he made. 4 careers are gone and 16 newcomers are gone. All of District 8 and 9 are gone. Now remember, District 9 had the sunflower explosives. Haymitch is like, hope that Ampert was able to get at least one of those sunflowers. Haymitch has another rabbit join him underneath the bush. He gives him the bite of not the pineapple. Where the would he get a pineapple for the potato? And remember, he doesn't know if every single thing in here is poisonous. Sacrifice. His food is fine. His water's fine. So it's morning time. I'm trying to keep the timeline straight. He hears a voice. Guess who it is? It's Miss Lulu. Lulu has found him because she's just saying, find Haymitch. Find Haymitch. Digging under the bush to get to him. Be quiet. Shut up. Be quiet. And he's like, what you doing? Hey, how you doing? He didn't do a good job of covering up his hiding spot. Handkerchief fell out of his pocket and was hanging on the bush. He had broken a whole bunch of branches. Haymitch, you did not do a good job. He asked her where everybody else is at, just says the mountain. The rascal angle that he portrayed, having somebody with him, it doesn't really jive with my rascal persona. But he did say on camera, live, that he would protect the newcomers. They were safe with him. So the audience doesn't get confused. Why did he just suddenly have this change of heart? He says, I'll just look after her until Ampert shows up. Then my main focus is blowing up the tank. She's trying to eat stuff off the tree. Maybe because she was moving throughout the night, she didn't even realize there was fruit all over the tree. So she didn't eat any during during the nighttime. This was a whole job trying to keep her from eating everything. If you remember in training, trying to eat everything, all the poisonous mushrooms, that was a clue. She doesn't have any weapons, really anything protective on her, so that the meadow must be pretty safe. And he's asking who told her to find her. Just keeps saying, find Haymitch, scratching off dried blood. And Haymitch is like, I bet that was Wyatt's. And he tells her, all right, we're gonna go look for your snake. And she's like, okay, just to keep her distracted. Like, I need to keep moving up north. He needs to find rock that he can do his flint striker. Remembers when he was puking into the stream. He remembers at the bottom there was a bunch of really colorful rocks. Did I say he got a spear? I didn't even tell you what weapons he got. I'm so sorry. He got a knife and he got a spear. I'm really sorry. He uses the spear and he kind of fishes different colored rocks out of the lake. He washes them off with his water in case like poisonous to touch. He goes through the whole list of colors. Of course, the dove gray one is the one that strikes the flint striker. I thought this was interesting to point out. Gotten the rocks out of the stream. For a moment, he thinks about making it seem like he had no idea his necklace was a striker, but figures he's already pulled the rocks out with the intention of starting the fire. Very conscious of what people are going to be seeing. This goes throughout the whole game. Well, how is this going to look? If I do this, what are people at home going to think? Or what are the game makers going to think? Using his necklace as the flint striker. No mutts come out. So he figures, well, the game makers must be okay with this. This kind of leads into his rascal persona. It's not breaking the rules. Token passed. They find the rock that works. They start a fire. Lulu kind of curls up in a ball. Like, all right, I'm done. Let me give you a lesson in fire because I am an expert. Nothing wet. It's going to smoke like shit and be a dead giveaway. So while gathering up little things, looking at all the berms, all have nameplates like in Heavensby Mansion, whatever. I want to say Heavensby Hall, but that's not the place. But each berm has a different group of flowers, whether it's real or not, he doesn't know. Tiger lilies, pansies, and one named gas plant, but he knows of the plant. The Covey, big garden outside of their house. He even knows about the gas plant because Lenore Dove says it's very dangerous and she won't wear it because they can ignite. She struck a match and the whole flower engulfed in a flame, but nothing happened to the flower. Another cannon goes off. 21 gone, 27 left. Eat some potatoes that they baked over the fire. I love a baked potato, but I gotta have all my fixings. If I don't got sour cream or cheese or even a little bacon bit, keep it. They leave the fire because Haymitch says if it burns down the arena, it burns it down. I don't fucking care. I'm not wasting my water on this. They're looking at all the berms. Lulu, she's actually looking for her snake, so she's looking around. She ends up in one berm full of scarlet blossoms. She recognizes them. They must be pretty big in 11. So she's running through, breathing in really heavy, really deep. He recognizes the flower because Burdock told him what it was. Bee balm. Lulu keeps like taking deep breaths. Well, then she gets really choked. Throat starts to close up. She can't breathe. Haymitch has to pull her out of the flower bed, having blood come out of her eyes, out of her nose, out of her mouth, every orifice. And he says that she looked like Snow when he was coming off the other end of having a bad batch of oysters. He's yelling out at the cameras, stop it. He knows that this is the game maker's doing. I was like, why did they send her after him? This is why, because they wanted to make a scene. They knew that she would most likely end up in one of these berms, poisonous flowers. Haymitch, actually, if we can consider this a kill, maybe, because Haymitch takes her pump that's on her chest and rips it out and she dies. Lulu is gone. Do we consider that Haymitch's kill? I mean, it was mercy. Oh my God. He closes her eyes and he whispers in the earpiece to game makers, you did this to her. This is who you are, murderers. Much like the opening ceremonies with Luella's body, he takes her body and holds on to it. Hovercraft is trying to claw a hand down there to pick her up and take her away. Well, he's like, y'all, he was going to be the last person that actually cared about her, that touched her, because as soon as she ends up back at the Capitol, most likely they'll probably just incinerate her body, vacuum her up. I don't know. I'm going to hold on to her. Running around. They run under a willow tree, and the claw tries several times to come down there and try and pick her up. It won't pick a body up if another tribute is near them. It'll hang out around in the sky. The smoke signal was not enough. There's a big giant hovercraft just hanging around in one area. He knows this is the exact behavior Snow warned him about in moments he could meet his end, and then who would blow up the tank. This is where we get our first mutt. He sees a blue butterfly flying down around him. He sees another one and another. Golden lightning bolts on their wings. When they get up to him, touch him, they start zapping him and tasing him, leaving Lulu under the willow tree, and he goes and takes off running. So they're all chasing him. Find out that they are programmed to go after specific people. Right now, they're going after Haymitch. They're hell-bent on getting him. Back to the gas plant berm. What does he do? He takes the flint striker and a rock, and he goes, it probably doesn't sound like that at all. probably just sounds like the whole berm ignites into like 5-foot flame. His outfit does not catch on fire. It doesn't do anything to his clothes. Jumps out of the way and he's all of them burn up to a crisp. A couple of stragglers. He knows he needs to follow them, find out where they come from. In an act of fury. I mean, he is angry, but he's using this as a cover up. A stick that's on fire, running after them, swinging the branch around. Well, then he lodges into the berm because he found out where it is. Like an open door in the ground. The stick in there. He's pretending not to really notice what he did. He knows what he did. And it leaves it open like 1/8 of an inch, but he pretends to be nonchalant about it. But now we've got a door that is slightly ajar to sub A. Guys, we're rounding turn 3, I think, because we're almost at the end of part 2. I'm proud of us. We're almost there. I'm so ready to be done with this. I love this series so much. I don't want you to think that I don't care about it. Otherwise, I would never have even started this shit. This is a lot of work that I'm putting on myself. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm really complaining. I'm kind of ready to move on. I don't know where that came from. He's done for the day. He's had enough. Clearly, I did not cover up my tracks well enough when I was staying in the bush. He climbs up into the trees. He sets up his hammock and the anthem plays. The tribute that died earlier was a boy from 1 that's not panache. And then Lulu is right after him. Lupe out, but he goes to sleep for a couple hours. Finally, we get a silver parachute, a dozen warm rolls, a block of cheese, and a bottle of grape juice with a fancy stemmed glass. He raises a toast up to the camera, like, to my fellow rascals, worried that the people back home are not gonna get it. He hopes that people back home know who he truly is at heart and knows that he's not an absolute dick, that it's all for the show. He goes up to the top of the tree, his binoculars, and he's looking around scoping an electric blue colored shirt making its way through the meadow. Amber is on his way. Oh, also, he looks over up north and it looks like he's got a little bit more to go, but he's pretty much almost there at the edge. He climbs down. He starts making his way towards the edge of the wood. He's marking his path so he can get back to that berm that he left the stick in. And halfway there, he starts thinking, like, how is this going to look to people at home? Well, not necessarily to people at home. The game makers. The game makers are probably like, why are you going after him? What does he have for you? What is it? What is this? It just looks a little suspicious. Why would he meet Ampert if he said he's going off on his own? It looks like he was waiting for him. And Lulu was different because she found him. What can Ampert give to him? He could give him information about what's going on out on the mountain. That's what we're going to say. He can see Ampert getting closer. 2 tokens from District 9. And he looks so upset. Been crying. Ampert like jumps on him and gives him a hug, telling him that the newcomers need him to come back. They sent him to go look for him. Haymitch keeps telling him, I'm still a part of your alliance. I'll protect you guys if I need to, but just stay away. Of course, this is all for the camera because he really needs Ampert with him. So he gives him some of the food that he got because it doesn't look like he's eaten anything. And he says that all the careers pretty much took everything from the cornucopia. Then there's not much left out there. I'm looking for this costume department. He's got a axe with him, a grass hat, a woven grass hat. I'm looking for this. Tell Haymitch that all of the newcomers that have already died in the bloodbath, except for Lulu. Welly was the one, this girlie right here, she was the one that figured out pretty quickly that everything was poisonous. It was Hulk. He had some kind of antidote syrup, counteract any kind of poison, took Wyatt's script coin and gave it to Haymitch. He confirms that Panache was the one that killed him. He had the sword, and I don't know which one he was going for. It doesn't really matter. Wyatt threw himself in front of Lulu. What the hell is that? No, I get it. That's what I've been saying. We done? Okay. Marriott is lethal with a trident. Silka has an axe, so she's a little axe wielder. Maysilee got lost in the bloodbath, but he assumes that she's over in the mountain with the rest of everybody else. The careers actually followed everybody over that way too, probably in the hopes of taking over and taking them all out. Haymitch has a thought for a second. What if she joined the careers? Much like PETA sorta kinda did in the first games that they went to. Just changed her mind and wanted to join the careers. But then he's like, I need to check thyself. I need to give her a lot more credit. She spent pretty much all of her time in training helping these other newcomers make their tokens. She's not as selfish as I'm thinking she is. Also, her and Silka did not get along. Ampert's asking if the woods are actually okay to be in because he's like, we need a new place to go to. Mountain's getting a little too crowded. He says, can you show me around so I can make sure that this is a good place for us to come over? A subtle way to make sure nobody at home suspects a thing. I'm not doing anything over here. Not trying to look for sub A. He shows them the berm where all the butterflies come out of. They don't acknowledge that the berm is slightly open. I don't even know if the game makers, they obviously didn't because they would have gone out there and fixed it. But and he says, actually, do you mind if I just hang out here with you? I don't want to go walking off at night. I'll head back in the morning. They start gathering things for a fire. It's really the stuff to get ready for the bomb. Remember what I said? Haymitch's clothes didn't burn up in the fire of the gas plant. So he's only tried it with the gas plant. Ampert takes off his sock and dangles it over the fire. Lasts for a long while, but then the toe of the sock starts to melt. It must take a lot to f them up. And now they're not like invincible in these clothes, just a protective layer. Ampert tells him that he wants to make a snare and try and catch something to eat. Do you think there is anything actually good to eat out here? Like, is the wildlife okay? And Haymitch says, I think so, because I saw a rabbit drinking from the stream and it had the same, like, it died. So if it was poisonous, you would think it'd be like a double negative. It wouldn't do anything to it. Well, I'll make a snare, and he undoes his lariat. This is the fuse. Winding it up around his hand. There's a blasting cap in there. He hides it and tucks it away. He's very slick with it. We got to give Ampert his flowers. Credit where credit is due. Nonchalantly is like, well, I have these tokens from 9. Do you want one? And so Haymitch, to keep up appearances, oh yeah, sure, I'll take one. You know, they were really cool in training. They did not put up with any from the careers. They were really good people. They're just trying to talk about, it does seem kind of weird. If you didn't know anything about their training, like people at home were probably like, why the did he want to take those sunflower tokens? And why would Haymitch want one? It all seems a little weird from the outside. To kind of explain it, we did have a moment together, and that's why I want one. Anthem plays, no deaths today. Ampert rolls up under the tarp, and he has to keep the fire going because he says he's afraid of the dark. This is important. He takes a big swig of water, tucks himself under the tarp. Okay. Haymitch is there. He's just accepted the fact that he's going to die, either doing this or he's just going to get killed by a mud. There's no way he's leaving the arena. He's going over in his head, saying goodbye to a long list of people. Then he has kind of like a positive outlook. If Lenore Dove is right and there's an afterlife, there is a heaven, maybe I'll be able to see all my family members that have already crossed over. I can see my dad, my mama, twin sisters that I never really got to meet. Wyatt might be there, Luella, and maybe even Lulu. And then I can always find my way back to Lenore Dove. And if there's nothing, then it'll be like going to sleep, I guess, making peace with everything. Judges by the moon in the sky that it's about midnight. Pretty much everybody at home is gone to sleep. They're not watching the game attentively. Probably only a couple of game makers are in charge of making sure everything's going smoothly. This is the time to act. We are going into sub A. Get your shit. We're going into sub A. Takes a branch, lights it on fire with the fire, wakes up Ampert. He's got the explosive already worn out. Remember what Beatty said? Explosives were covered in a shellac. Just need a little bit of water to wear it out. Rub one out. Sorry, these are kids. Ew. That swig of water he took, spitting it on the token. Okay, so we have our explosive ready. He passes it to Haymitch, so Haymitch will have it. As soon as the fuse is lit, you have 60 seconds to get away from it. Go back to the berm. They pry it open, puts his spear between the doors so they stay open. Like a 20-foot ladder down into sub A. This is scary. He leaves Ampert with his knife, just like he would tell Sid. He says, you're my best ally ever. He gets down into sub A, round hallway that they were in when they had to get into their pods, that the wall to his left, this is your left, this is my left. He realizes that the wall is the tank. Jesus Christ. What would they need a tank that big for? I'm ready to see how gargantuan this is. Are they planning to flood the arena? Used for rainstorms, extinguishing fires, and keeping plant life alive. So there's a lot of water here. Walks around a little bit more. You know what? It doesn't even matter where I put this shit. He smacks it up there. He lights the fuse and he takes off running. Well, I might as well just try and get out. Also, he thinks about how he told Beatty that he was going to try and make Ampert's death painless and quick as possible. He starts climbing. Then he can hear chirping sound. It sounds like a bird. No, it's not a bird. Bats. Big ass bats. Bab. He sees Babs. Big ass bats. Like 3 feet wide. Her talons are about maybe that long. Iridescent metallic wings. They're swarming. Come down into the berm. They're mutts. I don't know if you can tell. Ampert is up at the top. He drops down a torch, swinging and everything. The fuse is fusing. God damn it. Did I it up? Surely at this point it should have gone off. I don't know. It hasn't gone off. Boom! Yeah, he says it happens at the same exact time. The explosion and the flooding kills all the bats pretty much. They drown. Oh, I didn't tell you. He took his belt and then tied himself to the ladder because if he didn't, the flooding would have just sucked him down the hallway. Gets himself up out of sub A. And let me tell you what he finds. He finds nothing. Where is Ampert? Hey, do you know where Ampert is? Not me. You can see their campsite. It's untouched. The doors to the berm, sub A, are not closing. I'm picturing they're kind of like going up like this. He gets his spear, sees a golden squirrel. It's super cute, really fluffy, adorable, jumping out of the trees in a pile, ravaging at something. So one of the squirrels gets thrown out of the pile. It lands near Haymitch and he sees an electric blue shirt. hell. He gets his hammock because he's trying to scoop him up in like a net, spearing at him, but they keep coming back. It's like a switch was flipped and they take off running back to where they came from. I all but told you, and we knew it would happen. He died. Ampert is dead, and Haymitch was not there to protect him. Can you imagine what Beatty is feeling? The mutts, they're programmed to attack certain people. The squirrels were only programmed to attack Ampert. Haymitch looks at the pile. They picked him clean. They picked poor Robin clean. A skeleton. He is just pearly white bones. Axe is laying on one side and the knife is laying on the other. Suzanne Collins, you sick motherfucker. Haymitch lets out a howl, unlocked a new level of hurt. Then the arena starts to shake. It's like an earthquake is happening. Branches and limbs and everything is falling out, landing all around him. It's like, ha, you missed me. The arena starts to go haywire. Doors to the berm opening and closing like this. Blossoms are coming up from the door. Deer that are running towards him with like knife hooves. Their apple trees got blue sparks raining out of it. Gas, steam, bubble things happening over the stream. Arena is going psycho. Sky also glitches out. You can see the real sky behind it. Smell the difference in the air. And he's like, oh, we fucking did it. We destroyed the arena. He starts singing The Goose in the Common because that's the first song that he could think of. He's jumping around. I would jump around, but my fucking back is gonna break. Big back self. I feel like an earthquake is actually happening here. He's like in a state of hysteria. He falls to his knees and he's looking up at the sky and he sees the stars and he's like, these are Sid's stars. And then, boom, it all goes back. But the game makers were there just like, bing, artificial sky. There's still a couple of things that are going a little hinky. He's like, hello? Get a better vantage point. He climbs up to the top of the tree, gets his binoculars, and he looks over at the mountain. Well, it's not a mountain. Actually, it's a volcano, and it erupts, and it's got golden lava coming down where every other tribute is. Right. Okay, that is the end of part 2. Part 3 is called The Poster. Now let me sit down. Ooh, I got worked up. I'll regroup, and we're gonna finish it up. We are in the home stretch. It is my birthday as of right now. It is March 3rd. Why are you lopsided? Oh, on my birthday of all days. It's lopsided and I can see it. Yes, it is my birthday and we are just gonna finish this up. We are in part 3. This one's called The Poster. The arena, it's not broken. It's just damaged. It's fine and the games are gonna still continue. Volcano has started to erupt, spewing out this golden lava blast of it in the air all the way across the arena, hits him in the face. He starts gagging and choking. Maybe this was a sign from the clothing. Maybe it was designed because the volcano was going to erupt at some point. And then he also starts thinking, I could be the only one left because I can't hear anything right now. Explosion, the wind is starting to blow. The cannons could be firing off for everybody and I could be the only one. I wouldn't know. But I guess I'll find out if I'm not picked up soon. Kind of like buries himself up in his clothes. Whatever happens to me, if the arena lights on fire from the volcano ash, so be it. Maybe that's what the whole tank was for, was to put out the volcano. Who did I think I was? A little punk kid from District 12 who thought he could change the world and stop the games. I'm nobody. What the did I think was gonna happen? Just shouting out, please just stop, let me go. I've had it. He doesn't really fall asleep, but he's kind of in a daze. There was a humming in the ground. He figures that this is the generator that Beatty was talking about that's kicking back on. He remembers that Beatty said that it was at the very top of the arena. Okay, we'll get back to that in just a couple minutes. He starts thinking about what Mags had asked all of them before the game started, how they all said that they wanted their deaths to be quick and not a big spectacle. So he's thinking, I know I'm gonna die. My last moments of life, look for Maysilee and I'll protect her until the very end, or make sure she at least goes out with her head held high. Or maybe I'll find some newcomers. I don't know. Well, he hasn't been announced as the victor yet, so he has not won. Let me give you an inventory count of what food and drink he has left. Half a gallon of water, 2 potatoes, 2 rolls, 1 egg, 1 apple, 1 glass of grape juice. Crawls out of his shirt and he's looking around. The ash from the volcano has settled over everything, but instead of being an ugly gray, smoky, charcoaly color, it is beautiful. Crystallized everything. So if it was already vibrant before, it's blinding now. What is this place? Where am I? Ampert's bones have been scooped up and all that was left was his axe and the little knife. Haymitch goes and grabs that, grabs his hammock, he packs everything up in his book bag. His sunflower token, because Ampert gave him the extra one, is still intact somehow. It didn't get up in the flooding. But he's like, well, what the hell am I gonna blow up? The generator? That's on the outside of the arena. How am I gonna get there? Thinks of the possibility of getting out of the arena, and what does he have to lose at this point? Even if there's no chance of success at the end of the arena and Haymitch is close, but he'll have to wait to see what the exterior wall is. So anyway, the plan, head up north, keep going until we find this generator, or at least find the edge of the arena, and then we'll go and find Maysilee. But let's go find this generator. Come on, people, let's go find it. Tiny little rainstorm that happens. He tries to fill up some of the jugs of water. They hardly get anything. All the crystallized ash is melting away. He gets to the edge of the woods, and it comes to a point like a V shape, a tall hedge, a hedge maze. Stretches the entire width, like as far as the eye can see. You can see that it's a holly bush. Holly berries are poisonous. The holly berries have a little black dot. Okay, we'll come back. We'll come back to that. Goes into the hedge maze, wrapping himself all the way around. Swears that he thinks that the game makers are changing the maze around, probably moving the sun. He doesn't trust the sun anymore, especially now that the sky went all fuzzy. Getting lost in the sauce here. And he's about to start hacking at the hedge, but he has a thought like, this almost seems sinister. I don't know, there's something wrong with this hedge, but I don't have any other choice. I can't get out. So he's going to hack. Sees something out of the corner of his eye. It's another rabbit. They're always there to save the day. So the rabbit's looking at him and basically like, come on, I'll show you the way out. He chases the rabbit all the way throughout, gets to the edge, and he's like, oh, thank God, Mr. Rabbit. Well, get this. He runs out. Shing! Hit with the sword. The top of his ear gets taken off, or at least sliced on the ear. I don't know if it gets taken off. Panache, hello, Panache, hello. Careers are right outside. Now, let me just read from my notes, because he says, nothing that happened in the next few minutes was premeditated. It was only reflexive. The girl from 4 runs the trident towards his neck, but he deflects with his left arm and pushes the knife into her gut. You are gone, Barba. He rolls over and sees the leg of her district partner and puts that into a lock. He swings his axe into the boy's neck. Goodbye, angler. Oh my God, Haymitch. Then it's just him and Panache. And Panache has a whole entire shield and a sword, and Haymitch just has his axe and his little knife. And Haymitch turns on the rascal charm, and he tries to have a conversation with him. Panache, I'm sorry about taking your carriage at the opening ceremony. Sorry for everybody calling you a meathead too. This looks kind of cheap if you look at it. Going after District 12. The one kid who got a 1. And Panache is like, no, you, it's your time to die. And he's going to swing at the very last second. Shink! Panache is hit in the neck with a dart, and Panache is dead. Oh, you guys, she's running out. So we've got 3 kills, all careers. Goodbye, Panache. Guess who shot the dart? Maysilee. Yay, she found Haymitch. Comes out from behind a tree. She's got a little blowgun with poison darts. She tells Haymitch that they would probably live longer if it was the 2 of them paired up. And he's like, agreed. Go back into the woods, and she kind of dresses up some of his wounds that he got. Stole a first aid kit from the careers, and it has a burn cream in it. She's been using it on herself because he can see that her outfit is toe up from the flow up. She's got burn marks on top of her welts from Drusilla. All right, tell me what happened on the mountain. She said it wasn't lava. It was, I don't even know what it was. It was some kind of gel. It gave you a really bad chemical burn. And then all of a sudden solidified, and it was slippery as ice. Everybody kept sliding down the mountain. She's asking for any food, and he jokes, now this is where I was going to bring it all back with the fork and the knife thing. I have food, but I don't have any silverware, so sorry, you can't eat it. Hey, Mitch, you are funny. And she's like, oh, don't worry, I'm ready. She had made herself a knife and fork out of some wire. Literally clinically insane. They pour the last glass of grape juice. She's got some olives with her, beef jerky. Let me tell you who is dead. Panache. All 4 from District 2 are gone. Ampert and the rest of District 3. Boy and girl Haymitch killed from 4. Last 2 from 5. A-Tread from 6. A boy from 10. Blossom from 11. That means 16 are gone. Oh my God. All right, let me put some X's up there too. All right, we're clearing them out. Okay. From the top, Silka, Marriott, Welly, Autumn, Ringina, Buck, Hall, Chicory, Haymitch, and Maysilee. 10 left. Maysilee tells him that Panache was her second kill and that she had killed Lupe from District 1 after he went off from the pack. She thinks she shot Camilla from District 2. Didn't die from her dart. She went off and got killed some other way. Officially, she's only killed 2 people. Mags and Wyrus send them a parachute full of ham bean soup. They make a fire. He uses his flint striker. Maysilee is very impressed by this. Take turns going to sleep. She lays out a tarp. Now they've got tarps. I don't know if I told you that. He tries to go to sleep, but he's like, I just feel like I haven't thanked her enough. She did save my life. Do you remember that thing you told Amber in the training center? And she's like, oh, yeah, I'll be your sister if you want me to. No. They hold hands, and he's like, all right, sis, good night. Oh, no. They start where they started at. I went from hating her back home. She was a total bitch, bullied everybody. We became allies. We split up for a second. Now we're family. Switch out halfway through the night. He starts thinking of a plan to get to, what do you call that thing? The generator. And how is he going to explain this to Maysilee without flat out saying, I'm going to go find a generator? He had to be getting close to the edge, and they kept moving the hedge pieces around to confuse him and lead him back out to the woods. If he makes it through the maze, he's sure to find the generator. Like I said, he's got to think of a way to bring that up to Maysilee to be like, he grabs a tarp and he's trying to make a little funnel for the rainwater to go through. They break the stem of their wine glass, put it down in the center, and that's going to be their little funnel to when it rains. Pack that all up and let's get moving. She's starting to say, what are we doing today? I think we should go back to the cornucopia and see what kind of food they have left over there. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I really think we should go back north. I think we should try that hedge again. Can we at least go by where the careers were just at? I'm starving and it's like starting to hurt. Also, she can tell that he is not sharing information with her. She's not stupid. They take all of their supplies that they can get. Another hammock, 2 empty water jugs, 3 handkerchiefs, a bottle of syrup medicine, a second tarp, and a blowtorch. All the food that they had was a tin of sardines, an old banana, 4 rolls, and a little bit of nut butter. So then Maysilee makes him a couple of sandwiches with the rolls, the bananas, and the nut butter. I'm responsible for a lot of the funky creations we have at the candy shop. Do you remember when we started selling those chili cherry hard candy whatever the and he's like, oh my god, my mom all loved that. Wow, it must be a pretty fun job working at the candy shop. And she kind of rolls her eyes and she's like, honestly, I don't even like candy. There's so many more interesting things that I could create. I imagine Maysilee is kind of a caged bird. Never been 100% happy at the candy shop. She's just confined there. Maysilee stops at a couple of bushes, some berries to make more of her juice for the poison darts. She keeps a little vial, perfume bottle that she keeps the poison in. Taking her time, and Haymitch is pointing out like, hey, do you really have to do that right now? And she's like, what's your rush, Haymitch? Why do we have to keep moving so quick? Maysilee, stop! They make it back to the hedge. Maysilee's looking at the little holly berries. It seems weird too. Like she can feel it. Honestly, let's just start hacking at it. I tried to go through it. They kept turning it around on me. My plan is just go through it. They go to swing their knives and their axes. The little holly berries start crawling all up on them. Maysilee says, they're ladybugs. Latch on, and they start to grow into the size of like a cherry or a blueberry. Latch on like a fucking tick, and then they explode with blood. They run out of the maze. They start flinging their clothes off, these ladybugs off, because they don't even know what will happen if they stay latched on. They are covered head to toe. The rain starts to fall. They're able to use their new tarp. Also didn't point out, because when he had that first little shower after the arena went to shit, how is there water still around? Because I blew up the whole tank. They have a backup tank. And if so, then god damn it all to hell. That was a waste of time. Well, maybe there was like a little bit, like a foot of water left at the very bottom and they're using that. But somehow they're still getting rain. Maysilee says, well, now we're blood siblings. She asked him, did you ever want a sister? And he says, oh, I have some. They just died. His mom had twins before they started school. Also, he has his brother. And she says, oh, yeah, I remember him. He used to come in there and buy candy. And then she says something along the lines of, I hope Marilee still thinks of me as her sister, even though I might die. And he's like, of course she will. You're not going to stop being a twin just because you die. He's saying it out loud because he's hoping that Sid is listening, knows that even if Haymitch dies, that he still will be his brother. Just then, we get 2 cannon fires. I'll tell you who they are at the end of the day. Maysilee says, well, if that's the 2 careers, then what? Well, we'll do what we said. We'll all get together and make a new plan. Maysilee says, all right, enough bullshit. Let's go back to the cornucopia, like we said. It's a 6-mile walk. I'm really speeding these chapters up too, because I think we're on day 4. I'm speeding them up because we ain't got time. They're walking through the woods and Maysilee says, do you hear that? It sounds like a baby. Oh, sorry. Everybody's texting me for my birthday. Oh, my mom called.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Annabelle. Happy birthday to you. I love you. I hope you're having a great day. All right, babe, I love you.
What was I saying? His hearing is still fuzzy because of the explosion. He's trying to listen in and he's like, it sounds like a goat or a cat. Well, they get to a clearing. They can see a humongous bear-sized porcupine and it's attacking Buck and Chicory. Great. Quills stuck into them and they're trying to take them off. It says that their hands start to freeze up like they're covered in frostbite. They lose motor skills. Wanted to point out, it said that he took off his book bag, threw it into a patch of Katniss. Oh, it's always just a callback. Maysilee says, well, maybe we can deflect quills because porcupines, they kind of live in the mountains of 12. Lenore Dove says that she loves them and she calls them quill pigs. It's a common misconception that they can shoot quills from their bodies. Like, that doesn't happen. Well, here it does. Hull, he comes out screaming, trying to help protect Buck and Chicory. Porcupine turns around to his backside, spread 'em toots, and he shoots out quills and they hit them all in the face. I cannot confirm if that actually does happen with real porcupines. I have no idea. We could try and help him. Maybe we should make a shield. Let's grab the tarp. I think I can hit it with a dart, but I'm not sure if it'll pierce its skin. And he says, well, maybe if we flip it over on its belly, then we can. He grabs a stick, leverage it over, and flip it over like a pancake. That makes the porcupine turn around and focus on Haymitch and Maysilee. And he's like, that we're not doing that. Well, the porcupine is ready to go. Shooting quills at them. Straight through the tarp. Pokes Maysilee in the cheek. One hits Haymitch in the nose. But for the most part, the tarp did work. Haymitch at one point throws his axe at it and it hits it in the side, squealing and whining like a little baby, like a toddler, and stomping its feet. I don't know how the they're gonna do this in the movie. The quills are poisonous because Maysilee's cheek is swelling up. His nose is swelled up to the size of a strawberry. Maybe our medicine syrup will help us and help them if we can get to them. At first, Haymitch is like, maybe we should sing it a lullaby because it sounds like a baby. Instead of that, maybe we need like a pacifier. You can catch more flies with honey than vinegar. So Maysilee takes the can of olives. They start throwing them out one by one and making a little path for the porcupine to leave. Unfortunately, the medicine doesn't work because they were stuck like 50 times. So now Buck, Hull, and Chicory are gone. And that means District 10 is gone. All of District 11 is gone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Shut up. You shut up. They take the L and they go sit back down in the patch of catnip. Maysilee just kind of whispers, one of us has to win so we can be the worst victor that's ever been. Tear up their scripts and their celebrations, burn down the victor village, refuse to play the game, paint our own posters. They pinky swear it, they lock it in so you know it's for real, ones that have just died. They go and get their supplies. Just got a parachute in, so pretty good with food, honestly. Crackers, baked beans, raisins mixed with candy, a blanket, half full water jug. They can make a fire and then they'll head for the cornucopia tomorrow morning. It's the anthem. Now, the other two cannons that fired earlier belong to Autumn and Ringina from District 7. Now, District 7 is gone. Good night. Okay. You only got 5 left. Welly's still out there. That's their only newcomer that's left. Maysilee says, you know what? If it can't be me or you, I want it to be her. They agree instead of going to the cornucopia, they're actually going to go look for Welly tomorrow. He's going to sleep first and he's like, could you sing me a lullaby? Because he's just joking. The porcupine, I guess, just went back to sub A. I don't know. She says she only has one song stuck in her head since earlier. Ladybug, ladybug, fly away home. Your house is on fire. Your children are gone. All except one who answers to Nan. She's hiding under a frying pan. All right. This gets him thinking because he's like, ladybugs, fire. I know what I'm doing tomorrow. I'm going to go burn down that head. He wakes up. There's a breakfast waiting for them from a parachute. Cornbread, buttermilk, and peaches. It is not a bad breakfast. I've never had cornbread for breakfast. And Maysilee, she took the time. She laid out handkerchiefs. She twisted one up into a flower. And he said that this is her poster. Even though they're still here, you are not taking away their class, dignity. I will enjoy the finer things of life, even here in this hellhole. Confirmed in my notes. It's day 6. Haymitch says that maybe they should just go look for Welly. But he's also going to use this as a way to spin it around to head back up north, and again without saying it flat out. Actually, I think we should head back over to the maze. I think Welly would have headed that way. And Maysilee's like, no, she wouldn't. She knows that it ends on either side like that. Why would she go there and be cornered in by the careers? Just trust me on this, please. They start heading that way, but a couple of times on the way there, Maysilee stops and she's like, I don't know about this. He's like, no, we really shouldn't. We should keep going. Eventually, she just stops dead in her tracks and she's like, I know you're not telling me something. He says, the arena has got to end somewhere and I want to find it. This is my poster and I need to paint this poster. So they keep moving. They hear a humming noise. Said maybe they have like oversized mosquitoes flying around. And they pass back a water jug between the two of them. Well, when they pass it back, shink, a knife comes in between them. It's Marriott and Silka. Maysilee and Haymitch move behind some trees. Well, Haymitch loses his balance and he slips on something. What's slippery out here? But he slides down the hill. Guess who's in the fucking arena? 3 game makers in the arena working on a burned door. Guess they didn't expect them to come back. So the game makers are looking up. Haymitch and Maysilee are looking at them. They're all just like... Eventually, everybody gets down there, except Marriott is at the top, and she's saying, like, is that game makers down there? He had some sludgy stuff all over the ground. One has a mop bucket, one's got a drill, and the other one's just supervising. One game maker, she tries to sound macho, and she's like, shouldn't be here, and you're in violation. You should leave right now, or face repercussions. And Maysilee's like, you are shaking in your boots, and I got a loaded dart right here. All 3 of the game makers start to make a dash to the door. Marriott throws her trident, hits one of them, kills the game maker. Maysilee shoots a dart and hits the other one. The other one is like, He does a head dive down into sub A and cracks his head on the pavement. The game makers have died. SOOOOO is looking around. Oh my God, they're never gonna let us out of here now. Maysilee is like, that's very bold of you to think that you were getting out of here. She loads up a gun and she's looking at Marriott, is taunting her, asking her why 4 wants to slum it with 2 or 1. Tear gas bombs start dropping. Maysilee and Haymitch dip. They get to the hedge and Maysilee has a fit because she's like, you, Haymitch, you're supposed to have my back. You're my ally, and you weren't even there to defend me. So she's hot. It's kind of like when Plutarch asked them in training, why don't they just go ahead and kill the higher up? Because obviously he's killed. I'm not above killing. So I'm either brainwashed or I'm a coward. Worried about what Sid would see, and he doesn't want Sid to think that he's a coward. I don't even know if they'll even show that, because that was kind of breaking the fourth wall. Now people know that there's a sub A. There's a level underneath the arena. Game makers were not supposed to be in the arena, although that's never stopped them before. She says, I'm eating this whole can of sardines. They're mine. I'm not sharing. He says that I knew she was mad because she didn't even use her knife and fork. And she's tracing the outline of a spider web, and he's like, I'm shocked you touched that. Oh, I love anything made out of silk. It reminds me of my grandma. Her face, her skin, it felt like silk. I love her so much. She's my favorite person. Treated her like she was her own person. She had hoped one day when she got older that she would look like her grandma. And then she says she would tell her when she was scared, nothing they can take from you was ever worth keeping. Haymitch says, oh yeah, I know that from one of Lenore Dove's songs. Anyway, so when he brings up Lenore Dove, Maysilee says, your girl's got the jump on all of us. What do you mean by that? We don't get an answer right now. We will in just a minute. It's like, what do you mean by that? And she's like, nothing. Let's go to your hedge. They get the blowtorch, light another stick on fire for Maysilee. They go crazy. Burn down the whole hedge. Ladybugs are spewing blood everywhere. They make it to the very edge of the arena. Well, 100-foot drop cliff down to some spiky rocks. The generator is sitting right there. Maysilee says, is this it? Did we make it to the end? And Haymitch takes a deep breath and he goes, yep, this is the end of the road. He feels defeated. There's no way to destroy it. I can't get to the generator. I jumped that far. I'm gonna die. There's no way to beat this thing. The wheels are starting to turn because he's like, I want to hang out here for a second because this isn't right. Everything else in this arena is beautiful. If you lift up a rock, I'm sure the worms are even beautiful. Except for this. This is ugly as shit. This is not pretty. She says, look, this might just be the easiest way to get out of here, to end this all, is if we just go ahead and split up. Well, then they hear a cannon and they look at each other. Actually, okay, maybe we should stick together. I'm gonna go check the food and see how much food we got. Maysilee leaves. He stays up there, walking up and down the ledge. He kicks over a rock, trying to listen to see how long it would take for it to hit the ground. Well, it doesn't make a noise, so he's like, fucking hell, there's no hope. Not so fast. Pebble shoots back up to him. There is a fucking force field down there. Do we remember in Catching Fire when PETA found the force field and he was burnt to a crisp and his heart stopped and everything? So when things are shot back over, they're warm. It's like they've been electrified. It bounces everything back in order to protect the generator. I don't want to have to tell you this, but Maysilee starts screaming. There are giant water birds. I think they're flamingos. I'm also picturing like a pterodactyl with a long beak. She's trying to slice and dice. Haymitch comes up trying to yeet them off of her. One of the birds takes its long ass beak and pushes it through Maysilee's throat. Oh my God! Maysilee's out. I mean, we knew. As soon as the birds stab her, they're called back to wherever. He's holding onto her hand. You're not gonna die, crying or pleading or anything like that. Holds onto her necklaces and points to him, and he takes a copper flower, wraps her pinky around his. You better paint your poster, bitch. And then she dies. She was his sister at the end of it all. A parachute comes, and at first he's confused because strawberry ice cream and black coffee. Black coffee was her favorite thing to drink. He drinks all of it, even though he says that he doesn't really like coffee all that much. I'd be like, thank you, I understand the sentiment, but I don't want that. I hate coffee so much. The strawberry ice cream, it was the night before the interviews. The prep team was freaking out because they thought they were going to be failing, and Maysilee sarcastically was like, that's terrible. I'll think about that in the arena. Here's some strawberry ice cream. Haymitch and Mags looked at each other and they kind of laughed about it. This is from Mags. Supplies in her bag, and he finds that she did keep that little baggie for the potato light. He also takes her blow dart. One dart loaded up in the blowgun. Hovercraft comes, takes her up, and she's gone. The anthem plays. The career that had died was actually Marriott. District 4 is done for. Oh, I gotta put one over on Ring Gina. I'm so sorry, girl. You're out. Got Haymitch, Welly, and SOOOOO. Probably not random though. Marriott and Maysilee died because they were the two that killed the game makers. Now he's got nothing to lose. Trying to find Welly. I don't have anything to be afraid of. If SOOOOO comes up, I can try and defend it as much as possible, but it's just us three. He starts yelling full volume for Welly. Do you remember her token was a little bicycle bell? So she starts ringing it. She's up in the trees. He climbs up there. Poor thing held on to a tree branch, laying on her belly, and he says that she looks like a possum, dehydrated, starved, she can't talk, she can barely keep her eyes open. He's like, well, I can't move you. It's just a bad deal. So he's like, all right, we'll hang out up here for the night. And he tries to give her some water. He can barely get down a sip or two. Rainstorm that's coming, not a way for him to really light a fire up in a tree. So he cracks open the packet of light bulb, one of his potatoes, does the light bulb thing. He uses Maysilee's copper flower. Now this is important. I don't think I mentioned it, but when he undid the fuse in sub A, he had black smudging all over his hands. He gets the light bulb glowing and he gives it to Welly and she's holding on to it. Like, rain comes, he wraps them both up in tarps. Then a parachute comes, warm vanilla pudding and a couple pieces of chocolate that are individually wrapped. Able to get a couple of spoonfuls of pudding in Welly, and they both each get a couple of pieces of chocolate. And he can hear, I picture the Stewie meme where he's like, Silka is at the very bottom of the tree crying, and he says, I was suddenly very aware of all three of us because we've all lost friends. We're all just human here. He just drops down a couple pieces of chocolate. Crying stopped. Could hear her unraveling the chocolate. At least for tonight, this is one hell of a poster. But guys, we're getting to the end. This is the last chapter of the games. Okay, stick with me. My back hurts so bad. I think next breakdown series, I'm gonna be sitting in a chair from here on out. I haven't even been recording for that long. I don't know why I'm being such a puss. When I did my American Horror Story videos, there would be times I would record for literally 3.5 hours straight. Recorded for an hour and I'm like, I'm hurting, my back hurts, I'm tired. I need to get a grip and nobody's forcing me to do this. This is my choice. Shut up, lock in. I'm talking to myself, I'm not talking to you, but I am talking to you. He wakes up, Silka is gone, she didn't stick around, and he says that she probably actually, just a vulnerable moment, woke up and was like, what am I doing? I cannot show emotion like that. If she does win this and goes back home, the people back home, they might be like, girl, what were you doing? The reason I brought up the black smudging is because Haymitch looks at his hand. I have black smudge all over my hand. Maysilee's copper medallion is a fuse. Yes, that's what Beatty was saying to me at the night of the interview. He started to say, we've also replaced, and he didn't get to finish because while he came up. Oh, yeah. Well, what he was going to say, the game makers or whoever placed Maysilee's token with a fuse. So now he's like, I have another chance to blow something up. What can I blow up now? Maybe I could blow up the cornucopia, the center of it all, and they have to have the cameras on that. There's no hiding it. Plan of action. Get Welly down. Make another bomb. Lure Silka to the cornucopia. He'll put Welly somewhere safe. He'll attach the explosive to the cornucopia, get Silka closer to him. Either she dies, they both die, and Welly can get out of here and be the victor. But the main focus right now, because she is so extremely starved, is to get her food. He gets her out of the tree. I need to build a fire for us to cook some food. Now that she's able to speak to him, she says, don't leave me. Don't ever leave me again. Tells her, I'm gonna have to leave you for a minute because I gotta find dry wood. Rainstorm that came through last night, wet everything. I'm gonna tuck you away somewhere. I'm gonna come right back. I'll give you this blowgun that I took from Maysilee. And Maysilee thinks that you should be the victor. Gas her up. I mean, he really does think that she should be the victor too, but he's really trying to like rally the troops, please. It can't be us, which it's not gonna be me. It needs to be you. So she's like, okay, I can do this. He tucks her in a bush somewhere. He goes off. What does he find? A silver parachute, but this one is a golden pitcher full of milk. Golden staircase from Plutarch's library. Card that says courtesy from the Capitol. Two things could be possible here. One, it could be from Plutarch. It could be an apology. Sorry, the plan didn't work out. As we have noticed, Plutarch is a little shady lady. Can we trust that? No, we can't, because it's not from Plutarch. The second possibility, and this is what's really going on, from President Snow, because he saw Haymitch drinking the milk in the library when he was supposed to be giving it to him. Let me read you what I wrote. He's giving him the choice to drink the milk himself or go back and give it to Welly, implying that the milk is poison. What do you do in that situation? If you know that this is possibly, most likely, 100% poison, give just the whole pitcher to Welly and she just ends up croaking. He doesn't think Plutarch would want to link himself to anything Haymitch decides to do, like blowing up a tank, and this pitcher is most likely well known to be a symbol of the Heavens Beast. Since he was assigned to cover District 12's propos, he's not allowed to send in any sponsors. Therefore, henceforth and furthermore, this is from Snow and it's poisoned. Haymitch refuses to be a traitor. I don't care. I'm not giving this to Welly. I will drink it. Going to drink it. Boom! We hear a cannon. Oh. He tosses the pitcher. It breaks. Now, there was a point he made. Why didn't I just toss the pitcher or pretend to spill it or pretend to drop it in the first place? He was sure that a mutt would come out and attack him. When he hears the cannon, he says this was not a part of Snow's plan to have somebody else die and distract him. Running back to the area where he left Welly. No mutts are coming. I think Snow was just like, all right, well, let's just let this play out. SOOOOO is standing there holding her axe in one hand and Welly's head in the other. Damn it. I left her just like she had asked me not to do. I would be there for the newcomers to protect them and I wasn't there. And SOOOOO says, well, she tried to attack me. SOOOOO has the dart hanging out of her neck barely in there. Welly probably didn't even have enough air to SOOOOO says that Welly had to go and so does Haymitch so she can get back to her people. And Haymitch says, we all have people, you dumb bitch. Your people are never going to forget what you just did right now. And she's like, that's okay. When I get back home, I can explain myself to everybody. He doesn't say this to her, but he's gonna kill her and Snow's gonna have him killed. There will be no victor in these games. I'm sacrificing myself for there to be no winner. That's my last stand I can take. Do you think they'd really care? Ironic. The 50th Hunger Games, the most glamorous one of them all, and there's no winner. They both get out their axes. SOOOOO just tosses Welly's head across like with no regard at all. They go at it with each other. They're slicing, they're dicing, they're shinking. Both of them go back and forth, nearly ending the other. It's brutal and bloody, and she distracts him, spinning the axe above her, and it comes down and slices across his gut. So now his intestines are almost falling out of his stomach. He's got to keep one hand holding everything together. I think he either drops the axe, she hits the axe out of his hand, something like that. Well, he begins to run. She leaps on him. They go down to the ground. He takes a knife, sticks it in her eyeball. Her eye is out of the socket, screaming, rolling around. It gives him a chance to get up, holding in his belly gut. He runs north and he goes to the edge where the generator is. They make it to the edge. She throws the axe. He ducks. And she doesn't go after him. You're just gonna die. Anyway, your innards are halfway out of your body. You're gonna die at any minute. I'll just sit here and wait. She doesn't realize what's at the bottom of that cliff. He does. He stays down. The axe comes back, lodges in SOOOOO. She's kind of writhing around for a little bit, but eventually, SOOOOO's dead. Wee woo, wee woo. Oh, I didn't put an X. Yes, I did. Okay. I'm panicking. Well. Haymitch did it. He did it. But he's not done yet. SOOOOO stays alive for a couple minutes. While he's waiting for her to die, he starts unraveling his fuse, loading up the second bomb. And then we get a voice from the game makers. Just stop what you're doing. Stop. Please stop. He doesn't. He gets sprayed with a couple of bullets. They miss him. SOOOOO's cannon goes off. She's officially dead. He lights his fuse. Hail Mary tosses it over. It blows up down there. Everything goes black. His last sensations are his intestines in one hand and his striker in the other. The games are over. No more funny games. Chapter 25, he wakes up naked and chained to a metal slab. His belly's been stitched closed and tubes come from his body. He looks to his right and he can see Avoxes pressing their faces up against the glass. He's in the lab, Dr. Gall's glabs, in that little clinic that she had. Avoxes are like banging on the glass. On his left, a gray rabbit. He's like, oh my gosh, it's a friend. These rabbits in the arena saved me so many times. Poison, the hedge, getting blown up at the very beginning. There is a giant snake in the back of the tank and it comes up and it eats the whole rabbit. Closes his eyes. He doesn't want to watch it. Nightmare fuel. A nurse comes in there. He's trying to ask questions. She doesn't say anything. When she leaves, Haymitch can hear her say something about laboratory, sepsis, and disruptive. And then he's knocked out. He's there for a couple of days, waking up, watching the rabbit get eaten again. One day he wakes up back in the apartment, but he's completely alone. He's got a pump thing on his chest, just like Lulu had. If he tries to take that off, it'll probably kill him. Only food he's got in there is milk and bread. People out on the street. There's nobody out there, which is weird. Cameras are still up and running. Knows that he's being watched. Obviously, President Snow wants him alive for something, otherwise he would have had him killed by now. Alone with his thoughts for days. Everybody else's outcome, and he's like, I don't really care about Magno or Drusilla. But what happened to Beatty? Is Beatty dead? Wyrus, Mags, Effie, the prep team, like, entertain the thought of what's happening back home, because he will absolutely spiral. He stays out in the living room on the TV 24/7, old reruns of games. There's one in particular, Miss Lucy Gray. the sound of somebody singing, a dark-haired girl with a rainbow dress. The song that she sung at her interview. He knows that it's a Covey accent and it's a Covey song. Puts two and two together. The 10th Games. This must be the girl that I've always wondered about. Lenore Dove must know the story, and it must be too painful whatever happened afterwards to share it. That's why she never likes to talk about her. The bright pieces of fabric from Lenore Dove's dresses could be made from this girl's own dress. The person that she took a bow with, because remember she brought Haymitch, Snow up on the stage. He does the math. He does some configuration. It was 40 years ago. Whoever this boy was could be 18. He figures it out. It's Snow, because Snow alluded to knowing about the Covey. Haymitch puts two and two together, and he's like, oh my fucking god. He was so good looking. That's so awful. He turned out to be a spiral eventually because he's been locked up for a week with no one to talk to. He ends up picking up a chair, throws it at the window. It doesn't break, but he gets sprayed up above him with bullets. Peacekeepers come in. Effie finally comes in and they're like, please stop that. Getting ready for his interview. Rep team comes in. They do their magic on him. Effie says that Magno is still planning to be there tonight. Haymitch says, no, I'm letting everybody know that you dressed me. She says, please don't make this a big deal because my last name Trinket is still not in favor with a lot of people. I knew you were a good person the day that I met you. I dropped my makeup bag and you helped me clean it all up. And then she says something about, but you know, the Hunger Games are for the greater good. We know that Effie eventually sides with the rebellion. There's a sliver of you, Effie, that knows this is not right. Underneath the stage, Effie's there standing with him. We get to Mockingjay. We're at odds with one another at some points. We get a backstory, and Effie has been there since the beginning with Haymitch. Maybe not the beginning. Rah-rah cheerleader. She might be a little jaded about some things, but Magno's at the end stumbling around. He's intoxicated. Drizella's like walking her way on some 6-inch heels, getting all posed up like, I'm ready. On the other side, the prep team, Proserpina and I already forgot his name. Vitus. They're getting each other ready. At the very far end, oh god, Wyrus and Mags roll up. Mags is in a wheelchair. Wyrus is running her mouth, run-on sentence. She is wired. They have both been tortured. Bad. Mags still has her mind about her, and she can see Haymitch like to stand up. They push her back down, and that's all we get. We don't ever hear what truly happened to them, but that's pretty much the last time we hear about them in the book. I mean, they go up on the stage with Haymitch, but they don't ever talk about them. We don't see them until you get to Catching Fire, where they both die. He can only imagine what's going on back home with his family and thinks that maybe he's getting the same treatment that Beatty got. Snow wants him to watch his family die. Enough of that right now. They all go up onto the stage. Final interview. Caesar Flickerman is there. I don't even know how to act anymore. Do I play into the rascal behavior? I am not the same person when I was here last. The crowd is chanting to see his scar, tongue-in-cheek about some things, but overall, he's very shell-shocked. Are people gonna boo me? Sit there and stare? Well, he gets a standing ovation. Read a lot of this from my notes, because this is where they're gonna show him a recap of his games. His games have been seriously edited. The timelines do not add up. It's just what he is witnessing. They zip through the reapings. They edit out Lenore Dove's crying and his mother and Sid's goodbye. Show the good parts of the parade. Cut it short when the blue firework would have gone off. The interviews are edited to make the careers look smarter and the newcomers look less unified. Use of a soundbite from Haymitch's interview was when he said, the tributes will be as stupid as ever, so his odds still look good. No mention of any alliance with the newcomers. The whole thing made him look like a complete jackass. Entering the arena, jackass that he portrays is shown grabbing gear and booking it away from everyone. Going through his bag of supplies, which makes him look like he couldn't be bothered by what's happening at the bloodbath. Day 2 is where the recap takes a turn and things don't add up to what really happened. It shows him fighting off the squirrel mutts, but doesn't show the body of Ampert under the pile. And that would have happened on day 3. Cut to Lulu crying and dying from the burn, but they don't show Haymitch sitting right next to her. Just make it seem like she found her way to this poisonous patch of flowers. Him running from a giant butterfly. Nobody paid any attention to him holding her body. Day 3 shows Ampert getting attacked by the squirrels. Haymitch, again, is nowhere to be found. Volcano eruption shows 12 die in the chemical burns and the rest fleeing through the meadow. Another twist of the show shows a giant porcupine is only shown shooting quills at Buck, Hull, and Chicory, and they die. They didn't cover anything about Maysilee and Haymitch coming in and helping out. Well, they didn't really help, but you know what I mean. The game makers are not shown at all when they had that Texas shootout. Edit out Marriott's canon and Maysilee saying that she was going to go get their potatoes to eat, so it looks like the two of them just decided to split up. Keep the shot of Haymitch discovering the force field. No way they cannot cover it up at the end when he killed Silka. She killed herself, if you really want to think about it. They keep it in there because they're going to have to show it anyway. Maysilee is attacked by the birds. He comes to her side. It looks silly that they made it look like a redemption arc for the rascal. They don't show anything about the parachute of milk that came from Snow, but cut to to a scream from Welly, running to see Silka holding her head. Smash cut to squirrels attacking Marriott, and that explains her death. She was already long gone. She died in the tear bomb, the tear gas thingy. So she had died the day before. None of this is adding up. Then we see him and Silka having their battle. She throws her axe and he drops to her knees, showing him convulsing, which must have happened after the blast, showing it like he was having a fit, clings onto life and watches the axe lodge in her head. The bombing of the generator is all gone and never shown. The trumpets play and the claw grabs hold of him to bring him out. And the arena gets an aerial view. It is in the shape of an eye. Wink and a nod saying, Capitol is always watching. The woods are at one, what would be the white of the eye. The volcano is at the other, white of the eye. Cornucopia is the pupil. Meadow is the iris. So anyway, I started thinking the water tank is on like the north side. Like the tear duct. Wouldn't that, oh my God, come on. The water tank is the tear duct. Suzanne Collins, you absolute beast. Okay, that's all done. Haymitch is wondering, did anybody even watch these games? Was anybody really paying attention, and will anybody question any of that? Because that did not happen. Snow comes down from the podium and he brings him his crown. Haymitch has the wherewithal to tell him, I guess Snow really does land on top. And Snow, oh, he just smiles at him and says, enjoy your homecoming. What the fuck? What are you talking about? I gotta sit down and let my batteries are dying. Got 2 more chapters left. Little tiny bit of an epilogue. Let me charge up a battery real quick. And I promise you, this is the end. This is it. Let's end it. It's an after party at the president's mansion. Haymitch is put inside of a golden bird cage and it's lifted up kind of at eye level. He says he eats food out of people's hands because he's trying to play along, somewhat undo something that's waiting for him at home. The president has just told you, enjoy your homecoming. I mean, it's gonna be maybe I can soften the blow. Maybe he'll ease up if I just play along with everything. He's hamming it up. He's posing for pictures. People come up to him and they're poking and prodding. Magno and Drizella come up and take pictures and they seem like they're getting on a lot better, but they're drunk. But nobody seems like they really care about him except for Effie. Effie stays close to him and just keeps an eye on him. Plutarch circles around him from time to time. Him and his camera crew are still filming. The whole time, Plutarch was not looking at Haymitch in the eye. He kept like avoiding him. Haymitch asks what's going on with his family back at home. Plutarch says, I don't know. I don't have any information. But Lenore Dove is in jail still. What? She said she was getting out. He's thinking maybe she just told me that she was going to get out so I wouldn't worry about her being in jail while I was in the games. She most likely was in there the whole entire time. He's taken back to the apartment for 10 days. He's paraded around the Capitol doing interviews, photo shoots, this, that, and the third. Well, finally, he's taken to the train station. Pump that they put on his chest is taken off. And they're sitting there for a while and he's like, why are we not moving? And the peacekeeper says, well, we're waiting on your friends. Here they come. The 3 caskets that are bringing back Luella, Maysilee, and Wyatt get on the train. They get back on the train platform out there in 12. They open up the door. They say, get out. They push out all the caskets out there on the platform. They take off. And he's alone with 3 caskets. And nobody is there. He kind of figures early in the morning, Sunday morning, because he would have seen smoke coming out of the mines. No parties, no family to greet him, nothing. He starts moseying down the way to get to the scene to his house. On the way there, he sees a glow of fire. His house is on fire. He runs to it. His neighbors and his friends are frantically running around. They see him and they're kind of confused, like, what the hell? What are you doing here? When did you get back? He's panicking because he tries to run into the house. He's yelling for his mom and Sid. Oh my God. Blair and Burdock, they pull him back and they say they're sorry, but they didn't make it. They tried to get him out. His mom and his little brother are dead. They're dead. What the literal Are you kidding me? He says this was intentional and done by somebody that was working for Snow because his mother was always very adamant that him and his brother knew how to take care of a fire, knew not to leave a fire burning. Fire safety was had in this household. She would never be stupid with a fire. They pin him down on the ground because he is screaming his head off. Astrid comes up with some sleeping syrup. He passes out. He wakes up in the McCoy's household. Her mom is taking care of him, telling him what happened. She's like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Her son, Kaysen, Luella's brother, came home early in the morning from a night out of gambling, and he saw the flames going up, and they tried to put it out, but their cistern was dry. That was his chore that he was supposed to take care of before the games. She says, you're going to blame yourself probably forever and always. And even what happened in the games, you'll probably just always feel guilty. But that's not for today. Today we'll bury everybody. A time to mourn for them. Button it up a little bit. Kaysen also tells them that he knows a peacekeeper on the base and says that Lenore Dove is getting let out either later that day or the next day. He wants to go up there and see Lenore Dove at the jail. They're like, no, maybe not. It wouldn't be in your best interest or hers if you go up there and start raising Cain. They go down to the gravesite They went ahead and put Haymitch's mom and Sid in one casket because they were holding on to each other. There's 5 plots dug. These 2 were in one, Maysilee, Luella, Wyatt, so that makes 4. They're like, well, who's the 5th one for? Kaysen says that Wyatt's father hung himself when his son's body came back. Nobody cares about it. His name was Jethro Caro, if you care. Maysilee's dad speaks over the graves. Haymitch has a moment where he looks up, God, and he's seeing Maysilee, but in his head, because they're twins, he's like, oh my God, Maysilee! And so then it clicks. He's like, wait a minute, that's not her. She starts wailing and crying. Burdock sings the old There Before song, and all the Mockingjays shut up. They're signed to honor their dead. They kiss their 3 fingers and hold it up. Everybody heads back up to the McCoys because they're going to have the ham bean soup. Unfortunately, I do have one more X to put up here, though. It's like, if this was not enough, Haymitch knows that he can't stay with the McCoys. They keep looking at me with pity, sadness, questions, and he obviously doesn't have a home anymore. Burdock is like, well, you do have your Victor's house now in the Victor's village. Go over there. They get him set up. He says something like, fell asleep in the AC room and I hated it. He didn't like the artificial air flowing through. It was too nice. I hate this house.
I think I'm gonna die in this house.
Burdock and Blair take care of him. Astrid keeps bringing him some sleeping medicine. At one point, though, he sneaks out of the house. Gotta see Lenore Dove to the Covey's house, climbs up to her window. She's not there yet. I'll just go wait out in the meadow because I know the first thing she's gonna do when she gets out is go check on her geese. I'm not gonna really go into it because he kind of backs out of this. A moment where he's like, I can't live in 12. I'm gonna go run away and I need Lenore Dove. I'm gonna take her with me. But then he kind of talks himself out of it. I'm not built for the woods. Lenore Dove is even more comfortable in the woods than I am. Even she couldn't probably make it. I'm gonna skip over that because he kind of just ends up talking himself out of it because Lenore Dove, she's out. She's a free woman. As soon as he sees her, he's like, oh, forget it. I'm not leaving her. As long as I have her, I can make it and I can live. He's taking care of her geese. He's got a bag of gumdrops. And Haymitch is like, those are the gumdrops I probably gave to Sid to give to her. She's hung on to him this whole time. She eats one. He comes running up to her. They kiss, they hug, they embrace. Oh my God, it's all right in the world. He says, you found me in this life and not in the next life. Now we can be together forever. Yes! Yes! Well, he feeds her one more gumdrop and she says, well, now I can eat the bag that you gave me. And he says, what? Yeah, I saved them. They're at home. I didn't want to eat any of them. Flips over the bag. It's from the Donner's candy shop, but they're all blood red gumdrops. And I didn't mention it. I probably should have mentioned it. When he got crowned by Snow, Snow had a blood red rose on his lapel. And that's when he said, enjoy your homecoming. F off. Literally die. Well, she does. He tells her, spit that out. It's poison. She spits it out. She's freaking out. He's freaking out. Calling for Clerk Carmine and Tam Amber to come out. And he's like, you need to make yourself throw up. And she says, I've been in the jail. I haven't had anything to eat. I don't have anything on my stomach. So she tries and she tries. She falls over. She can't breathe. Bad news bears. And he's holding on to her. That's where she tells him, don't you let that sun rise on another reaping. What does she say specifically? Tells him to look at the sun and to not let it rise on another reaping. Asking him one day to help in the games. He tells her that he loves her like all fire and she says, you too. He kisses her and when he pulls back, she is dead. Are you widowy kidding me? Oh my God. This is the saddest chapter. This is the last chapter. Suzanne Collins was kind of intertwining the Raven poem throughout the chapter. So it's a lot longer than this, but I've just trimmed the fat of it down. Really get to the basics. Probably taking place maybe a few weeks to a month after Lenore Dove has died. The nightmare is always the same. It's basically their last moment together where he feeds her the gumdrop. She starts bleeding out of every hole and then dies. He sees her face and the promise that he had made to not let another sunrise on the reaping. This is the only reason that he doesn't kill himself. I think it's important to note that because in my head, I was like, I'd be gone. If everybody I know and loved had died, bye. And to love somebody that hard and not have them anymore, no, forget it, I'm out. But because he made the promise to her, he's like, well, now I gotta stay. He's not actively trying to stop the game. Not until, where are you? Something to add to your conspiracy theories, people. When she had died, Clerk Carmine and Tam Amber run out. Clerk Carmine tries to start her heart again. Tam Amber's watching, like, had his hands up on his head, and he's just like, oh my God, not again. What do you mean, not again? I think it's safe to say that Maude Ivory is Lenore Dove's mom, and she died in childbirth. Let's just go with that theory. Now, I think that they probably tried to start her heart again when she was dying, that's what he means, is like, oh my God, not again. Some people believe the theory that Lucy Gray found her way back. She was shot. You remember when Snow was out there shooting the rifle? Maybe Lucy Gray found her way back, and she died there, and they were trying to resuscitate her. I don't know. Let me know what you think. The raven from her name song is like Snow's message to Haymitch. He will never be able to love or get close to anyone ever again, or they will be taken away from him in a horrible death. And isn't that the truth? Because he's a mentor forever and always until he dies. So he pushes everybody away. He doesn't speak to Hattie anymore. None of his schoolmates. 3 up here, they try to hold on. Blair's the first one to go ahead and say like, all right, I'm done. He's very upset. He's tearful, but he leaves him alone, never talks to him ever again. And we don't ever know what happened to Blair. I think that he probably died with Burdock in the mine. Burdock hangs in there for the longest. Astrid is just kind of like tagging along with Burdock. She brings the sleeping medicine and they try and get him to, I don't know, get up, bathe, go outside, breathe fresh air. Haymitch pleads with them, just leave me alone. And the last time that they're all together, he was having a fit and he started throwing rocks and one hit Astrid in the head and made her bleed. Burdock was like, no, I'm not hanging around if you're going to be like that. We're done. And he said that hitting her in the head with the rock was worse than any death that he caused in the games. So, you know, it hurt him. He's hurting so bad. Oh no. And a peacekeeper slides an envelope of money under the door. I'm pretty sure it's every month. Full of his earnings. Some of the money is taken out to go ahead and buy him food. He says, I'm not sure who is doing it. It's probably like Plutarch or maybe even Snow. He talks about wanting to end his life, but he doesn't do it because he's made his promise to Lenore Dove. He has no way of ever making it happen. He downs a bottle of sleep syrup to alter his reality. This is where one night he's out there looking for her gravestone because she's not buried with everybody else in 12. The Covey have their own spot where they bury their dead. It's like 3 a.m. He goes to her window. Clerk Carmine is playing his fiddle. He says that this might have been Clerk Carmine's last salt in the wound, punch to the throat. He definitely hates me now, and this is just rubbing it in and not telling me where she's buried. Sleep syrup doesn't do much anymore. He turns to liquor. The only person he ever ends up really talking to is the person that's selling him the white liquor, which it's not Hattie. He figures out the place that uncles would have taken her body is out in the woods. This is the last time him and Burdock ever interact. Burdock was out in the woods. He's roaming around in the woods trying to find her gravesite out of pity, not because he wants to make amends or anything. He feels bad looking at him like this. He says, I'll take you to her. It's not on the beaten path. It's way out in the woods, and it's a small little patch. Ooh, I'm getting choked up. Of headstones. And each Covey member, we only hear about 3 of them. Lucy Gray, Maud Ivory, and Lenore Dove. Each one has a quote from their ballad. That's where he learns Lucy Gray's name. So that's where people are getting, I think that they probably just put Lucy Gray's headstone out as just like a memorial. I really don't think she came back. But maybe she did, I don't know. We'd have to dig up the ground to find out. Expanding on their conspiracy that she has a headstone there. Maybe she is buried there. Maybe she did come back. We never know. He buries the flint striker there with her, asking her for a sign to free him from his promise so he can join her. Oh, shut up. Morning comes, moseys on into town. He says that he finds different pockets of 12 that most people don't even know exist because he's so drunk he just wanders off. This is where the answer ends up in the back alley somewhere, passed out. He looks up on the side of the wall and he sees posters, the no peace posters. They're painted in orange. They don't look like the other posters. And they say, no capital, no hanging tree, no capital, no reaping. Rewind. Talking to Maysilee about the flint striker, Mockingjay pen. You remember all that? Remember when I was telling you about that? Your girl doesn't like me because I know her secret. And she comes in with that orange polish on her nails. She was spraying posters. Haymitch takes this as his sign from Lenore Dove saying, I am watching you. I'm still here. I'm ever present. And you bet not kill yourself. You better keep this promise. I swear to God. He's visited by other ghosts in his sleep and Panache and Silka into his dreams. And so that's when he starts sleeping with a knife. Do you remember when I was mentioning in Catching Fire? Haymitch even then still sleeps with a knife. Effie comes in one morning, takes the knife out of his hand, and she's like, this is dangerous. You should not be sleeping with this. They get him ready for their victory tour. This has to be 6 months after the game. Plutarch tells him that Magno has been fired and that Drizella has broken an ankle or broken a hip from her shoes that Maysilee had told her, don't wear them because you're going to break your bones, you old bat. Effie's got the job of being an escort and stylist. Go to District 11 because they usually start at the lowest district and make their way back to the capital. At 11, he's trying to find in the crowd if he can see anybody that looks like they're related to Lulu. And then he never finds them. They're probably dead. Also, like Haymitch had done with Peeta and Katniss, they go into the Justice Building, they go all the way up to the very top. Plutarch takes him up there and says, this is the only place we can talk candidly because it's not tapped. Haymitch asks how Plutarch looks so good when Wyrus and Mags were tortured and Beetee was probably killed, and he tells him, nay, Beetee is actually alive. The only reason he's alive is because his wife is pregnant. Is pregnant. It would be a letdown for Ampert if he takes his life. He may be able to overthrow the capital one day, but they all need help, and Haymitch showed that he is capable. It may not happen soon or even in our lifetimes, but isn't it worth it to be a part of something like ending the games and the powers that be? And Haymitch says they need somebody that's luckier than him and better timing and a full-blown army. And Plutarch says, well, we can build an army. If they can't find one, they'll make one. Boy, do they. Oh my gosh, and now that we know how it all happens, and it does happen in your lifetimes, it's not so far away, it's just another 25 years. So by that calculations, hang on, I can't do quick math. 25 plus 16 should be 41 when we see him, well, in Catching Fire. That is a hard 41. I guess he doesn't look that bad. They take him back after the whole the victory tour. What the f***? And they're filming his last shot. He says that he tells Plutarch, not out of pity, just stating a fact, I have nothing to live for. I don't have anything left in my life. And Plutarch says, well, that just makes you more valuable in a position of power because nothing to lose and everything to gain. It's not funny because he's very upset. He tells Plutarch, he says, you're not a good person. Just because he gave him the advice about flowers inside the games and the sun. He's still a scummy person who spins things to make them shiny for television. Doesn't disagree and tells him that no one would ever accuse him of being good, but at least he's still in the game. Until we get to Hunger Games, Haymitch is stuck in a revolving door, same day, every day. And he's always going to be called every year to be a mentor to a losing team. We know that 12 doesn't win anymore until Katniss and Peeta come along. He keeps no mementos of the ones he's lost. They're burned or buried, and he tries to forget them all. Their voices, their laughs, their faces. He keeps the news playing 24/7 just in the hopes Lenore Dove will visit him in a dream as a ghost, or way he can tell her, oh, I've been planning to not let that sun rise. He makes no plans and has no drive to do anything. Always another sunrise on the reaping, and when he reminds himself of that, he can hear the raven calling out to him like Sid did that morning of the reaping, saying, happy birthday, Haymitch. Happy birthday, Hannah. There will be no Hunger Games on my birthday. Ever again. That is the end. We have a small, tiny little epilogue. Oh my god, I'm ready to see this in the movie. They're coming back. I don't know about Gail. Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, and Woody Harrelson, I believe they all three have confirmed that they're coming back for the epilogue. Man, let me read you the epilogue. I kind of summed this up so it's not verbatim. Lenore Dove visits him now, and she's aged with him and isn't angry or upset. He has fulfilled the promise he made to her and won't let him leave yet because now he has a family to stay with now. So this is sped up after Mockingjay. He had seen Katniss at the Hob with her father Burdock, and he was always so proud of her. When he died, she would bring the game in that she caught in the woods to trade. She had her hair in 2 braids, pretty close image to his sweetheart Luella. That when she volunteered for her sister at the games, it showed the bravery that he knew Luella had. Said there was no other word I could use but sweetheart. Shut! Suzanne Collins, I'm gonna punch you in the throat. If I catch you on the street, it's on sight. I'm not kidding. He didn't want to add anything to the memorial book, but once he added a few things about her father, he showed him the Covey grave. He thought of all the other things that he had cast away. Sid's love of stars, Maysilee Donner was the original owner of the Mockingjay pen. He wrote about Lenore Dove and their love story. He's added about other tributes and family members. Katniss was the one that actually bought him the geese. Eggs. Peeta built him an incubator, and that when they hatched, Haymitch's face was the first ones they saw, so they trusted him. Katniss was very closed off. We know this. Pretty solitary person. Peeta says that her and Haymitch are one and the same. She was the one that stopped the sun from rising on the reaping. She was luckier than him. He would care for them for years to come and take them out to the meadow. He's talking about his geese, not Peeta and Katniss. He isn't meant long for this world anymore. His liver's destroyed from years of booze, and now he drinks out of habit, not necessity. And he knows for a fact that the capital will never take Lenore Dove from him ever again. Nothing they could take from him was ever worth keeping, and when he tells her that in his dream, she says she loves him like all fire, and he says, you too. We're finished. We're done. I don't know if you're able to really tell. I don't think a packet can even sum up how many papers I have. Thanos has risen. I have collected all the Infinity Stones. Thank God. I'm ready to be done with this series. I love it so much. But I'm finished. I'm cooked. I'm pretty comfortable with putting this at number 3. Might rank side by side with Hunger Games depending on my mood. I love it. I love the Hunger Games, and I will always accept more. I vote for Annie's games. I want to see the first quarter quell. All right, sweaties, I love you so much. Happy birthday to me. I'm sorry that most of this video, pretty much all the video, is just my face. No cutaway to any movie. I'll probably post my thoughts of what I thought of the movie. Look for a post and says like, I saw it. Although the movie doesn't come out until like in November. I do have another idea already of another breakdowns theories that I want to do. I kind of was losing steam around songbirds and snakes because my mind was already going about the other thing I want to do. And I was getting distracted. Finished it, and now I have liberty to go and obsess over something else. We might have a little sidetrack before then because guess what's coming out in T-minus, I don't know, 3 weeks? The Peaky Blinders movie. I will be watching that. Let me know what you thought of this one. Do you have any theories, especially when it comes to this girlie right here, who her mother is, who her father is? Who were they talking about when they said not again? You let me know. I'm ready to pack it up. Thank you for watching, Sweaty. Hey Mitch, you win. Yay! Congrats. All right, I'm done. I'll see you whenever I see you. Goodbye. Ouch. Wow, this hurts. I'm poking myself. Ouch. Ow. Ow, my knee. Sorry. Oh, God. My God. Ow. Ow. I just threw a thumbtack on the ground. Ow. Ow. Ow, shit. Sorry. I just dropped the thumbtack. Hey, Mitch. Whoa. Gather. Ow. Excuse you. Oh, God, they found me. Hey, okay.